pull back and she's like, Lissa. And again, something about Adam's ghost excites her so much, even though that's her brother, that she starts kissing Lissa in the fucking alley in which her brother was murdered. And she held him as he died. And they just reenacted his murder a little bit. What the fuck? Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shelby and this is Shebby Reads. If you're new here, I am a dedicated goth and femme for butch lesbian who came out in 2013. Like, Shelby, you don't look very goth today. We're doing Valentine's-y shit this month, okay? Also, if you look at my eyeballs, of course there's a gigantic wing, cause duh. Here on this channel, we talk about sapphic books all year round, so don't forget to like, comment, subscribe so that you can hear more about sapphic books. Before we get to the book today, I just want to do some quick housekeeping. So I schedule my content typically not by much. And when I mean I schedule my content, I don't mean I like publish like or upload. I don't mean I upload like super early. That's not what I mean. I mean I'm like planning the content super early. However, I'm at about March and that's where I start to run out of terrible books. We might read some more because my goal is 120 books this year, but I figured in case we don't, I was going to make a Google submission document and I'm gonna link that in the comments so you can all suggest some pretty terrible, awful sapphic books to me, okay? I don't care what genre it is. I don't care. I will read pretty much any genre, so let me know. So today we are going to be reading Thrown to the Wolves by Persephone Black, which is a LGBT sapphic crime romance. It is the first of 3 books. There are also other books by Persephone Black that are related to this one that are about some of the other couples. I don't think they're necessary just based on me reading it and not really needing to know what's going, like I got the basics. It was fine. So we are going to read the synopsis. Lissa can't resist a damsel in distress, ... but she'll wish she resisted this one. The ferocious Styx syndicate enforcer and trainer known as the Wolf has always been the hunter, never the hunted. So when Lissa sees the gorgeous Scarlet getting harassed by thugs in a dive bar she's visiting for intel, she jumps straight into protective mode. But Lissa soon discovers that not every damsel needs saving, and sometimes wolves wear sheep's clothing, ... Lissa thought she'd buried her past, but now it's rushing back with a vengeance, literally. My brain doesn't want to finish this because this book. Scarlet has a score to settle and she's not going to back off. The Styx syndicate wants Scarlet dead, but Lissa sees potential in her nemesis and maybe something more. Something Lissa has never allowed herself to want. Something forbidden. Can Lissa persuade the syndicate to give an enemy a chance, or will she follow orders like she always has and destroy the one person who makes her feel like something more than a monster? Thrown to the Wolves is part 1 of the Red Rivals Duet. Oh, I'm sorry, there's only 2. I think one of her other ones has 3 and that's why I was confused. That's why I was confused, fam. Thrown to the Wolves is part 1 of the Red Rivals Duet, a twisty, steamy, contemporary sapphic mafia romance based very loosely on the Little Red Riding Hood fairy tale. Reader discretion is advised, and content notes are available on the copyright page. So number 1, we love that there was a bunch of trigger warnings. Yay, thank you. I like that there is a warning page. I don't know if I've told you guys, I'm pretty sure I did just say it briefly in one video, I can't remember. I do want a mafia romance so bad that I enjoy, because I feel like mafia is one of the best ways to do dark romance. This is probably an unpopular opinion, I don't care. But because all of the characters are involved in crime, kind of matters less, you know what I mean? Like, obviously real life mafia bad, blah, 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 blah. However, most people are not involved in the fucking mafia, so like we don't have to think about that. However, this book was so disappointing, so incredibly disappointing, and we'll get to it. So before we get started, I just want to give disclaimers and trigger warnings, okay? Okay, number 1, this review is not for the author or for the stans, friends, family of the author and the author's work, okay? If you really enjoy this author, you might not like everything I have to say, and that's totally fine. Number 2, this review will contain all of the spoilers. We are going to be going through chapter by chapter through this book, so if you don't want spoilers, come back later. Number 3, I'm not bashing sapphic books. I think we deserve to have varying qualities of sapphic books. However, this is my channel, and if straight and bisexual people get to come on here and complain complain about all the terrible books they have, I'm allowed to do the exact same thing. Number 4, this book elicits strong emotions for me. If you can't handle that, scoot along, okay? Like, it's just how it is. Like, we're doing this to have like a silly, goofy time where I'm pissed off because I'm always pissed off and you guys get to enjoy it. It's not that deep. Well, I mean, it is, but it's not. You know what I mean? Like, we're just doing this for fun. I'm not stopping the author from publishing. I'm not saying these books should be banned. I'm not doing anything to prevent people from enjoying this book. I'm just talking about my own experience and how much I didn't like it. Okay. I'm gonna read the author's content warning and then I'm gonna read the Storygraph trigger warnings to you guys. Content warning. This is a mafia romance, which means there's a cavalier attitude to things like murder and crime, and our heroines get their hands bloody too. The book contains references to knife and gun violence, human trafficking, self-harm, murder, hate, sex, grief, past physical child abuse by an antagonist off screen, physical abuse of adults, gaslighting, duplicitous behavior, coercive control, and torture. Reader discretion is advised. I'm just gonna add the ones from Storygraph now because I think we just might be some extra stuff, because I wouldn't say it's just like allusions to or whatever. What did she say exactly? References to. It's not references to knife and gun violence if you see it happening. You know what I mean? It's like on page happening in front of you. So, cursing, death, gun violence, physical abuse, sexual content, torture, violence, blood, trafficking, kidnapping, grief, stalking, murder, alcohol, injury/injury detail. Hi, this is Editing Shelby popping back in. I would also like to add to the trigger warnings sexual assault and rape. I will say it is between the main characters, so I want you guys to know what you're getting into, because this was actually kind of triggering for me, because this is one of the things that happened to me, is that consent is revoked partway through and the other person does not listen. I think that that's despicable. I think that's disgusting and abhorrent, and I can't stand by it. I tried not to linger on it too much in the book because I can't think about it that hard, because it's very triggering for me. I've been thinking about it actually for the past couple of days since I read this, because it was very upsetting to me. It's very upsetting to me, but I want you guys to know what you're getting into, because that's only fair. So please know that, and if you need to skip this one for your mental health, please do so. I'm here for you guys. I've been through this kind of stuff. I don't want it to be a surprise for anyone like it was a surprise for me. It should have been on the trigger warnings page, but it wasn't, because this author clearly didn't view it as sexual assault or rape. That's my opinion. I hope you guys enjoy this one though. And there's obviously not one for like organized crime, but I feel that Storygraph should add one personally. We start chapter 1 with Lissa, the wolf. For those of you who live in New Hampshire, which is probably like none of you, all I can think of is 93.3 the wolf. Oh. So dumb. That's like a country station. Barf. My parents listen to country like incessantly, and I like older country. I mean, I don't go out of my way to listen to it all the time, but I do like Dolly Parton and Johnny Cash and that kind of shit. But like the new stuff where it's like, I'm gonna check you for ticks and then we're gonna bang on my tractor. Like, no. No, thank you. Okay. We start with Lissa finding out that this guy named Yuri, who works for their mafia, because there's like different, you know, it's like real life. There are different organized crime, either families or like organizations, networks, whatever, that don't necessarily work with one another. There's no like the mafia. That's not real. You know what I mean? Like there's no one guy at the top of all of the Italian mafia or something. Like that doesn't make any sense. But this guy named Yuri is dead and it's in enemy territory. Woohoo! Lissa is trying to find the assassin who is responsible for killing members of their gang, mafia, whatever you want to call it. They have I don't know if I'd say rivalry or like turf war or something, with this Russian mafia group called the Sokolov Bratva, which keeps control with a vicious approach that keeps control, having a bad day. I've read so many bad books lately. What the fuck? And this gang keeps control with a vicious approach that I secretly admire. Okay, girl. She says it took a while for her to dig up where Yuri was drinking before he got murdered, but I don't see how. Do you guys not have his phone? Like, I don't know. Okay. And she threatened the right people to get the intel she needed. And now she's at the bar. It's all very edgelord nonsense, which I suppose, you know, like, here's the thing about this one, okay? I was expecting that. I knew what I was signing up for. I was signing up for a stupid mafia romance where there's a lot of crime and edgelord shit. But I feel like when you're trapped in first person POV with these people and someone who does not do these things is writing it and is like, according to the information I punched out of my sources, which is a direct quote, I don't think it's as edgy as you think it is. I don't think it's that edgy.
Oh, I'm edgy. I'm on fire.
Liberty, you're about as edgy as a butter knife.
She goes into this bar and there is a group of men surrounding a lone woman. And they're being very obvious that they're being creepy. So hooray. But don't worry, even though our girl Lissa is so edgy, she's on fire, she's not gonna allow this to happen. So she's strolling on over there. And we know that this is the love interest immediately because of this giant paragraph. The woman looks over as well, her eyes haunted and fearful under thick bangs as they meet mine. Hazel eyes, I decide as I get closer. A soft green brown that reminds me of the shadows in the forests that grow around the estate at Elysium. There's a delicate vulnerability about her that is completely out of place in this cesspit. Her soft curves are accentuated rather than hidden by her tight jeans and close-cut fluffy red sweater, and she pushes her cascading dark chestnut hair over one shoulder as I stop and look down at her. She'd be a dream if not for the wariness in her face. It's fine that this book is cliche. It's fine. The parts I actually hate about this book overall, other than my brain started listing so many things. Well, I guess the plot, but also just, I mean, I don't love the edgelord nature, but I knew what I was signing up for. So like, I didn't hate it completely. You know what I mean? What my problem is that a lot of this narrative you will see treats the reader like they're stupid. And that's something I cannot abide by. I cannot. Also, there's some stupid ass plot points. We'll get there. She tells these men to fuck off. And then she's like, are you lost, sweetheart? Ugh. And she introduces herself. The other girl introduces herself as Scarlett. What is up with these people? If you say anything about my accent, that's another disclaimer I forgot. I've been trying to control it, and I do listen back to my own videos, and I'm like, I feel it's very hit or miss. And I know a lot of people might not notice on certain words that I feel like I'm forcing to sound without an accent, but I am trying. But like, we'll just get out of the way. I have an accent. Ready? Scarlett, market basket, parsley, I sound like that main guy who's a lobster fisher. That's who I sound like normally, and fuck it, I don't care. I will try to control it as best as I can, but this is also a Mafia book, so I feel like it's fine. And there is the Italian Mafia, by the way. Well, you know what I mean. A section of Italians are a mafia. Well, she slides onto the bar stool next to Scarlett and is like, not to be a walking cliche, but what's a woman like you doing in a place like this? So you know it's a cliche, but you chose to write it anyway. Got it. Again, the cringe is fine. That's not what I docked this book mostly points for. And Scarlett's like, I was supposed to meet someone for a date, I guess, but I'm starting to think I got catfished, and now I'm a little nervous to walk to my car by myself. And Lissa thinks, yeah, I bet she is. And then the bartender says, what do you want? Except it's spelled W-A-D-D-Y. A-W-A-N. And Lissa thinks I want a word with him about Yuri, but Scarlett is sitting here like a cornered fox surrounded by hounds. As I look around, every eye is making its way toward her again, skating away when they see me glancing their way. Rabid dogs, every one of them, even the ones pretending to mind their own business. And once I'm gone, they'll tear her apart. A pang of protectiveness stirs in my chest for a woman you just met, okay? And I don't care about some of the more insta-love. I know I complain about insta love constantly. However, part of the insta love I don't care about, and we'll get to why. But from Lissa, I hate it. I hate it. I think it's stupid as all get out. Like, why? Anyway, and she goes back to talking to Scarlett, and she's like, you're not from around here, are you? She shakes her head, silky hair swaying around her cleavage tantalizingly. I live uptown. I've never really been to this part of the city before. Again, this is fine, and we'll get to why. Obviously the synopsis gave some of it away too, but not like all of it. So we'll get there. But Lissa is like, okay, let me get you out of the shithole. Like, She literally says that. If your car hasn't gotten jacked yet. And Scarlett is like, I appreciate that, Lissa. And they tuck each other arm in arm and they make their way to the exit. And Lissa's like, okay, so why would you meet a strange man here? And Scarlett's like, actually, it was a strange woman. And Lissa thinks to herself, this Scarlett keeps getting more and more interesting. Just because she'll do you, maybe? You do know that people have types though, right? No, books like this never know that. She's like, and I've been bored of the uptown clubs lately. I wanted to try something adventurous and I met this girl on this app. I mean, if she even exists. And you agreed to meet her here? This chick must be naive with a capital dumb. But maybe that's not fair. The fuck does that mean? And she's like, let me guess, you're a hopeless romantic who likes the idea of reforming like a bad girl. She's like, I knew it was a stupid idea. And this adventure didn't exactly deliver the grand romance I thought it would. And she's like, well, the night is young, unable to resist flirting. You could resist. See, one of the things I don't understand about these books, okay, it's fine because this is a Mafia one, I guess. But my main problem is that these women who are supposed to be badass, who are coming in, saving this nice little lady, whatever, they're like, oh my God, that's like a den of wolves around her. Look at all these fucking awful men around. And then the second you're alone with this person and you know she's into women, you immediately want to bang her. How is that different? Obviously it's not the same as assault, but it is kind of the same exact, like, I want to do her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's almost the pot calling the kettle black, but not quite, you know? It just feels stupid. It feels like you're trying to moral grandstand, but you are literally an assassin for the Italian mafia you're a part of, the Styx Syndicate. You're no better than them. I mean, I guess maybe you don't sexually assault people, but I don't know. I just, the hypocrisy of the matter.
It's the principle of it, Lynn. The principle.
Yep, there it is.
Wait, how did you know I was going to say that? I've never said that.
Right. Yeah, right.
It's the principle of the thing, sir. It's the principle. Principle.
And then we get this in Lissa's head. I don't like to bed the same woman twice. For their protection, I tell myself. No point making some innocent lesbian a target. But even in a city the size of Chicago, the lesbian community is a little insular. So while I have a rep as a player, I also have a rep as amazing in bed. I do okay, is what I'm saying. But this girl, ... I haven't seen her around before. And there's something about her. Something I can't quite put my finger on. Something I'd really like to put my finger on, though. ... You want to know what's fucking insular? Not Chicago, that's for sure, because it's a fucking metropolitan city. You know what's insular? I went to register my new car, go me, and the town hall lady, who's a lesbian, who we don't know each other outside of town hall interactions, it's like, hey, you look familiar. And I was like, okay, I mean, I'm in here sometimes, like once a year, but like that doesn't help you. She was like, so I heard your wife's divorcing you. I was like, I've never been so mortified in my entire life. And I don't even know how she heard about it. She's like so old. How would she have heard about it? I don't know. Scarlett is darting around with her gaze, like freaked out by the neighborhood. And Lissa's like, don't worry, you're safe with me. Sure. And they get to this like beat up sedan and Scarlett's like, well, this is me, but now I'm worried about you. Can I drive you somewhere? And Lissa snorts at this and is like, you don't have to worry about me, honey. And she's still planning to go back and interrogate them about Yuri because Yuri went to drink there. He left. He was killed like 2 blocks from this place. So she's trying to do like math, you know. But I take an extra moment to enjoy the way Scarlett's nose turns up at the end. A pretty perky little swoop that makes me wonder if her tits do the same thing. What? What? Like, okay, you're saying... What the fuck? But then Scarlett tries to be like, hey, do you maybe want to like go for a drive somewhere? And then suddenly there are a few people coming from the shadows over here. And Lissa thinks, shit, there's 6 of them. Hooray. And she thinks to herself, that's decent odds despite me having to protect Scarlett. And this guy's like, I don't think I can do Russian. Phil. That's like German. My brain is like, just do Yuri, little Yuri from Yuri on Ice. I'm like, I'm not doing it. If it isn't the big bad wolf, The Sokolovs have had an issue with the syndicate for a while now. Some little misunderstanding over a debt they didn't pay, and a few of their guys I killed as a helpful reminder that the bill was overdue. I suppose it's no surprise that they're looking to even up. Scarlet tenses beside me and I slide in front of her, pushing her behind me where she'll be safest. But I keep my hand on her hip because some primal part of me wants to keep her close, feel her warmth and softness pressed against my back. I think now is not the time. Also, like, you killed some of their guys to remind them that their bill is due. Why didn't you just break some fingers or something? Like, I want this to be Bound, which is an amazing mafia lesbian movie with a butch femme couple, and Jennifer Tilly is the femme. She's fine as fuck. Fine as fuck. That's a great movie, by the way, and it has a great ending, so you don't have to worry about the gays dying. Just so you know. Maybe I'll watch that after this. And she's like, you guys wouldn't want to call it a night, right? And they're like, ha, no. But Lissa's glad that they want to do a knife fight instead of guns because things are complicated in Chicago right now in the underground crime realm. And she tries to be like, at least let the girl leave, please. And the guy spits on the ground and he's like, we have a score to settle for Yuri. She's like, Yuri? He wasn't even one of yours. And the guy's like, he was my cousin. Yeah, his name's Yuri. No matter if he ran with you honorless bitches in the syndicate. Melissa thinks, well, that's just rude. Okay. She's like, okay, well, that at least explains what he was doing in Sokolov territory before he died. And this is the part that I kind of hate. Ready? Okay. So, I didn't even highlight this, but this book made me frustrated more than anything, okay? Still, it explains at last what Yuri was doing in this part of the town the night he died. He did have Sokolov relatives, I remember now. We'd asked him about that when he wanted to join the syndicate. The Bratva were on the way out, he'd said at the time. He had no interest in drug running, and the syndicate suited him better. She also thinks about how he's been a popular member. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever. You are supposed to be good at your job. You're an assassin, and pretty much I would say like the right hand of the leader of the syndicate, the Stick Syndicate. You had to have some guy be like, he was my cousin. You go like, oh yeah, he was Russian. What the fuck do you mean? Hello? And also you're trying to, this whole book is trying to convince me that the syndicate is very good at what it does and that the leader is very good also. But if she didn't remember, you didn't remember, no one giving you some info remembered, how fucking good at this job can you be? The answer is you're not good at it. Anyway, she thinks anyway though. So Yuri might have been this fucker's cousin, but he'd been my brother. Okay, sure. And she's like, I didn't kill Yuri, you morons. In fact, that's why. And then there's no more talking. They're fighting. I don't care about it. Just imagine it, okay? I'll tell you the important bits toward the end. It's really not that important, but she thinks, gotta enjoy your work, right? And these are the only times I really feel alive. Knife fighting some Russians in the street, got it. Edgy. But Scarlet is kind of shrieking in the background and she's like, oh shit, I'm nervous about her being my audience though. And she's like, the last thing I need is Scarlet pointing me out in a lineup. And she thinks to herself that Hadria, who is the leader of the syndicate, will have to pay out more bribes and she won't be happy about it. I feel like we should tack on police corruption to the trigger warnings, but at the same time, like, do we see the police in this book? No, not really. We also learned that she spent a fortune covering up for a big attack that happened on the Elysium. Now, the Elysium is a big manor where they all stay when it's not fucked up, and it's under construction right now, just so you know. Anyway, she's so good at this that she knocks them all out, I think. No, yeah, they're unconscious. They're not dead. Nice of her, I suppose. And then she can hear Scarlet's ragged breathing about the whole thing. When I take a step toward her, she flinches, and those eyes, those lovely forest pools, are wide and afraid. Damn it. I don't think I'm getting laid tonight after all. Okay. I know I talk about it like every time. I don't really care. So women, they're allowed to be bricked up. They're allowed to be excited. However, I don't like when a lot of these authors kind of write that as a character's main motivation and concern. I can't stand it. I think that it's obnoxious. I do not truly believe that that's her main focus as someone who is in organized crime and obviously trying not to get arrested. I don't think that's her main concern, my guy. I don't. But it apparently is chapter 2, Lissa still, hooray. And then she's like, hey, are you hurt? And she's like, I'm fine, but like, who's Yuri? Not the question I expected. She's clearly rattled, but there's a curious contradiction in her body language and her actual language. No, what the fuck? No, stay the hell away from me. No screaming for help. It suggests a core of steel beneath the big eyes and the soft hair. But I file that observation away for later as I reach out a hand to help her to her feet. I find it odd that someone who is in a mafia group that primarily is mostly consisted of women and is run by women underestimates a woman so horrifically simply because she's cute or whatever. I find that crazy. Now I understand it's partially because she's bricked up. I understand that. However, it's annoying. I want women who are calculating. I want women who are vicious. I want women who are good at things. And when you force me to be in these terrible fucking monologues, that's not what you're doing. You're not giving me. I know I talk about the Lockton way too much. I don't care. I want Harrow Hark level of writing herself many letters before a certain event in her own book that makes it difficult for her to remember things. But she knows herself enough to know that she will actually do what she needs to do. I want that level of pre-planning, bitch. She helps Scarlet to her feet and she's like, you're hurt. Because there's a large gash in her upper arm. It's not deep, it's not life-threatening, but Lissa thinks she'd like a tetanus shot or something given the shitty state of the Sokolov knives. God knows what bacteria were crawling all over their blades. I mean, when you're trying to kill somebody, I don't think you give a rat's ass if they get infected. I think, isn't that what you're hoping for? Like, if you don't get them in the initial getting them, like, aren't you trying to make sure they're dead? Stupid. And Scarlet is like, this needs to be properly cleaned and bandaged. I can help. And Lissa's like, no offense, sweetheart, but the last thing I need is you poking around in an open wound. And her jaw sets a little bit, but Lissa finds it endearing that she's stubborn. She's like, I'm a third-year medical student. I may not be a brain surgeon, but I know my way around stitches and wound care. I can neither confirm nor deny. I don't know what goes on in medical school. What I don't tell her is that usually I call on one of the syndicate medics to look me over, but lately it's been real tough getting hold of any of them. They're all too busy or out of town or retired. It's getting to be a problem. We have bigger ones to deal with at the moment. The assassin for one. The boss's impending wedding for another. Yeah, the wedding is gonna be a big deal, okay? Keep that in the back of your mind. Yeah, it'd be a pain in the ass to find a medic to patch me up, and besides, Scarlet is sexy as hell. She's the one good thing about tonight. She's like, fine, have it your way. I'm like, you are dumb as hell. You're dumb as hell. She's like, but we gotta go somewhere else because I don't want to be around when these guys come to. And Scarlet's like, we can go to my place. And Lissa thinks that sounds like a really good offer. So they decide to do that. Page break. And Lissa thinks it's a little bit weird on the drive back that Scarlet doesn't ask any questions. Not about Yuri, not about the Bratva, not about Lissa, not about who she is, how she learned to fight like that, what problems she might have caused if, like, they think that she killed Yuri. But I like that she's not curious. It'll make things so much easier when I sneak out in the early hours. I think you're dumb. I think any normal hookup, even if they're still into this for some reason, even though you're clearly associated with some kind of crazy gang violence, would be asking some serious questions. Some serious questions. No one can accuse any of these characters of being bright, okay? But she just keeps checking her out because she's so pretty. And there's like a tranquility about her. She's relaxed. It's like watching two completely different women. The frightened doe from the alley and this unruffled creature. Terrified one moment, unflappable the next. And you don't think that's a little weird? They go up to Scarlet's apartment and there is an old laptop and some scattered textbooks and a coffee machine, but there's really not a lot. But it's the little things that snag my attention. No photos for one thing. No TV either. Hey, bitch. Use your brain.
Use your brain! Use your brain! Use your brain! The thing in your head, use it!
I'm not saying some people who are poor don't have like bare minimum shit. However, I will also say that in the kind of weird fucking economy we're in, this book isn't that old either. You can buy a TV for not that much money. I got the one in here for under $100. You can buy, I mean, I got a fucking DVD player at Ollie's for $20 and I didn't think I'd ever live to see that, you know? You can buy things and it's not that hard to do. Getting like real capital gains, such as, you know, housing, like things that create generational wealth, like investments, housing, whatever, good cars that you don't have to spend all this money fixing all the time. That is something that is inaccessible to poorer people. So it is a little weird that she doesn't have really anything in there, especially if she's a third year medical student. You're telling me she hasn't like gotten anything given away from like dorm giveaways or anything? I just think that Lissa is only thinking with her devil's doorbell, and she's not thinking about the larger picture. She's like, wow, you must be really dedicated to your studies, huh? And she's like, yeah, that's kind of why this happened. Like, all I've been doing is studying. I needed a break and I felt a little reckless. And Lissa's like, you got your adventure in the end. And Scarlett has her take a seat so she can start stitching her up. But don't worry, Lissa bricked up. I can smell her hair products, whatever they are. Flowers and then something richer, sharper, almost pine-like with a darker undercurrent. She smells like ... like a forest. Despite the pain in my arm, I find myself hyper aware of every point where our bodies come in contact. And I can see down her top, see a lacy bra, the same color as her name, lovingly offering up those luscious curves. ... Number one, I wrote in my notes, I was like, 25 people highlighted this. Oh my god. Also, her having her boobs in her bra in her shirt and you just sort of being able to see them, she's not offering you shit. She's leaning over you and you happen to see her honkers. Stop this. And so she's just checking her out this whole time and whatever. I feel a smolder low in my gut. Okay. I'm glad it's in your gut, not where it should be, okay? Sorry if you hear any chewing, it's 2 o'clock. So Scarlett is like, that's gonna need a couple stitches, and in true edgelord fashion, Lissa is like, nah. She's like, is the big bad wolf afraid of a needle, of a little needle? She's like, no, but the cut's not that deep. She's like, I'll be the judge of that. She's like, why did they call you that? The big bad wolf, I mean. And then Lissa is like, don't stick me with any anesthetic, I warn, as she picks up a fucking syringe. I don't need it. And she's like, fine. And she puts down the syringe and she grabs Lissa's arm, which makes Lissa jerk a little bit because she's not used to being touched all that often. And she's like, look over there and stay still. She's like, I don't need to look away. For the first time, her confidence wavers. It's ... been a minute since I've done this. I need to concentrate and I can't if you're staring at me like that. At least she didn't call me out for staring down her top, I guess. You are so stupid. This character is so stupid. Anyway, she stitches her up and then she's like, they're done. She's like, there's towels in the bathroom and everything and you can take a shower because there's blood in your hair. By the way, not that it really matters, but Lissa is blonde and like more mask, I guess, and she has like big muscles. She's on the cover of the second one. You got a little blood on you there too, I say, nodding at a smear on her wrist below where the gloves end. Feel like joining me? Not subtle, I know, but subtlety has never been my strong suit, especially not where beautiful women are involved. Hi, you don't have to tell me that this isn't subtle because I already knew that. I parsed that together with my superior intellect. I know that you guys think that readers, they don't know anything. They're stupid little babies. You need to hold their hand and point out every single fucking thing. You don't. I don't need you to do that, okay? Okay. And Scarlett's like, you know what? I really could use a shower. I stand and she does too, stepping well inside my personal space. The scent of her surrounds me, her eyes inviting me in, and I raise an eyebrow at her unexpected boldness. This isn't the cowering, anxious woman from the alleyway. This Scarlett is all sin and temptation and challenge, and I'll be damned if I'm not enthralled. Hi. We live in 2026. I know that we're having a rise of fascism and the world sucks. However, in the United States of America, why do you feel the need to use the word sin in that way? It really bothered me in Collateral Damage, and it kind of bothers me here too because you kill people for a living. You kill people for a living. It's your job to kill people. You're telling me that sex, that's the thing that you consider sin or whatever? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't feel like it has the vibes. And if this devolved into like the craziest kinky relationship you've ever seen. Fine, okay, fine. It's not. There's nothing that depraved about it. There's nothing that sinful about it. So like, why? Whatever. And Alyssa's like, okay, let's get you out of those dirty clothes then. And the tops of her breasts are quivering as they threaten to spill out. I didn't realize they could quiver. I must be doing something wrong. Come on, she says, brushing past me and heading out of the room. Time to get wet. I'm sick of it. It's not funny. I don't know why. I don't even think it's supposed to be funny. It would be one thing if it was, but it's supposed to be sexy, I think. Nothing. And if you like it, good. I wish I could like some of this horribly written shit, because like I would have so many options to choose from when it comes to smut, okay? But when I want to read smut, like for the actual intended purpose, I know that that's TMI. I don't care. I've had the worst year of my life, okay? And 2026 isn't looking like it's going to be any better. I don't want the author to, one, talk down to me like I'm stupid. I'm busy. I don't need that. Number two, I don't want your sorry, tepid attempts at making this hot or whatever when they just so clearly are not. And I understand that sometimes people say things in the moment. In the heat of the moment. This is not one of the things I would want to be said to me, okay? And this is my channel, so I'm allowed to say that. Chapter 3, Lissa. It's gonna take forever. Don't worry, guys. Scarlett's bra matches her thong. Huzzah. Scarlett put some kind of patch on her arm and is like, okay, you can like get that wet, but like don't take it off for 7 days, okay? I would literally agree to anything at all she suggested right now. Sure, you are not competent at your job, I fear. Also, like, can we just talk about how like it isn't even just the job necessarily. It's also the fact that this kind of a job doesn't leave you when you go home. This kind of job doesn't just like stop being relevant to your life and the potential of someone trying to murder you. So some woman being in a bar she's not supposed to be in according to you, having all these fucking red flags pop up, and then also like you being like, I'd do anything she said right now. Hello? You're asking to get murdered. Okay. And Scarlett's like, I'm glad you let me take care of you. Would you let me do a little more? And then they start kissing and shit. I don't know. Well, I mean, Scarlett starts kissing like her shoulder and her arms and whatever. And then they start making out. Okay. There's a little attempt at banter, I think. And then Scarlett is like, can I? And then Lissa is like, honey, you can do whatever you want. I flatten my hands on the wall to brace myself and then add, I mean, whatever you want to do that is actually possible in this tiny fucking shower. Oh. Yeah. And then Scarlett is going to the clam buffet. And you're like, Shelby, you're not complaining about how fast this is. There's only one reason why I'm not, and it is plot related. I promise. I mean, I'm judging Lissa a little bit. I understand that casual sex is a thing. It's not for me, but it's a thing that people do. And I am able to accept it in books when it's written well, sort of. But you know what's an insta-love story that eviscerated me? Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. Do they see each other, start like hanging out, get drunk, married in Vegas, and then continue to kind of be into each other through the whole book? Yeah, but that's not all the book was about, and it was written well. It can be done. These people just refuse to do it. There's some good girl crap. This whole thing is pretty much the same as every other kind of erotica scene that's really boring and played out in the same. There's electricity, there's shit that shouldn't be there. You know, it's the same shit, different fucking day. And there's an attempt at edging, I think, but I don't really care. There's a growl of frustration. And then I also just feel like the dialogue is weird. So Scarlett, there's a couple different areas. Lissa is saying, yeah, right there. That's it right there, whatever. And then Scarlett answers, glad you approve, which is weird. Weird, I feel. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. And then there's the get to the end of the clam dinner, you know, on my face, please. And then Lissa says, I'd be fucking delighted to. I grit out from between clenched teeth as soon as you, yeah, that. Like, I'd be delighted to. Like, whose brain cells are firing this well? Like, I'm not trying to pick synonyms of things that most people will regularly say. I know one of my complaints is that it's the same shit in every sex scene. However, I feel like I would complain less if they had just talked more like normal people. I don't know. Anyway, gets there, there's pulsing with aftershocks or whatever, and they're making out again, and then She thinks this shit, okay? And now I need to stick my tongue elsewhere. I want to taste that neatly trimmed little P word, kitty cat, you know? I'm petting, need it so bad. I might just beg for it, but I don't have to. Okay. And then I don't understand, I guess, the neatly trimmed comment. Like, I understand that the author is trying to describe it to me, I suppose. However, I don't know if I'm the only person who feels this way. And I guess chime up in the comments if you feel the need. I have never given a rat's ass in a story about what anyone's fucking pubic region looks like hair-wise. It has never been relevant to me. It has never mattered. Get it together a little bit, okay? Sometimes things are pertinent. This time, I don't feel like it is. Like, I guess you're trying to tell me she's well-groomed or whatever, but like, I feel like the default for most people is that we assume that it is, and that unless there's something really wrong and then you need to describe it, there's no point. But whatever. Anyway, she's like, Lissa gets down on her knees and she wants to go to the cooter buffet, and she's like ride me, like sit on my shoulders or whatever, I'll hold you up. Except without much talking at all, she decides to put a finger in the back door without asking. You just met and that's a weird thing to do. That's a weird thing to do. Hello? As the wonderful Sabrina Carpenter would say.
But never entered the back door.
And apparently it's fine though because Scarlett likes it, and she gets off, and it says she gets off. I mean, it's the C word, okay? I'm trying to be better. I swear like a sailor. I know I do. But if I ever have any hopes of making any money, I gotta stop. Hard, right? Flooding my tongue, and she tastes exactly like she looks, lush and darkly sweet. What does that mean? Look, what does that mean? I'm a switch. I'm open to shit. I've done things. I'm an adult. I'm 31. What does that mean? Because yeah, everyone has like their own tastes sort of or whatever. I mean, I feel like there's a base profile that's mostly similar, but then there's like extra whatever it is about you that is different. What do you mean? What do you mean? Explain it. Explain it. And then they're both like, you know, happy until this. For a few blissful moments, we simply hold each other, breasts sliding against each other, the water raining down around us. This is also an insane waste of water, by the way, whatever. Well, I mean, they both got off so fast, maybe it's not. What do I know? But then as the haze of pleasure begins to clear, something shifts in Scarlett's expression as she turns her face to look into mine. Something almost like ... hate. I blink and the expression is gone, if it was even there in the first place. But suddenly I'm reminded of who I am, of the world I inhabit and the dangers that lurk around every corner. Dumb as a box of rocks, I fear. There were so many obvious signs in my opinion, and again, I'm pretty sure I'm autistic. And I was like, that's the other thing though, is that I'm autistic and I was forced to actually like mask 24/7, 365. It's becoming a problem now because I'm like, I don't even know what I need or what I would do without this. But anyway, I was forced to learn social cues, as a lot of autistic women are as children. So I'm literally like, you who are not autistic at all, you don't really have any impairment of any kind. Not that autism is an impairment, but you know what I mean. Like, there's nothing stopping you from understanding the signs around you except for how horny you are, and you didn't notice any of these things. That's insane. Scarlett pulls back, her expression unreadable once more. That was ... nice, she says. Nice? I had her fucking world shaking, but I just nod, still taken aback by that glimpse of something darker lurking beneath the surface. I wonder exactly what secrets lie behind those haunting eyes of hers. Don't worry, we'll learn very soon. They get out of the shower, and then Lissa thinks about how it's been too long for her, because I feel like in a lot of these books, these people don't get laid that much. I feel like there's a weird line that the authors always try to ride in this type of book, right? Where they're like, I get laid, but I haven't in a while, but I have been in a lot. I'm like, well, what? You don't have to prove it to me. Like, I don't care what you've done or not done, quite honestly. I don't think most people walk around thinking that, but okay. But she thinks about how she should make time for my needs, not with Scarlett, obviously. I'm a one and done girl, and this whatever it is has reached its natural end. I reach for the towel she indicates and pretend not to stare at her as she dries off with her own. Yeah, you already said that before. You said that because of your job, you can't have like a real relationship, and so you do one night stands, but you're pretty well known in the lesbian community, blah, 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 blah. I didn't need you to repeat it. Thanks so much. Thanks so much. And then she thanks Scarlet and was like, thanks for the assistance tonight on more than one front. Okay. And Scarlet says, believe me, the pleasure was all mine. And she's like, I gotta get going. And Scarlet's like, you can stay. Like, why don't you have a drink? Like, I was gonna ask you for a drink, like, before we got jumped by those guys. Also, there's this nonsense right after this for some reason about her hair, and I kind of get the thought process, but at the same time I don't. It feels very collateral damage to me. I pull back my hair and tie it up into my usual ponytail. Maybe I should get bangs like Scarlet. Even easier to keep my hair out of my eyes. I'd buzz it, but then I'd have to maintain it, and I can't be fucked. She's still looking at me hopeful. We couldn't have said bother this one time. It's okay. We don't have to be the edgiest edgelord to ever edgelord, okay? But then she says, Scarlet, this was kind of a singular event. This was a singular night. Like, it was great. Not gonna happen again. We had a good time though, right? Her expression doesn't waver, but I see the barest flash of something in her eyes. Disappointment, anger. It's gone before I can decipher it, leaving me even more unsettled. And Scarlet's like, of course, it was super fun. And Alyssa feels like she's a little sarcastic now, but whatever. She's like, when they called you the wolf, you never told me. What did they mean? And then we get this. Oh my god. You should know, I tell her over my shoulder, and then do a double take at the expression on her face. I just ate you all up, didn't I? I add, the joke seems to fall flat, so I just give an up nod in farewell and head out. Strange night, strange girl, but she really was fascinating, ... What the fuck? Shut up. And then we get this. It's chapter 4, Scarlet. Finally, Jesus. I watched the wolf saunter out of the apartment, that cocky swagger burning into my retinas. As soon as the door clicks shut behind her and her footsteps fade, I head back into the bathroom where my facade shatters. I don't know why you had to say your retinas. Why just your retinas? Like, whatever. She's angry at herself and she's slapping herself in the face back and forth to punish herself. Crazy town. Crimson blooms on the skin of my mirror self. A twisted parody of the aroused flush Lissa had brought to my face just moments ago as she brought me to a mind-blowing, oh, sex can be a weapon. I thought I would be capable of wielding it against Lissa, but she turned it against me. How could I have faltered so disgracefully? I had the wolf in my trap, naked and vulnerable. The scissors were there on the side of the sink where I could reach them from the shower, just waiting for me to drive them deep into her temple, into her neck, into her heart. Grandmother will punish you. I hiss at my reflection, and you deserve it. And then she like keeps hitting herself. Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? It's so stupid. But even though she's angry at herself, she thinks that Lissa was so beautiful and strong and terrifying. No wonder I fell to my knees for her. I think that just none of you are good at your jobs. I think also you all might have in these fucking books, like I know what a hyperbole is, but at the same time I'm like, I think that you guys need to see a doctor about your hormonal levels, your hormonal imbalance, because I think that this is absurd. All that work down the drain, all that carefully gathered intel, all those syndicate members killed in an effort to draw out the wolf, and when I finally did ... I fucked up. I fucked her. Sex can be a weapon. Yeah, well, you can't use it as one, obviously, so I don't know. And I know that in these stories, the messaging is always, it's not all people that I find attractive. There's just something special about this one person that I need to murder. Somebody sedate me. So we learn, not exactly right here, but she's just like, if I don't hold on to my anger, I won't ever get justice for Adam. This cannot happen again. I've remade myself since Adam's murder, forged myself into a weapon in the hellfire of grandmother's house, and it was all with one purpose, to deliver justice, to kill the wolf. But my mind drifts treacherously back to the shower, the scorching press of her body against mine, the hungry intensity blazing in those unreadable brown eyes as she ran her hands over me, making me arch under her touch, the way we seemed to fit like pieces of a cosmic puzzle, snapping perfectly into place, ... So we're gonna find out who Adam is really fucking fast, okay? Because it's one of these books and we can't leave anything not revealed for too long, but he's very important to her. He is so important to her that she has thrown away most of her life now, like a huge portion of her life, to get revenge for his murder. Also, you're telling me she's an assassin because it's heavily implied, but we learn very quickly that she killed the other syndicate members, including Yuri. You're telling me she's a good assassin and she just gets so horny about Lissa that you're telling me she's so bricked up about this one person that she's supposed to kill, the one person who killed this person who's incredibly important to her, that she just gave up and just fucked her. I think you guys need to go to a class about how to write women. And I'm not saying that characters can't have flaws, but when it comes to like dark romance or any of these romance books, really their weakness is sex every single time. Write something else. Write something else. Also, did you not know you can buy really cool sex toys for yourself? Balesa, sponsor me. Anyway, she fantasizes about killing Lissa and how easily it would have been and blah, 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 blah. And then she kind of gets freaked out by thinking about all this shit. What have I become? The violence and the bloodshed, ... It's rotting me from the inside out, stripping away all those ideals and convictions I once held so dear. I was going to be a surgeon, working to ease suffering, not this twisted monster I've been warped into. I hurl the scissors across the room. They crash into the tiled wall with a clatter, then fall to the floor. I've come too far now. I can't go back. And I can't lose myself completely. Not yet. Not while Adam's death remains unanswered. I have to be stronger than my base urges and stronger than the darkness festering within me. And then she thinks all about how if I don't do this, if I keep letting it consume me, I'll be just like her, just like Lissa, devoid of humanity or mercy. Like, I think that you're already like that, but okay. Killing Yuri turned out to be a useful move, even though it shook me up. His eager, smiling help when I asked him to walk me back to my car, ... He didn't even see the switchblade stiletto. Probably didn't even feel it. It was in his heart before he would have had time, and he was dead before he hit the ground, just like Adam. I think that mayhaps there are easier and faster ways to murder a person than like the heart with all the stuff around it protecting it and shit. But what do I know? We'll just pretend that it's fine. Page break. So the next morning she reports to her shift at her cafe job that she's taken as cover as she like watched Lissa from afar, and she never comes in here. None of the syndicate ever do, but it is close to the hotel they're staying at while that big manor, the Elysium, is repaired. And we find out that the hotel is owned by the Bianchi family from New York. She found that out from grandmother, and she's not really doing great at the pretending to be well adjusted now because, you know, these people are edgelords. They're going to be edgelords 365. But it's a paper thin front. It only takes one comment, one disrespectful insult to tear my composure into confetti. Hey, sweet thing, how about pouring me some of that special service with a smile? Oh, look, a man telling a woman to smile. But she can't handle herself because she's also a toddler. Like, you'd think you'd have restraint, because what makes you an assassin isn't that you're walking around murdering every single person you see. It's that you do it when you need to and you don't when you don't. But distorted rage rips through my vision. All I can see is the customer's punchable face and imagine my fist in it. The plastic pitcher handle creaks ominously in my white-knuckled grip as fury blots out all reason. I picture launching the scalding hot coffee into this pig's yellow-toothed grin, blinding him with boiling liquid before silencing his anguished howls with a well-timed slice to the neck, his cries choking off, his hands clawing uselessly at his gushing throat, ... And then she is like sickened by her own imagining of this. However, I would argue that we've all thought that about creepy ass men before. However, I do think it's interesting that a lot of these make men ugly, like the creepy men ugly. Hot men can be disgusting too. The more you know. She makes it to the toilet and nurse bile and throw up or whatever. No, it's just bile. Just kidding. She just thinks, what's happening to me? These all-consuming violent impulses, this desperate thirst for destruction and cruelty, ... These must be what Lissa feels all the time. I never used to be this way. Grandmother's merciless indoctrination has reworked my soul into something I don't recognize. I'm becoming a beast governed by hate and the primitive urge to tear, to kill, to destroy, just like the wolf. That's what you wanted. I remind myself, that's the point of all this. I cut myself off from the rest of humanity so that I could focus on nothing but justice. I don't see my parents anymore. A few years ago, I gave up visiting them when they said my rage scared them, tried to push me to therapy. Therapy isn't going to get justice for Adam. So I know that we're having a good, fun time with like a mafia crime thing going on, right? However, I would just like to say justice is an odd concept to me, personally. So justice to me feels like a combination combination of many things when we're talking about, like, because she was living a normal life before this, so I'm assuming we mean in a criminal justice type sense of whatever. The idea of preventing them from doing it again makes sense to me. The idea that you kind of want revenge or something similar to that kind of makes sense to me. Like, obviously the entire criminal justice system is incredibly punitive on purpose. You're taking away people's rights and their ability to do anything that they would ever want to do again. I mean, unless you really like murder and you want to do that more in prison. I mean, they're not great at stopping that from what I can discern, but I do think it's an odd concept because what justice is supposed to be, I think, is making things right or something. I don't really understand how most non-autistic people think about things, I guess. To me, the thing is like, no matter what happens to that other person, especially when it comes to murder, they are never going to, like, no matter what happens to the person who did it, the person you love is never going to come back. You are never going to get what you actually want. And I'm not saying like the not wanting them to do it to someone else isn't like a noble thing to want, because it is. I certainly feel that way about, you know, the essay that I have been through. However, I'm not saying people shouldn't go to jail ever, because they definitely should, and like for murder, that's pretty bad, yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, I guess I can't completely wrap my head around the way our culture in the United States views justice when there's injustice everywhere and the government is now sanctioning it. You know what I mean? Like, the Justice Department is a joke. So I understand wanting to take it in your own hands like she's doing right now. However, at the same time, I'm like, you are never going to get the thing you want unless the only thing you want is for Lissa to never be able to do it again. If that's what you want, that's fine, but it doesn't feel like that's what she wants, you know? Anyway, she's trying to like beat herself into submission and being like, I can't afford this weakness right now. Blah, blah, blah. And she thinks about Adam dying because Adam died in her arms, so she replays like what it looked like his lifeless body, like him getting all pale, all that. And she thinks to herself, this is the only way I remember him these days. Even if it costs me everything, I will bring justice to the woman they call the wolf. And she's like, and I need to stop clinging to notions of normalcy. She comes back out, she gives her coworkers her immediate notice, and they all look shocked, and she's just like, bye. She takes the apron off and she's out of here. And then she stops at that guy who was a creepy, weird jerk, and she slaps him across the face, and she smiles when he threatens to sue her. You don't want to fuck with me, I tell him. The same intense tone Lissa used when she walked into the bar last night and made a group of drunk lechers scatter away from me. He cringes away from me in a very satisfying way, and the fear in his face warms my heart. Okay, good for you, I guess, but you know, if you're trying to be an assassin of a literal assassin, you might not want to draw attention to yourself. Like, getting sued or like arrested by the cops is like a problem. Anyway, she's walking back to her fake apartment, the one that she took Lissa to. It's not her real apartment. That much was fucking obvious in my opinion. They're just props. She's holding on to her old studies, pretending I was still a medical student was only holding me back. I think you could have killed her if you'd actually wanted to do that. I think you could have. And you've already killed many other people, so I don't see why she's such a big deal, but okay. And she pulls out her burner phone, and she sees in the tracking app, because she has a tracker on Lissa, where Lissa's walking around in that hotel, and she's like, now all I have to do is wait and watch and follow. Chapter 5, Lissa. She has slept most of the day, which is common for the syndicate members. They're pretty much overnighters like me. They go over again that they're using this as the temporary headquarters. I got it, thank you. Usually we avoid taking business in this hotel. None of us are foolish enough to think every word we say isn't getting back to the Bianchi boss's ears. But the fact that someone is picking off syndicate members isn't exactly news. Basically the situation, I'm gonna try to explain it as best as I understand it. They want the head of the Italian New York Bianchi family's Mafia, Juno, to partner with them to do more crime shit. However, she's kind of hesitant to do that right now because of the gang situation that's going on in Chicago. She's kind of worried about it, and she's kind of like barely dipping her toes in. So she goes to the boss's suite, and Aurora, who is the woman that Hadria's gonna marry, lets her in. And she calls Aurora Susie, and I don't really know why. It's like she's Susie Sunshine, blah, blah, blah. Maybe that's from the other books, because I know some of the other books are about them. Can't lie, based on the plot, I am more interested in their books than than these ones. I don't know if I'm gonna keep up with this. I don't know. Like, if you guys want me to, I will. And do it all for you. Anyway, Hadria's there and she is scowling. Again, my boss. And like Alyssa's like finally some action. But as I get closer, my excitement deflates. These aren't syndicate plans. They're fucking wedding plans. Yeah, she's getting married, loser. And Hadria isn't really even paying attention to Alyssa because she's like checking out her soon-to-be wife. Hell yeah. Also, they call Hadria Hades a lot as like her mob name or something. I don't think you need like a fake name, but okay. Is it a nickname? I don't know. And she has a love-struck glow about her. And Alyssa's like, it'd be sickening if I wasn't so happy for her. I'm like, okay. She sits there and watches them, and then she thinks love is a weakness, a distraction. And the way Hadria has changed since Aurora only proves my point. She has something to lose now. She has something that enemies can use for leverage. That's why I prefer my encounters quick and dirty, like with... Except she doesn't prefer that because we wouldn't have the plot of these damn books if she did prefer that. Also, like, I understand like some characters in other books being like love is a weakness, but this is like a Mafia. I don't know how to tell y'all this. Mafia people get married. Mafia people, they get married, they have kids, they pass it on to their little mob children. So it's odd that you are like love is a weakness and now they have something to use against her. And also, the more we learn about Aurora, the more stupid this is, in my opinion. Hadria is like, Lissa, I want you to be my best woman, which is crazy because you don't know that your best woman was just thinking that love is a weakness. And she's like, me? What about Mrs. Graves? And she's like, she's the matron of honor for both of us. Anyway, I don't really know why she's flabbergasted that her boss, Hadria, wants her to, or Hadria, I don't know, who cares, wants her to be the woman of honor, best woman, whatever it is. When like we learn about their history, it's stupid and doesn't make any fucking sense why she's surprised. Why she's making a surprised Pikachu face. Shut up. And Aurora sees the wound, is like, oh my god, what happened? She's like, it's just a scratch, it's not a big deal, like calm down. But she just keeps thinking about Scarlet. I've been very determinedly keeping her out of my mind since I woke up, and here she is worming her way back in, ... You have not tried at all, shut up. And Hadria's like, what did you get yourself into? It's like, forget about me, it's worse than a couple of stitches. It's like, we've got bigger things going on than a couple of stitches, okay? Can we talk about business for a sec or what? And Hadria tosses aside the seating chart with a sigh. And she gives Aurora a kiss. And she's like, go get some coffee and pastries for Mrs. Graves. And she's like, will you sunshine? I think it's about the sunshine shit. I don't get that either. Stop with the nicknames. I am begging. And we learn that Mrs. Graves is helping a lot with the wedding planning, but that she also keeps trying to like give her protection the slip, and we need to talk to her again. We're gonna talk about why she matters in a hot sec, but she keeps ditching her bodyguards. And Hadria's like, I've already talked to her. Can you guys please try to talk to her? Because she won't listen. And Aurora's like, I will try. And as soon as Aurora's gone, Hadria's like not happy anymore. Like her like happy demeanor is just like gone. She's like, ugh, fair enough. Maybe don't be a crime lord if all you want to do is mac on your soon-to-be wife, all right? I don't know. And she's just like, so, the assassin, what's up with that? And she's like, yeah, I was trying to track the assassin down by like retracing Yuri's steps a little bit, but I got sidetracked. I got jumped. And Hadria's like, by the assassin? She's like, no, by a bunch of Sokolovs who were looking to even the score. And she's like, did you even call the cleaners? Like, I didn't hear. And she's like, I let them live. I had a witness with me, a girl from the back. But if the boss is bothered by my indiscretion, she doesn't show it. I've told you, Lissa. I've told all of you. I'm not destabilizing Chicago, for fuck's sake, I sigh in exasperation. This is where we learn that a lot is hinging upon the wedding, because remember Juno Bianchi, right? She, by the way, you're gonna be like, it looks like Bianchi. I've taken Italian from my ex's grandma, who I still like and who is the only member of that family I'm okay with at the moment. The CHI is like a key. It's not like chi, it's key. So Bianchi. She RSVP'd maybe to the wedding. And this guy named Johnny DeLuca, who is Juno's advisor, said that she will come to the wedding as long as Chicago remains stable. And Hadria really, really wants her to be there in the church when she gets married, because it's basically a public endorsement of Juno's. And she's like, I hope you took care of the situation, right? And she's like, yeah, of course I did. And Hadria is like, and is the witness hurt? Like, how'd that go? And she's like, no, she was a little shaken up, but she proved tougher than she looked. And she's like, she's the one who sewed me up back at her place. I know that your boss is your friend, but it's also weird. And thankfully, Hadria is about as done with this as I feel inside. She's like, I see. Well, as entertaining as your exploits sound, I need you back on the mission, please. She doesn't say please. I like her. I am tempted to read the books about her and Aurora, but I also hated this book, so not that tempted. Bully me into it. And she's like, hey, the assassin is causing a lot of fucking problems by killing a lot of our members, and Juno Bianchi is getting antsy, and she agreed to a partnership only because things are stabilizing here in Chicago, and if she pulls out, she's like, she won't pull out. Insert sex joke. And she's like, I need all of your efforts neutralizing this threat. My jaw tightened. Seriously, Lissa? She said, seriously, Lissa, does she think I'm fucking around? Okay, well, maybe a little. It's been 2 weeks since Yuri was killed, and I really should have tracked down that Sokolov territory bar long before last night. I could blame all the fuss about the wedding of the fucking century taking up time. A happy couple have held more than one engagement party here at the Empire Grand, but it would just be an excuse. And getting distracted by a pretty face when I was there for intel last night was a rookie move. One that could prove fatal with a killer on the loose. Yeah, I don't know why, when so much is riding on this wedding for Hadria, why she trusts you. We're meant to believe that it's because of all of her past success, but I've never seen any of the success. I've only seen this colossal fuck up where she almost got assassinated but she doesn't even know it, and where she didn't get the intel that she was literally there to get, and she wasn't helping keep Chicago stable because she was in the Russian territory and she got surrounded by, who would have thunk it, a bunch of Russians. Like, you're stupid. Like, I wouldn't put you on this job. Do it myself at this point. And Hadria's like, good. Well, like, because she's like, I get it. I'm gonna do it. And so Hadria's like, good, because I wouldn't send you unless it was important. She's like, the assassin is disturbing. Like, no one has taken credit. I don't feel like you run around shouting, because then she says, if anything, I would have expected them to be shouting it from the rooftops how they're taking on the syndicate and whittling our numbers down. Even Nero was quick to take the credit when it wasn't even him, which Nero is her brother. He's dead now, by the way. And he's the reason why the Elysium is shut down. Again, assuming that's in her books, I don't care. And Hadria says, I need my best on this, and that's you. If she's your best, I'm scared. If she's your best, that's why everyone else is getting assassinated really easy. I said what I said, okay? The unasked for praise still sends a swell of pride through me. We have a long history together, and I know nothing could ever come between us, but it's still nice to hear her acknowledge our bond, especially given all the time she's spending with Aurora lately. I get it, and I don't grudge them for it, but I can't deny I felt a little well, lonely. See, she's like, yeah, Hadria and I, we go way back. We're not like into each other, but like we know all each other's shit for the most part. We go way back. We hung out all the time. I feel a little lonely now that she's getting married. She's hanging out with her fiance so much, but I don't know why she wanted me to be her best woman or what, groomswoman, whatever it is, whatever it may be. Why are you surprised? Why are you saying kill surprise? Like, no. And she's like, you don't need to worry about it. I'll take care of it. You work on the fairy tale wedding. And I can't wait to see you in a big poofy dress. And Hadria's like, fuck you. And she like dismisses her with her head. See, again, I'm more interested in Hadria than I am in this bitch. She almost runs into Mrs. Graves. We'll learn why she's important again very soon, I promise. And she's like, where's the fire, dear? And she's like, nothing. I'm just gonna give this another look, and like points at her arm. And Mrs. Graves is like, oh, Lessa, that doesn't look good at all. Like, come on, let's get you patched up in my room. I just imagine she's 80. I know she's probably not, but that's just how I choose to imagine her. And she's like, no, I have work to do. And then Mrs. Graves gives her a very stern look. And she's like, look, I need to track down this assassin asshole, okay? And Hadria and Susie want to see you, right? She's like, if the arm is still feeling bad later, I'll come to your room and let you poke in it. And we get this exposition dumped to us because readers are stupid. Mrs. Graves is the closest thing to a mother that I've known. She took a teenage Hadria and me in off the streets after we tracked down her daughter's killer and gave out the gift of justice. She and Hadria have both seen me at my worst and still stood by me, becoming the only real family I've ever known. So when she makes me promise to come see her if it's not feeling better, I do promise and I mean it. So I wish wish we could have learned about this some other way, for fuck's sake. But also, you and Hadria have been very close since you were teenagers. You were taken in together by the same woman. You don't know why Hadria wants you to be the best woman at her fucking wedding? Are you shitting me? It literally said that she was like, what was the word? I think it was blindsided. I think blindsided was the exact word used. How can that be? Anyway, she goes back to her room, peels off the waterproof bandage, even though Scarlett said not to. It's like red and inflamed, and when she pokes at it, it's painful. Did those fuckers deliberately load up their blades with tetanus or something? Or maybe I should have listened to Scarlett and let her give me that antibiotic shot. Scarlett. Again, I'm thinking about Scarlett. Damn it. What is it about her? Something about her haunted eyes and strange fragility over strength has burrowed into my brain in a way no one night stand ever has before. It's not just the sex, though that sure was memorable. No, it's something else. Some weird sense of ... I'm not superstitious, but I'd almost call it a sense of foreboding, of fate. Even in Mafia books, I can't escape this shit. God, I wanted more about like actual crime and people being good at their jobs. No, do this. Get it together. She's like, I have to focus on taking down the assassin. Yeah, we know. We were there. You never shut up. An assassin who's making me look like a fucking amateur in front of Hadria. No, I think you're doing that. I think you're doing that. I think it taking you 2 weeks to track down where Yuri was and why he died over there is stupid as fuck. I think that you should know that he's Russian. You're like, he was like a brother to me. Oh my god, I forgot he was Russian. Forgot he had Russian gang connections. You're stupid as fuck. And it's time for the wolf to go hunting. Okay, all right. Chapter 6, Scarlett. Scarlett is following Lissa to a dive bar called the Drunken Hog on the outskirts of the city. And she thinks that this is perfect because it's close enough to the bar from last night for a new chance encounter, but far enough away from both the syndicates and just outside of the Sokolov's territory that her presence won't seem too suspicious. I think you showed up 2 nights in a row. Would be suspicious, but Lissa's an idiot. So if she starts asking questions, I'll just flutter my eyelashes and make that scared face that got her so hot last night. You know, she'll fall for that. So I actually think Scarlett is the smarter one of the two. And she's wearing very specific clothes, including the jeans from last night, because she knows that Lissa was checking out her butt. If I'm going to manipulate her back to my apartment for a second time, I'll need every advantage. And so as I apply a bright red lipstick, I steel myself for the act to come. This has to be flawless. I don't know why I didn't just do it last night. There are other buff, hot, blonde women in Chicago. Like, there must be. There has to be. Go to like a gym or something. Anyway, she gets there. Lissa looks bored until she sees Scarlett. Scarlett comes up to her and is like, buy a girl a drink. And she knows that Lissa is just looking at her cleavage. And she's like, you haven't learned your lesson, huh? And she's like, what are you talking about? This is my local. And she's like, I know where you live. Remember Uptown? And she's like, okay, look, I know it's stupid. I was on my way somewhere else, actually in an Uber. And we were out at the lights out there, and I happened to glance over and see you out of the window. She's like, well, I guess it felt like fate. Like, the fact that this is gonna work is insane. And she's just like, fate. She repeats blankly. I'm like, yeah, because she's stupid and she thought it was fate earlier. She's like, and I thought maybe you'd let me buy you a drink as a thanks for, well, taking out all those crazy guys last night. Like, I promise I'll never go back there again. And she's like, well, if you insist. And I'm like, this bitch is so stupid. Hadria needs to get a new bestie. Stat, okay? And Lissa's like, if you're expecting this to lead to the same thing as last night. And she's like, it's just a drink between friends. She's like, you help me out. It's the least I can do. And she's like, okay, so Lissa's like, okay, so mysterious woman who hangs out in seedy bars, like, what's your story? What's up with you? Scarlett is like, well, like I said, I'm a medical student. I just finished my clinical rotations at the hospital. Lissa is like, oh, that's why you patched me up so good, huh? And she says, I had a ... family tragedy a few years back. My older brother was killed in a random mugging gone wrong. I let my eyes well with genuine tears at this part. I wanted to go into medicine to see if I could save a few lives. We're talking about her brother, Adam, obviously. It's a twisted version of my life, wanting to save lives. That was the old, naive Scarlett. I'm just like, yes, we know you weren't like this. And then the tragic event that you've been alluding to this entire fucking time happened. And now you're not like that anymore and you're not training to be a doctor. I don't need you to spell it out for me. And Lissa is like, oh, I'm sorry about your brother. That really sucks. Thank thank you. She like dabs at her lashes. It's like, did they catch the guy who did it? She's watching me intently now, sucked into the emotional vortex of my only slightly fictional backstory. I can't resist a slight twist of the knife. The police didn't have any good leads. A random act of senseless violence, they said. Spit the words out bitterly. That's a shitty excuse. And Lissa's like, maybe they're incompetent, the cops. Well, yeah, you work for the Mafia. You know better than anyone. What the fuck? I know it's part of the thing, but I'm just like, you guys live in a city, and I feel like seeing how incompetent the cops are is more prevalent in the city because there's more of them. Want to know how often I actually see like the genuine cops of my town? Once a year when I go into the police station to get my stupid fucking parking pass because I have to live on a road that needs stupid parking lots. And I often don't even see pigs when I go in there either. I see the fucking front desk lady. That's it. I have seen them be stupid though. Don't get me wrong. But like, I feel like it's less common for me than it would be for these people. Scarlett's like, no, I've seen the darker side of the city since I started working in a hospital. And she's like, there's evil out there, real evil. And Lissa's like, well, we both agree with that. But you sound pretty bitter about it. Yeah, her brother got murdered. Huh? And she has some more tears spill over, and Scarlett says, because it's not fair. This I do actually relate to. I've had a hard time lately with the like weird autistic sense of justice shit and the never ending thought cycle of it's not fair. So I can't really judge her for that. And then Lissa's like, life isn't fair. Best to accept that early, sweetheart. And I'm like, yeah, that's so comforting. Thank you. The endearment sends a shiver through me even as I bask in my small victory. I've awakened something akin to empathy in her, even if I don't believe she really feels emotions like empathy or sorrow. But this seems close enough. I mean, she said, life sucks. Get used to it. Like, that's not empathy. I know that she put her hand on your hand, but that's whatever. And she's like, I know you're probably right, but it doesn't make it any easier. But don't worry, Lissa's fingers skim her arm and she feels the throbbing pulse start between her legs. A primal drumbeat of desire. Oh, it's like very coordinated then, I guess, like a drum beat. And Lissa's like, you know what won't help? Going out to shitty, dangerous bars, looking for trouble. Maybe, ... Maybe you could help me out one last time. I suggest tentatively. One last dance before I promise to quit coming out to places like this. And she thinks to herself, get someone to do you a favor. And ironically, they feel indebted to you because you've made them feel useful, humane, as if the wolf could ever be humane. And then Lissa's pupils dilate and she's like, lead the way, Scar.
I'm surrounded by idiots.
Scar is a mood actually in this house. I am surrounded by idiots. My eyebrows go up a little, but I don't protest the nickname. On the contrary, I think it suits me. My soul is covered in scars just as much as Lissa's body is. Also, can you believe that Lissa is falling for this again when she needs intel? That's why she's at this fucking bar and she didn't get any. Dumbass. Page break. They go back to the dummy apartment and she's like, can I take another look at your arm? And she's like, you took that waterproof bandage off. And she's like, yep. Did you get in another fight? And she's like, no. And she's like, then how did the stitches come out? And she's like, I cut them. I had to dig something out. At least this actually ends up being something real because I really thought that Lissa was just falling for this dumb shit again. I can't even lie to you. When I was reading this, I thought she was going to be stupid. She was like, any particular reason you thought it was a good idea to sew a tracker into my arm, Scar? And then it's like, she knows. Saw through my entire ruse. Yeah, it wasn't that complicated of a ruse. She was just horny. And you showing up to the second place is weird. Especially after the tracker shit, but whatever. So she must have brought like the tracker with her in her pants or some shit because how else would she have found her? It was a trap, obviously, which is fine. Like, some of the plot elements are fine. I don't hate them. I just kind of hated how their entire first interaction went. Like, if Lissa was horned up on Maine and had gone to that bar to get laid, not do work, get laid, and she went home with Scarlett and didn't think too heavily about the whole maybe she's actually a spy or the assassin or whatever, that would have been fine. But that's not how it went down. No siree. And she looks at the medical scissors because she's like, I could just try to kill her right now, but I'd never get to the scissors in time. I know that. That's what scared me last night when I saw for the first time how powerful, how tricky, how gifted Lissa really is as a fighter. And she's like, she's already read my mind. If I reach for a weapon now, I might as well sink it into my own throat. And they're just staring at each other. I forget when Lissa grabbed hold of her wrist, but I also don't care. And they're naked. Well, at least Lissa's naked. I don't know. And she has like a wicked smile on and she's like, well, sweetheart, your move. See, I was hoping that this is when it would start to get juicy and I'd start liking it, but unfortunately it kept just explaining things to me like I'm stupid. Chapter 7, Lissa still holding Scarlett's wrist. She leans forward, she's interested. She's like, who are you?
Wait a minute. Who are you?
And she's like, Lissa, please. That quavering, innocent tone pulls at something deep within me. Some forgotten seedling of tenderness I thought withered long ago. But her manipulative act only fuels my suspicion. Like, finally you're suspicious, Jesus Christ. And she's like, who are you? Like, who sent you? The Sokolovs. And she's like, maybe this was a setup from the start. Yeah, no shit it was. You stupid idiot. Like, and then she puts a hand on her hair and she yanks it. But she thinks that it's luscious. I'm like, okay. She's like, don't you dare lie to me. I want to know the truth now. And then immediately it's like the truth about who she really is, what she wants with me. And I won't be satisfied until I've stripped away every fiction to reveal the truth at her core. ... Yeah, I know. So the thing is, you wouldn't have to explain this to me like I'm 5 if this book really was meant for real adults, because the whole who are you, or should I ask who sent you, and then accusing one gang of it, and then the grip on the hand and the aggression could have told me that not only do you want to know the truth about who she really is and who sent her, and that you won't be satisfied until you know every single part of the truth. I could have gathered that. I could have gathered that with my brain, but instead you held my fucking hand. Anyway, Scarlett stops pretending to be an innocent person who's fucking, you know, who's like not trying to kill somebody, you know. And she slams her arm toward the solar plexus. I don't know why we keep using the solar plexus in these books, but it's fine. But Lissa's too good, and she twists aside just in time, and it only like gets her ribs a little. But then Scarlett jabs her fingers into the open wound. Bad bitches only. I stand slowly, never taking my eyes off her. Her chest heaves as she gulps in air. She's afraid. Good. But that delicious edge of fear only whets my appetite. Okay. And she's like, you want the truth? She says, and her voice only has the slightest quiver in it. Good for her. I'm the one who's been targeting your syndicate. My smile only gets wider. You, some silly little girl, got the jump on my people. I don't believe it. I do. That's the thing. I can see it, how she worked it. But I want to hear it from her lips before I kill her. Okay. I'm not some silly little girl. I mean, you're kind of acting like one, but go off. Like, I'm gonna put an end to you, wolf. And she's like, that doesn't really chill me, but it does kind of excite me in my pants. I'm like, okay, girl, I don't need to know about what's going on in there. She thinks to herself as she's watching Scarlett that she's clearly been trained well, but she doesn't have the same amount of experience, and that will make all the difference. And she's like, if you wanted me, why didn't you just come for me? Why kill everyone but me? It's like, I wanted to draw you out. It took a while, but you came looking for me in the end, didn't you? I'm like, I think she was pretty easy to pick up in a bar. I don't think you needed to do all that. I think that the plot of this is a little dumb. She's just like, tell me how you really did it, if you really did. You must be a seasoned warrior to take on so many of us. And she's like, the same way I did with you. I just acted like a damsel in distress, which I did like a bit, except it's in this book, so minus points, obviously. She's like, you assholes always take the bait. She's like, they were too busy watching for witnesses to watch me. And she's like, do you think I was planning to, how did you put it, get the jump on you last night? Honey, I might be a killer, but I'm very fucking expensive, and I sure as hell don't work for free. None of us do. I'm getting pissed now. Any men from the syndicate helped you back to your car, it's because they wanted to help. You murdered them for their manners. She's like, it wasn't murder, it was justice. I mean, it was both, but okay. It's like, I'm gonna deliver that to you. She's like, when are you gonna stop holding back then and come at me? And Alyssa also thinks she's literally crazy. That's the only explanation. Is it? Use that fucking brain that doesn't exist, honey. Dead brother. Tragic, right? Not as experienced as you. You kill people for money. Think about it with your brain. The one brain cell can only either do fight or horny. It can't like think and fight or think and be horny, apparently. Anyway, Scarlett launches herself at her, but Alyssa's like, yeah, her being upset just makes this even easier because she's not actually like focused because she's so angry. But she also thinks that this is so much more entertaining than the meek beguiling act, and I wonder with regret if I should have betted her again before killing her, huh? Also, like, the meek act is what got you in bed. I mean, that and her ass. So like, I don't know what you're on about. Anyway, fight, beating each other up, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, Alyssa is better, even though Scarlett keeps her on her toes or something. And Alyssa thinks to herself, you know, like, she's good, but like, there's a lot of gaps, and I really shouldn't play with my prey. So then she like does some kind of kick, flings her down on the bed because yes, that was needed for fighting. Then she's straddling her and pinning her wrists above her head, which again, remember Alyssa's nude, so. And she's like, I consider my options, like one decisive strike is really all it will take. I'm like, that's not really how killing people works, but okay. But something stays my hand, some strange impulse that has me simply laughing down at her flushed, snarling face instead. Not bad, I pant, delighting in the trembling anger radiating through her body, pinned and helpless beneath me. You've got some skills, more than I expected from a vigilante brat. And you know, she's on top of her, and Scarlett is like, fuck you, I'm gonna kill you, I'm going to skin you alive for what you did to my brother. And then Alyssa's stupid, and she's like, brother? What is she talking about? The one who was killed in a mugging? I've never. And then she's like, she's gonna demand an explanation. I'm like, put two and two together. She's been lying to you about a lot of stuff. The brother shit was slightly a lie. God, why is she acting like, why would you lie to me? Like, bitch. And for some reason, Scarlett's head is like coming at her, and she's like, oh, she's gonna kiss me. She's gonna mack me. She's gonna kiss. No, you stupid fucking idiot. She's gonna headbutt you. So she like releases her wrists a little, like just a smidge, and she twists out of there, but it's described ridiculously, so let's read it. She twists, reaches out, and then a cloud of smoke flows into my face, filling my lungs with a thick burning fog. I reel away, coughing and choking as the mist stings my eyes. I lash out blindly, but my swinging fists connect only with empty air as Scarlett slips free of my hold. Okay. She kind of like tear gassed her. Not exactly sure what it was, but you know. And then Scarlett gets out through the window and goes down from the fire escape. And don't worry, Alyssa's gonna be after her. They're running through the streets, blah, 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 blah. And she's frustrated, but she's also kind of admiring her. That lying, manipulative little dot, dot, dot. No wonder I was so instantly, viscerally drawn to her. For a fleeting moment, a thrill rushes through me at the thought of finally finding an equal, dot, dot, dot. Another apex predator. But Scarlett, whoever she is fucking crazy. That's all there is to it. Accusing me of some misdeed against her brother. I've never mugged anyone in my life. Not even when Hadria and I were trying to scrape together a few dollars for a can of soup while we were on the streets. Number one, she's not your equal. You've literally said that repeatedly, that you can kick her ass anytime you want. But number two, you kill people for a living. You get paid to kill people for a living. Theoretically, could someone have lied to you about why you were killing some guy? Yeah. Do you think that though? No, because you're stupid as fuck. Which means if Scarlett isn't just making all this shit up, that her brother wasn't some innocent. If he was a mark for the syndicate for me, then he must have been doing something wrong, because one of Hadria's founding rules was that we don't hurt innocents. And if anyone ever comes to us asking for that, we hurt them instead. Okay, I like Hadria more than I like you, but still, let's think about this for a second. Someone comes to Hadria, says, we want this guy dead because he did XYZ. But they say the thing XYZ and XYZ is a lie. I mean, sure, you could try to research it, but what if someone said something like he sexually assaulted me? You can't really prove that. So lies exist. Lies exist. Anyway, she checks out the apartment thoroughly after the smoke has dissipated, and there's nothing. There's nothing to go off of. She's like, she doesn't live here. She was trained by somebody. This isn't her life. She's like, either way, no matter what, I'm taking her down for crimes against the syndicate. Okay, chapter 8, Scarlett. She is booking it through the alleyways. Thinks I should have killed her as soon as we got to the apartment. I'm like, you just found a bone. It's fine. It's what it is. You just wanted to bone again. It's fine. But like, don't lie. Don't lie to me. I don't think you could kill her because you're too horned up. If she was ugly, you wouldn't have had any problems. I said what I said. She's like, something's been holding me back. She right? Am I just a silly little girl playing at being an assassin? It's not like I haven't thought that myself sometimes. And I know I'm not like her. Not someone for whom evil has become mundane. I have a flash of her body, all that toned muscle and all those scars pressed up against mine. No, that's got nothing to do with anything. Actually, my first thought would be like, yeah, that's the problem. That is the problem. But all these characters are too dumb to have like real thoughts. She steals a phone from some guy. She just like snatches it from his hand while she's like, he's mid conversation. He's like, hey, what the fuck? And then she just starts sprinting off and she punches in the number that she has drilled into her head for an extraction immediately. And they're like, what's the location? She rattles off the cross streets, etc., etc. And then a Porsche comes up to pick her up, and it's some girl named Ariadne. Like, if it isn't Little Red running scared from the big bad wolf. I kind of like her, but she does make me think of Ianthe, and I cannot abide by that. And she's apparently attractive. I mean, I could have kind of parsed that out myself because almost no one in these books is fucking unattractive unless they're like an actual real villain, and then they're all unattractive because all unattractive people are evil and all pretty people are good. No, shut up. Also, Ariadne hates Scarlet. That's kind of a vibe. I can't even lie. She's just like, just drive. And they're going. And we once again have her saying, as she looks at her own reflection, I don't even recognize myself these days. Yeah, we know. Shut it. They're going to a high-rise building, which is where grandmother is. And then when they get there in grandmother's very immaculate, decadent apartment, she's waiting in a burgundy suit with her eyes closed, just sitting there as the classical music is going. And she's like, you may report. And Ariadne just shoves her on in there. And again, I kind of vibe with her. I think Scarlet's getting in the damn way. And we also learn now that grandmother always wears a scarf. This is important. That's the only reason I'm fucking bringing it up. God, this is taking forever. She explains, we're not going to go over it. And then she makes excuses by being like, she's better than I anticipated, stronger, more savage. And grandmother says, what do you intend to do about your failure then? She's like, more training, please. As much as it takes to match her or surpass her, please. Like, I need to improve rapidly. You were right. I wasn't ready. I'm sorry. And grandmother accepts the apology, but then says to Ariadne, who's right next to her now, Scarlet is owed a lesson in humility, it seems. Ariadne, you will attend to her deficiencies. Page break. Ariadne is thrilled with this outcome, and I kind of am too. Finally, some real crime bitches in here. And she's like, you have no idea how much I'm going to enjoy hurting you. And I'm like, I don't feel like you needed to say that out loud, but okay. Like, I think we could imagine it. But she's like, bring it on. And she also thinks this tripe, because the truth is, no matter how vicious she might be, Ariadne is nothing compared to Lissa. The raw power combined with the unexpected moves the wolf made, ... It was like nothing I've ever faced, not even Ariadne at her worst. If I hope to best Lissa and avenge Adam, I'll need to be remade, starting now, with Ariadne's cruel onslaught. So they fight. I'm not gonna, it's not really even described well. It's the same crap. It's like fists and feet rain down until finally, inevitably, she slips through my defenses. It's like, okay, that doesn't really tell me how anyone's actually moving, but it's okay because I prefer this to detailed accounts of what's happening. Like the sword moves in Gideon the Ninth, fine. Lost me a few places, but fine. This, no. I don't need to know. But don't worry, Scarlet finds an opening and flips Ariadne onto her back and is straddling her. But grandmother is there and she's like, enough. And they both freeze because they're like, oh shit, she's here. And she doesn't really come to see them train very often. And she's like, it's a privilege to have her here, is it? But they withdraw and grandmother comes and says, disappointing both of you. Like, I had hoped to see something more interesting from you, Scarlet, given your encounter with the wolf. As for you, Ariadne, you don't use your emotion to advantage when you fight Scarlet. That's how she bested you, by tapping into her rage. And then Scarlet thinks, I suppose rage is an emotion. What else is it? Stupid idiot. But grandmother is like, be better. I grow weary of your childish squabbles. And she's like, okay, Ariadne, go. Leave us. See ya. And Ariadne glares at Scarlet before leaving. But Scarlet can't resist being like, you're getting soft, Ariadne. Better find your edge before the wolf. And then grandmother slaps the shit out of her. And she's like, when you talk to her, you will do so respectfully. And she says she's lowering herself when she trains you, which I agree with. She says you have nothing to offer her and no way to challenge her or help her hone her skills. The least you can do is be grateful, and I kind of agree. But then grandmother is like, but that being said, you did just overcome her in the moment I just saw now, so you must be improving. It's like, thank you, Grand. And then she cuts her off immediately. It's like, you've merely confirmed that you have the capacity to become what is required. The question is, do you have the resolve? She's like, I've killed many times over. Doesn't that show my resolve? And she's like, yeah, killing through surprise or deception is one thing. Like, now that the wolf knows you're coming, she's gonna be on her guard. Like, you need to toughen up. And she tells her, you must embrace the howling void inside you, become it utterly. And she's just like, yes, grandmother. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna call Ariadne back. You have work to do, don't you? And she's like, yes, grandmother. And then she thinks again, who am I becoming? Again, I don't care. I don't care. Chapter 9, Lissa. She's here to report to Hadria, and Aurora's not there, and she thinks, good. Well, Aurora's cooler than you, so. And she says, I've identified the assassin. It's not just Hadria there, I don't think. And now I'm gonna take care of the problem. And Hadria says, are you sure? And she says, seriously? She's like, look, Juno Bianchi attends the wedding. It will cement the Styx Syndicate as a major player here in town beyond just picking up contracts here and there. But she won't come if Chicago is descending into chaos again. So once again, are you sure you can take care of the fucking problem? And she's like, in her head, she just goes over this crap like, I know she needs me to do this. I'm gonna do it. I know all of this. And yet, you haven't done it yet, have ya? Nope. She says, I'm 100% sure. Like, do you want to come with me and see for yourself that I can put her down? And Hadria's like, her? She's like, her. I'm like, why are you guys so surprised that women are killing people? You're women killing people. The fuck? And some guy named Ricky is like, you need some help? I want to get my hands dirty. And she's like, even an old fossil like you could handle this one, Ricky. Turns out the assassin's just some girl who thinks we killed her brother. And Hadria's like, did we? And she's like, does it matter? She killed our people. And then Hadria's kind of like, yeah, I guess. Yeah. And then they go over how in our world, guilt and innocent are fluid concepts. Yeah, okay, I get it. Shush. And they're like, power's the only thing that matters, and vengeance is just the cost of doing business. I'm like, yes, thank you. It's like, but the syndicate cannot appear weak, so Scarlet, even if she's got the prettiest damn eyes I've ever seen, has to die. What do her eyes matter? Just bricked up, and I don't get it. She leaves, and then she runs into Mrs. Graves, who looks at the wound and is like, that looks a lot worse. I'm gonna look at it right now. And she wants to argue, but she's like, okay. And then we go over again about how they avenged Mrs. Graves' daughter's murder and how she then took them in, and they just stayed with her, I guess. And they became a family, bound not by blood, but something much stronger. Yeah, I know. It's okay to have a found family. You don't have to explain, like, it's not even explained. I just feel like they try to justify it. I'm like, you don't have to justify it all the time. I do not care. You're a mafia. I'm not expecting you to all literally be related to each other. It's fine. Wait, Mrs. Graves brings her back to her room to clean it out, and she does. But that makes her think of Scarlet again. Your mother figure makes you think of the girl you boned. Weird. Also, I don't understand how she didn't notice the tracker initially. You can feel things going into open wounds. Like, I have a finger wound right now. It's almost healed. It's just like the little pink skin now at this point. But like, when I was hitting that, because it's on your hand and you hit it every once in a while, you can feel that shit. I would definitely feel if someone stuck something in it. But what do I know? Why am I analyzing this stupid mafia plot? It's supposed to be about the smut, except the smut's not that good. And once again, we go over again how there's something about Scarlet that sticks with me. We know. And we also learn that she isn't sure if she killed the brother Adam because she doesn't remember names, she only remembers kills. And if we did kill him, it would have been for a reason. We're brutal but not indiscriminate. We don't kill innocents. Yes, we have been over this. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks. But she's like, I feel like there's more to the story. And then Mrs. Graves is finally done, is like, there you go. And she's like, I want to dig deeper into Scarlet's background and find out more about her brother and how he died. Knowledge is power, blah, 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 blah. But it's more than that too. I want to unravel the mystery of this woman who fights like a demon but stares at me with such haunted eyes. I want to peel back her layers to map out the scars she hides beneath that tough exterior. It's a dangerous desire, attachments or weaknesses, soft spots for enemies to exploit. And Scarlet is a dead woman walking, so why waste my time?
For your information, there's a lot more to ogres than people think.
Example?
Example?
Okay, ogres are like onions.
They stink?
Yes. No.
Oh, they make you cry?
No.
Oh, you leave them out in the sun, they get all brown, start sprouting little white hairs.
No. Layers. Onions have layers. Ogres have layers. Onions have layers. You get it. We both have layers.
Oh, you both have layers. Oh. You know, not everybody like onions.
I don't get it because Yuri was allegedly like your brother and all these people at the syndicate are allegedly your family, and you care more about unraveling who Scarlett is as a person than you care about taking care of the business that your boss has been fucking repeatedly asking you to do for her goddamn wedding, and you're not avenging your brothers who were murdered or whatever. This is dumb as shit. Like, I don't understand why in these books, even though these people allegedly have good personal connections that are not romantic connection and desirability is what matters most to these people. It's not reality. Like, not every story is Romeo and Juliet where they choose each other over their families. Like, it's not always like that. But she also thinks, ha ha ha, the Sokolovs accidentally saved my ass like by jumping us. And Mrs. Graves is like, is something funny? Because like she's laughing as she's like cleaning up blood and shit. And she's like, you had to be there. And I'm like, be where? She doesn't understand. And she's like, thanks for the first aid. And she's like, anytime, Lissa. And she's like, can you do me a favor? And she's like, sure. And she's like, stop ditching your bodyguards. This is gonna come up again. It's the only reason I'm bringing it up. But Mrs. Graves is like, I'm not in danger in the middle of the city. Was in my own home, thanks. I don't like those people following me around. They get in the way. They slow me down. And she's like, can you just do it while we're staying in town? Just for my sake. Mrs. Graves makes a face, but she's like, okay, I suppose for your sake. And then she's going back to her room and she still has the tracker, but she hasn't like ditched it because she's kind of like, you know what, I'm okay with Scarlett still tracking me because, you know, it'll make it easier. I'll just be bait or something. She's like, I know she won't come to the hotel, but I know she will be following me around. And it will be obvious, but hate and rage make fools of us all. Chapter 10, Scarlett, they're still training and shit. They've been sparring for hours. They're ignoring the other trainees and shit. And she can't beat Ariadne because Ariadne is that bitch. Just like in one of my favorite webtoons. She has the same exact name. So I just picture her as that. I'm like, bad bitches only. And she has to use the training safe word. And then Ariadne is like, you know what? You're pathetic and you'll never avenge your brother at this rate. She's like, it's a death sentence for you even if you are one of grandmother's favored pets. And her words cut deep. I'm like, I mean, it seems like she says this shit to you all the time. How deep can it keep cutting? Not any more than eventually there will be nothing to cut. But she's like, I'm gonna kill the wolf. I know. We know. And then she goes, after gathering what little of her dignity she has left, to shower in one of the open stalls. And this is where we learn shit. I shower in the open stalls. There's no privacy here in grandmother's house, not even locks on the toilets, which was a shock when I first came here. But I learned soon enough to be as comfortable with nudity as I was with clothes. Like, okay. And then we learn about how she found Adam because she's thinking about what Ariadne said to her. And Adam was killed in the back alley of their restaurant, like their family restaurant. And she held him as he bled out. And she had tried to save him with every scrap of training she had from medical school. So she was already in medical school at that point. And then eventually her dad comes out wondering where they both were. And she can't forget the noise he made when he saw them. I knew Adam had gotten involved with some small time illegal stuff just to help pay my way through college. I knew he was taking a risk, doing things that could land him in jail, but I turned a blind eye, telling myself that once I became a doctor, once I was successful, I'd be able to support him and our parents, pay him back for his sacrifices. I'd be able to get all of us into a better life, but I was too late, and now the guilt eats at me every day. I should have done more. I should have tried to talk him out of it, to find another way, but I was selfish, too focused on my own dreams to see the danger he was in. Adam's death destroyed our parents. They sold the restaurant and tried to find ways to cope, tried to find peace, but I never could, because nothing he'd done deserved the death penalty. Nothing. He wasn't even a middleman, for fuck's sake. Just some low down the pole courier or message bearer. And so she thinks she can't allow his murder to be for nothing. Yeah. We'll come back to the murder because there is stuff about it that happens that's like, oh. But at the same time, your parents didn't wonder where your medical school money was coming from. Don't quite understand that, but okay. But Ariadne's back, and she kicks her in the lower back, sending her face first into the shower tiles. And Ariadne starts laughing, and she's naked, and she's standing over her. But she gets fucking pissed, Scarlet does. Eyes surge upright from the tiles in a single explosive movement. Ariadne barely has time to tense before I'm on her like a wildcat, all restraint and strategy forgotten in the blazing inferno consuming me from the inside out. They're thrashing around the bathroom, acting a damn fool. And then Scarlet's had the upper hand pretty much the entire time, but she slams Ariadne's head into the wall hard enough that the tiles crack. And then she drags her by her hair over to the shower and slams her head down into the drain, like under the stream of water. And then she's holding her throat, like choking her. And a distant part of me screams not to do this, to stop before it's too late. Okay. And then Ariadne barely is able to choke out the safe word, which is foxglove. And she's like, oh shit, because she was like really fired up. And she thinks I'm killing her. And she's like, how did I become this? I'm no better than Lissa. And I'm like, I mean, I love Ariadne compared to everyone else in this book. Ariadne and Hadria are the only people I care about. And honestly, even though I love Ariadne, fuck around and find out, you know? But she's not dead, so don't worry. And there's blood running from her head and it's going down the drain, whatever. And then grandmother is there in a robe and it's like, everyone get up. I'm like, this woman has to be infuriated. And then she tells Scarlet to follow her and she looks back towards Ariadne before she leaves and she flinches and there's terror in her eyes. And I feel something in me cracking. There's an emptiness blooming in my fractured soul, promising only destruction. We know. Anyway, she's hurrying after grandmother. As cruel as Ariadne had been to me, what I just saw in her eyes chills me to the bone, a wailing despair deeper than any pain I've known, a place you can never come back from, only keep falling into endless black. And in the shattered depths of my own soul, I can feel that same howling void threatening to engulf me. Ridiculous, but also you felt worse about what you just did to Ariadne than you feel about your brother's murder? Kind of seems to contradict a lot of the shit you've been saying up till now, huh? Chapter 11, it's still Scarlet. God. And then she's like, Ariadne needs, and grandmother's like, she needs to learn how to take a punch. But that wasn't a punch that I gave her, I want to point out. That was a rage-induced brutal beating that might have done permanent damage to her. Yeah, obviously, Miss Wannabe would have been doctor. Also, who's paying off your student loans? It better not be your parents. Cause holy shit, like this crime lady better have fucking paid for it. And they get in the elevator and then they go to grandmother's private quarters. It's very Baroque, is how it's described. And while it's very beautiful, she's learned to fear the sight of it. I know, okay, honey? I don't need you to hold my hand. There's a torture room in there. Yeah, no shit. It's always the same in this shit. And she's like, oh, she's gonna take me in there and kick my ass or whatever. But no, she just gestures to a chair and she's like, sit, dear. She does. And grandmother gets a first aid kit to help bandage her up. And she's like, if you channel the same rage and ferocity against Lissa as you just displayed with Ariadne, victory will be yours. And she's like, but I nearly killed her. She's like, Ariadne has sorely needed a lesson for some time. If you hadn't provided it to her, Lissa would have. She's like, Ariadne was next in line, you see, of who I was gonna send out if Lissa killed you, you know. She's like, but I think that you can do better. Can you do better, Scarlet? I'll do whatever it takes to get justice for Adam. I don't really think that, but okay. And then for some reason, she's like, do you remember the day our paths first crossed, Scarlet? It's like, how could I forget? Page break. We're gonna get a flashback. I'm just gonna describe it to you really quick. It is her brother's funeral. Her parents have left because it's been a long day. They're done. They need a minute, you know? And grandmother approaches her and is like, it's Scarlet, isn't it? She's like, do I know you? And she's like, nope. Then how do you know my name? It's my business to know things. It's like, who are you? It's like, I am Justice. Not corny as all get out, but okay. And Scarlet frowns. And she's like, did Adam work for you? She's like, no, but I know who killed him. Would you like to know? And Scarlet thinks to herself, the police have been less than useless. And it wasn't as though I knew what Adam was up to. Check his phone. Why is no one checking anyone's phone? This is not like the 80s. You can just check their phone. And she follows grandmother into a vehicle and she asks what the woman's name is and she's like, you can call me grandmother. And Scarlet is kind of like, this might be a bad idea. But she she kind of does look like a grandma. And she's like, whatever Adam was doing, I know the mob was involved. And grandmother takes out a tablet, so at least she's with the times. And she shows Adam coming into view, and then it's a video of Adam being murdered, and it's a woman who's blonde and white wearing a wolf mask. And she's like, okay, do you want justice for your brother's murder and to make this woman pay for what she did to you and your parents? She's like, yeah, I want her dead. And grandmother's like, I thought you might say that, and I'd like to help. And she's like, how? And she's like, I'm a woman who deals in vendettas, who equips those like yourself with the tools to reap the justice this world so often denies us. Page break. And you know, up until this point, I wasn't really thinking that she was her actual grandma, but I was kind of hoping, because I would have preferred this to be some mob family chicanery. Instead, it wasn't. Whatever. And grandmother, we're back in the present, and grandmother is like, do you remember what I asked you that day, Scarlett? Like, I'll ask you again, are you still committed to the path of justice? And she's like, I've never wanted anything more. Not a single day goes by that I don't mourn my brother. She's like, then you need to hold on to that anguish, and you need to extinguish any lingering shred of compassion or weakness for Ariadne and for your enemy too. And we learn that Scarlett has been training here for the past few years, and she, instead of like, you know, shutting her trap, is like, but is Ariadne gonna be okay? And grandmother's like, Ariadne is of no consequence. It's like, she is merely a tool, as am I and every other individual you encounter on your journey. You'd be wise to relinquish any inklings of attachment. I bristle at the cold dismissal, feeling an instinctive flare of compassion as if to spite grandmother's advice. But then I think of all I've sacrificed. My dreams of becoming a doctor melted away. My relationship with my parents broken off. And Adam gone forever. I know grief does some fuck shit to people, but I really doubt Adam, who only got involved with the mob to pay for his sister's medical school, would want her to quit medical school and then work for the mob. Just a hot take. I don't really feel like that's in the spirit of honoring Adam's memory. That's my opinion. But she's like, I'll do anything to make Lissa suffer. And I'm like, I feel like we're just having the same conversations over and over. She's like, then you have to act quickly, because there's a rumor that Juno Bianchi is coming to attend the wedding of Hadria Imperioli. Just makes me feel like ravioli, but okay. She's like, and if they publicly align with the Styx Syndicate, the wolf will be pretty much untouchable. You have to make your move right now. And she thinks that the stakes have never been higher. I feel Adam's death will go unavenged, and the Syndicate will grow even more powerful. Yes. Why can't authors ever let us draw our own conclusions? Why can't you let people connect the dots? She's like, I'll find Lisette and I'll end her once and for all. So she then goes back to her room, pulls out the phone, checks the tracker, and the signal's still going, and it's still showing that she's in the hotel. And she's like, I don't understand why she would destroy it. But then it hits me. Lissa wants to be found. She's baiting me just like Ariadne with her cruel taunts and vicious blows. Lissa wants me to come to her. But she goes to bed, even though she's in a lot of pain from all the beatings she's taken today, thinking about how she's filled with a new sense of purpose. The road ahead is dark and twisted. I'm ready to follow it wherever it may lead, for Adam, for the future that was stolen from me. I'll do what I need to do. I will kill Lissa, or I will die trying. So the medical school thing wasn't stolen from you. You could have raised a fucking GoFundMe in like 10 seconds. Or like a lot of times mob people will feel bad, I think, and they'll just hand you money. Be like, we want this to go away. Instead, you made the decision that all you want is revenge. And look, I'm not knocking it. Vengeance is beautiful, gorgeous. However, not only does it go against literally everything you said you used to stand for, but it goes against everything Adam would have wanted for you. That Adam sacrificed his potential freedom and then life to give to you. I don't really understand this whole fucking thing. But okay. Chapter 12, Lissa. She's back at the original bar in Sokolov territory, and the bartender is like, you're not welcome here, probably because last time there was a brawl outside his fucking bar. And she's like, okay, then throw me out. And he's pretty scrawny, and he really doesn't want trouble, obviously, which is why he doesn't want her here. And he's just like, what'll it be? And she's like, I'm sure you have something decent somewhere. Surprise me. And he does, and he's not happy. But she thinks, and now we both know our respective places in this hierarchy. I mean, he's just a bartender. Why are you being such a douche. Like, anyway, she's hanging out there until Scarlett shows up. She's just like, damn, but she looks good, poured into those tight jeans again, and a low-cut black sweater, a leather jacket on top to give her some edge. He licks at my CLIT, a twisted tangle of irritation, lust, and something uncomfortably close to admiration. She's glaring at me with murder in her eyes. Delicious. See, she says she feels most alive when she's doing her job of murdering people, but I don't think that's true because it seems like she's just been waiting for somebody to get all hot and bothered over because this is consuming every waking moment of her thoughts. Anyway, the bartender's like, both of you need to get the fuck out of here. It's like, before the Sokolovs show up, please. He's like, I don't want any blood on my floor tonight. You hear? Like, and she stands up and she's like, well, you heard him, sweetheart. What do you say we get out of here? And she's like, fine by me. I can kill you in the street just as well as I can in here. And she's like, yeah, we're gonna get to that. Don't worry. And the game is on. Literal sentence in this book. They get outside and she pulls out, like, Scarlett pulls out a gun. She should just do it. I don't get it. But Lyssa sighs, exasperated, is like, knock it off. I want some information before we get to the fun part. And to Scarlett's fucking credit, she does try to shoot her, but Lyssa already predicted that and, like, shot that, you know, like her arm way up high so it didn't get her. And now they're fighting and Scarlett's like, why waste time talking when you could be dying? And then they're lunging. Scarlett is focused this time. And then there's a razor, but I flow around the slash like smoke, weaving just out of reach with an infuriating grin. If you want to get your ass kicked first, be my guest, but I've got questions, Scar, and you're going to give me some answers, before I kill you. Ugh, just do the crime. Shut up. Why do you have to try and make it bantery in a way that does nothing for me? Here's my hot fucking take, okay? Every author thinks that when they're doing this, they're writing Catra, and they're not. They could never be her. Like, And there are some really good authors. It's just, I don't know. This always feels so tedious, especially when the book is bad. Like, if the book hadn't been bad, I could get over some not so pleasing banter, but whatever. This is a lot of personal taste, by the way, too. I wanted to like it, but I didn't. Then they're like blocking shit and doing other shit, and she's like, easy honey, if you wanted my attention you could have just asked. Shut up. And then Scarlett is a whirlwind. I do not care, blah blah blah. She's improved, but she's predictable. And she's like, nice try, got a lot to learn, kid, blah blah blah. And then she starts like critiquing Scarlett on her shit. I don't really care. But the deep coursing of adrenaline through my veins makes this encounter almost pleasurable. I think you need some dopamine help, is what I think. And it takes one to know one. Okay, so, and she's like, hey, can you tell me who is training my would-be killer? And she tries again. She's trying not to let her admiration show, but she can't help it. And she's like, who are you? It's like, you already know who I am. I'm vengeance. And she's like, well, you're certainly intense. I didn't hate that part of the banter. I don't know. I like their response to the edgelord nonsense. And then Lyssa finally decides she's had enough of this. And the switchblade goes skittering across the dusty floor. Oh, I forgot. I think they're fighting in some kind of construction zone at this point. I don't remember. Doesn't even matter, does it? They're fighting. Who cares? And Scarlett is like scrambling back from her, but it doesn't matter. And she slams Scarlett into the rough brick of an unfinished wall. And then she brings up Scarlett's own knife underneath her chin. To her credit, there's no surrender in her fierce eyes, only defiance and the glimmer of something hotter, darker. I think you just need to get laid. And I don't think it needs to be her. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be her, but you're making it so it has to be. And she's like, this has been a fun little dance, but now we're gonna have a friendly chat about exactly who trained you and why you think I killed your brother. And she's panting, but Lyssa thinks I can't deny the molten desire curling through me right now. Get a grip. But Scarlett's like, fuck you. I give a low, wicked chuckle. We already did that, sweetheart. But I'll tell you what, you answer my question like a good little girl and I'll give you your pig sticker back for another shot at me. What have you got to lose? I watch rage and humiliation war across the exquisite planes of her face, and as close as I am to her now, I see the thick layer of makeup she's applied, and I know what that means. Who hurt you? I demand, my eyes narrowing. Your face, I mean. Who hit you. Fuck you, she says again. Tell me who sent you. Not the who hurt you when you were just kicking her ass. Not the who hurt you when you've been kicking her ass multiple times. Whatever. And she's just like, a woman trained me. I don't know her real name. And she's like, you're gonna have to do better than that if you don't want to die. I want a name. And she's like, grandmother. And Lissa thinks, no, it can't be. And Scarlett tries to take advantage of her shock, but Lissa recovers swiftly, and there's like a tiny bead of blood coming down. You're lying, I hiss. Grandmother is dead. I slit the bitch's throat myself when I left her damn house of nightmares. Scarlett shakes her head, a minute motion constrained by the threat of my blade. Her voice is thin, thready with desperation or deception, I can't tell. I'm not lying, I swear. I swear on my brother's grave. She's alive and she's the one who sent me to kill you. And now Lissa's mind is whirling. And she's like, if grandmother's alive, I'm in way more danger than I thought. And so is Scarlett. And so's the Syndicate. I'm like, why did you think of Scarlett before the Syndicate? Like, so much for your found family, huh? And she sees something kind of crystallize in Lissa's eyes. And Scarlett's like, Lissa, wait, please don't do this. You don't have to. Oh, but I do, I cut her off. See, if grandmother really is alive and behind all this, then you're a threat I can't afford to leave breathing. And she leans in closer. There's a hitch of terror in Scarlett's breath. And she's like, I really am sorry, sweetheart. I wish we could have had a little more fun together, ... But it ends here. Chapter 13, Scarlett. My landlord's, I think it's automated, just texted me at like 10:20 at night. Get fucked. Shut up. Scarlett is desperate and she's like, wait, please at least tell me what you meant when you said you killed grandmother. And Lissa just looks like a cold-blooded killer, apparently. Grandmother bought me when I was a baby along with a few others, raised us to be perfect killers. I was her favorite, if you can call it that. By the time I was 10, I did what she'd conditioned me for. I killed her and walked away to carve out my own life. She's like, grandmother's never mentioned knowing you personally. And she's like shocked also by this. And Lissa's like, no, I don't imagine she would. Not if I'm living proof of her failure. Her own little killing machine turned against her. She's like, seriously, how is she still alive though? Because I sliced her up real good. And she's like, she has a scar around her throat, like it was cut open. She's like, someone must have found her before she fucking bled out on the floor like the dog she is. I'm like, yeah, I mean, you're all criminals now though, so I don't really, I mean, she was terrible, but so are you, so I don't whatever. I kind of hate this. I'm a criminal, I'm part of the mob, but I'm moral shit. Like, why can't they all just suck? I guess that's one of my big questions for dark romances. Like the only way to make you root for this person is for you to think they have a weird honor system. No, it makes me think they're a fucking hypocrite. It makes me think they're a hypocrite. Why can't bitches just ever be unironically evil? Hot take. Goodbye, phone. It's a rough night. And she's like, listen carefully to me, Scar. Get out from under grandmother's control while you still can. That anger simmering in your veins, you think it gives you strength, but it's a lie. It'll burn you to ashes from the inside out. Believe me, I know. And it makes you so very easy to manipulate. Grandmother isn't holding a hose to that fiery rage. She's holding a fucking gas pump. And then Lissa steps back abruptly. It's like, Hadria ordered me to kill you, and you deserve it for killing all the people from the fucking Syndicate. But if you leave Chicago tonight, if you run and don't look back, I'll give you a pass just this one time, which is nice of her. And then when she turns to leave, Scarlett tries to like attack her again. And she's like, why do you keep doing this, you silly bitch? Like, she literally says that. Like, I am giving you a chance to walk away and live. Why are you so determined to die at my hands? It's like, you killed my brother. And she's like in agony about her brother. And Lissa just sounds exasperated. It's like, grandmother has you all twisted up in the head, filling your mind with lies and half-truths. Like, it's what she excels at. She's just like, I saw it. I saw the video of you murdering Adam in cold blood. And Lissa does kind of go a little still. And she's like, if I killed your brother, then he was no innocent, no saint. I don't kill good men, Scarlett. I want to see the receipts. I want you to prove it. But you can't. I don't think. She's just like, shut up, shut up. Adam was good and kind. And he looked out for me and protected me. He only got mixed up in things to take care of me. He didn't deserve what you did to him. You soulless monster. He didn't deserve to die. And then she crumbles because she's upset, obviously. But she can't cry, and she hasn't been able to cry since he died. Yeah, therapy might be able to help you. But Lissa just kind of exhales slowly, and she crouches beside her. She's like, you really believe I did this? This video, I want to see it. If grandmother is playing you, you, using what happened to your brother to break you and rebuild you as she sees fit. I need to know, and we both do. It's like, why do you even care if you're innocent? What does it matter? It's like, I never said I was innocent. I just said I never killed your brother, which she doesn't know because she says she doesn't remember who she kills, just the actual kill. She doesn't remember their names. So like, how the fuck would you even know? And she's like, as for why I care, she's like, because if grandmother has risen from the grave, if she's got her hooks in you this deep, and others I assume, then that's going to be a problem for me, for the syndicate, and I solve the syndicate's problems thoroughly and with extreme prejudice. Except you don't, do you? You don't. I have not seen you solve a single problem. And she's like, you should listen to me, Scar, because if grandmother sent you after me, well, she basically threw you to the wolves. We did it. We did the title thing. And she was like, she didn't want to send me, not yet. She wanted to train me more, but I thought I was ready. She said I wasn't. See, I want to cry out loud. She's not all bad. She has a torture room in her apartment. And Lissa's like, well, she was right about that. You're not ready. She's like, so what do you think? We're gonna have a little movie night with that video, and you can try to convince me I'm the big bad wolf of your nightmares. And if I am, well, hell, I'll give you one more shot to kill me out of respect for your brother. What do you say? And then, this is so dumb. A waiver for a suspended instant, trying to find some trick in the seductive offer Lissa dangles before me. Finally, I give a jerky nod. What about that is sexy to you? What about that is seductive to you? Let me know. And Lissa's like, one more thing, stop killing my fucking people. Stay in your fucking lane. Because if you don't, I will visit horrors upon you that grandmother couldn't even conceive of. I have seen no proof that you would do such a thing, because we've only seen you kill people. Actually, we haven't seen you kill anyone. Wait a damn minute. We haven't seen you kill anyone. I feel like I'm having an aneurysm. What? Like, we also have never seen you torture a singular soul. I don't believe you, but okay. And then Lissa's gone, and Scarlett drags herself up on her trembling legs, and she's really thinking about, I'm just gonna read it because, oh my god. My mind whirls with Lissa's words, with the seeds of uncertainty she's so deftly planted in the fertile soil of my soul. That's kind of fucking ridiculous, just to say she kind of got in your head a little, but okay. And she's like, but there might be a chance Lissa is right. Like, I cannot believe you've been with this woman who tortures and trains people this whole time, and you didn't ever stop and think, hey, this bitch who suspiciously showed up at my brother's funeral, uninvited, we've never seen her before, shows up, wants to train me to help me kill the person who killed my brother allegedly. But she also has a torture room in her house, and she thinks that empathy shouldn't be a real fucking thing. I have never been suspicious of her. You're stupid as shit. And then she thinks about like the cruel way that grandmother's eyes look at her sometimes, and how she looks at her like she's an experiment. And I'm like, yeah, you fucking dumbass. Like, you've been training with her for years, and it took an even dumber lesbian than you, let's be honest, pointing it out to you for you to figure it out. You're both stupid and you deserve each other. She thinks about how this like felt righteous, and she's only ever wanted revenge. And she's like, if Lissa is telling the truth, she could have killed me here and now. She meant to, and she has no reason to lie unless she only wanted to hurt me, ... I don't know. I just can't tell. I mean, yeah, she could have just killed your ass. She could have just killed your ass, I'm pretty sure, several times, or at least the narrative is trying to tell me that. But if so many times in a row you go to kill a person and you're incapable of doing it, not physically but mentally, are you still not incapable of doing it? Let me know. And she just thinks, well, Lissa was right about one thing. I deserve to know the truth for Adam. I owe him that much. And she gets into the car, and she thinks she has a hairline fracture spidering through my ironclad resolve. The fury that sustained me for so long turning brittle and perilously thin. Sounds like a skill issue, get wrecked. Chapter 14, Lissa. Lissa is reeling about grandmother being back, because obviously that's her traumatic childhood lore. And she keeps trying to tell herself that grandmother can't be alive because she killed her. Well, you obviously didn't, and you were 10. So it's not like you were making sure. You didn't stand over her waiting for her to be officially dead. You just slashed her, and then you got the heck out of Dodge, which was probably smart because that's why you're not in prison, or at least you didn't go to juvie or whatever. But you didn't do a really thorough job, did ya? You were 10. It's okay, you were 10. But she's like, the scar around grandmother's neck, I didn't tell Scarlett like where I hurt her. So like, it can't be a lie. And she's pacing in her room because all of these childhood memories are very upsetting to her, and it's a mental prison. And she's never told anyone, not even Hadria. And I'm like, damn. Okay. And she thinks about how, you know, all the horrible things that happened to her, you know, the long training, the punishment, the torture, the whatever. And then she also thinks about how she thought it was normal for a really long time, and how there were other girls and they'd come and they'd go, but they were never friends. They were just rivals. So she didn't really think that hard about it. And she craved the smallest amount of grandmother's approval, but there was no love from anyone there. Only power, only control. Like, and yet you still believe that love is a weakness. You are aligning yourself with your own tormentor. Just saying. Anyway, she's now forced to deal with the possibility that grandma's not really dead. I don't see why Scarlet would lie to you about that. I mean, she does want to kill you, but you were about to kill her and she didn't really have anything to lose or gain. So, I mean, I guess she's not dead, but she didn't know you weren't gonna kill her. I mean, you've been terrible at it so far, so she probably had a guess maybe somewhere, but I was just in her head and she didn't. And she thinks about how she's attracted to Scarlet because she finds herself drawn to her. And was it the reflection of myself I saw in her? Another lost soul twisted and turned by grandmother's machinations? Or is it something more, this connection I don't understand? Here's the other thing I don't understand. I just gotta be real with you real quick. She hates grandmother for what she did. Facts. Fine. But she still aligns herself with grandmother in the whole, like, love is a weakness shit, right? Okay. Fine. Sometimes you don't get over your trauma and you don't work on it, and she's in the Mafia. She's now trying to fucking heal herself. Fine. But you only view romantic love that way, and I find that very odd because you love Hadria, I think, and Aurora to a certain extent, Mrs. Graves. You've called everyone in the syndicate your literal sibling. Isn't loving all of them a weakness? And we're gonna get to a part in this book where we're gonna have to talk about it some more because it's dumb as all get out. Anyway, it's like, I need to clear my mind first before I talk to Hadria. So she goes to the training room and it's working until she's interrupted because Aurora and some guy named Mario come in after about half an hour. And Aurora's like, by the way, hi, Hadria says there will be new recruits soon and you'll whip them into shape in no time. And that's extremely triggering to her because she thinks about training Aurora, pushing her to her limits, making her something she's not and never would have been. And she had done it to countless others also for Hadria, and she wonders if her methods are too similar to grandmother's. Had I become the very monster I sought to destroy, which is an interesting thought. I don't feel like it gets explored nearly enough though. And she thinks to herself she's prided herself on being different than grandmother, on being better, but after being faced with the reality of her actions, she doesn't know. She wonders if she pushed them too hard. Did I cross a line into being a tormentor? And she thinks about the fear in some of their eyes, the bruises on their bodies, and at the time I told myself it was necessary, that I was making them stronger and better, but maybe I was just perpetuating the cycle of abuse that grandmother started. Fantastic thought process, right? I was like, yes, okay, let's think about this. Do we? No, because this person is avoidant as fuck, and it's fine to have avoidant characters, but I'm tired, fam. And she's like, you guys can have the room, because she like cannot handle this idea. And she's like, I have business to go do. She doesn't wait for a response because she's rude, and she goes to Hadria to talk to her now, but she's not there. And the guard is like, hey, she's on the roof. So she goes to the roof and she's swimming laps in the pool, and she's mad because she's like, she's alone and vulnerable, and it makes her feel panic, and she doesn't usually feel this kind of panic. And she says, you shouldn't be wandering around without your guards either. You're worse than Mrs. Graves, and a lot of people want you dead for a reason. And Hadria says, I'm in the heart of Bianchi territory, Lissa. I'm as safe as I could possibly be in the city. And I agree with Lissa here, who thinks we're all getting way too comfortable for my liking. And I agree. I think you guys are a little delulu. She's like, hey, we need to talk somewhere that's not the hotel. And Hadria immediately swims out of the pool, is like, I need to shower and get dressed. Meet me downstairs in 15 and we'll go to Elysium, like the old manor. Page break. They get on motorcycles. They ride to the estate, and she's still freaking out about grandma. They don't go into the house. They just walk around to the garden. Aurora's pride and joy. Again, I do kind of want to read those books because they seem more interesting and better. Will they be written better? Probably no. But I have read like the synopsis and I'm like, that appeals to me more than this, but okay. Hadria checks the plants for Aurora. wait a minute, hear me out. And then she's like, okay, what's up? And so she finally confesses about everything, her childhood, all of that shit. And she's like, I've never talked about this to anyone, but if grandmother's alive, she needs to know. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. But the memories are also very overwhelming for her, obviously, because it was like years of torture. It was like 10 whole years of torture. And she's like, I'm kind of afraid, and I'm not used to being afraid. Hadria says, no, I don't imagine you are. She's like, this Scarlet, you said that grandmother sent her to kill you, but it's also revenge for her brother's death. And she says, yeah, that's what Scarlet believes. But I don't even know if I killed her brother or not, to be honest. She's like, it's definitely possible that I did. She's like, but it also could be one of grandmother's lies. And Hadria's like, okay, but what about Scarlet? What did you think about her exactly? And she's like, tells her. And then Hadria listens for a while, and it also includes just like her being like, Scarlet reminds me of myself or of who I used to be. Hadria's like, you think you can save her? And Lissa is like, I don't know. Maybe. She's like, but she's my way in to deal with grandmother. And she's like, we have to stop grandmother. If you want Juno Bianchi at your wedding, we have to get rid of her. And she's like, is Juno Bianchi even aware of her? Like, I wasn't until this moment. Lissa is like, whether she is or not is immaterial. Like, I won't allow you to invite her here while grandmother is here uncontained. Like, it would be a disaster. And she thinks that Hadria doesn't seem to understand how dangerous grandmother is, but that Lissa is one of the few people she'll listen to. So she has to try. And I'm like, I don't know why she listens to you. I gotta be real with you. And then she's like, I am going to have Juno Bianchi at my fucking wedding. All right. She's like, so that means we have to take out this grandmother. And she's like, I will. Like, it's my mess. And she's like, no, you're not alone anymore. You're not a little girl on the streets. Like, you have an army behind you now if you want it. She's like, I know I do, but this is something I need to do. Like you and Nero, you get me, which is like about her and her brother or whatever. And she's like, I get you, but what's the first move? Like, where's her HQ? And I'm literally like, if I was a mob boss, hot take. No one wants to know what I would do as a mob boss, but whatever. I'd do some crazy good communism shit too, though. Like, I do some evil shit, but I do some communism, you know? Gotta balance it out. I don't think I would be like, hey, this is someone you're trying to impress upon me is dangerous and you're not normally scared of shit and I know you really well. I am definitely gonna let you do all of this by yourself. No. What the fuck? No. And she's like, well, she's not stationed where she used to be, but I will find her. And she's like, you could ask Johnny DeLuca to nose around. He's useful for that shit. But she thinks to herself, Lissa does, that she doesn't really want the Bianchi family involved. And she doesn't really want to owe somebody, even though Johnny DeLuca loves doing favors. And I'm like, well, okay. She's like, if I need to, I'll ask him. She's like, but right now, I think Scarlet's enough of a lead. This is when our girl Hadria, who I appreciate, has an aha moment for a second. She's like, wait a damn minute. That bitch is supposed to be dead. She has been supposed to be dead for a hot fucking minute. And she's like, I just need to keep her alive for right now as the link to grandmother. And Hadria says, okay, you can keep the assassin alive for now, but hear me loud and clear. The moment she's no more use, she dies. Like, her crimes against the syndicate cannot go unanswered. And we again go over that Chicago has to be stable and the syndicate's reputation has to remain amazing. Well, she says sterling, and then Lissa thinks by sterling she means ruthless, merciless, and brutal, of course. Yes. I didn't think that the general public had the opinion that the syndicate, which is a mob, is amazing. And it's just not doing crimes and is rescuing puppies. I don't need you to hold my hand. Thanks. Chapter 15, Scarlet. Scarlet goes back to grandmother's house. To grandmother's house we go. I keep forgetting that this is supposed to be like a very loose Little Red Riding Hood retelling. Messes with my brain. And she's like, I failed. And grandmother's like, again. She's like, I was too injured from training with Ariadne, and Lissa managed to kick me in the same spot. Grandmother's getting pissed and she's like, excuses. She's like, I have no use for excuses, only results. And she's like, I understand, all I can do is apologize. And she's like, that's not all you can do. And then Scarlet says, I'll accept whatever punishment you deem necessary. And she's like, you're gonna undergo the water treatment and perhaps it will remind you of the cost of your failure. It's waterboarding. And then it explains to you what waterboarding is. Hi, thank you. I know what waterboarding is. I didn't need you to tell me. I know what waterboarding is. And I don't know why we're calling it the water treatment when we could just say waterboarding. Waterboarding, if you're an adult, you've been through life. I think almost everyone knows what waterboarding is at this point. Whatever. She's like, I need her to not think too deeply about what happened with me and Lissa tonight because I'm suspicious of her a little. And she's like, yes, grandmother, as you wish. Page break. It's been a long ass fucking time of waterboarding, but she doesn't know how long it's been. And it's as terrible as she imagines. She's never had it done to her before, only threatened. We didn't get to see the waterboarding though. I'm not saying we need to, but I think it would be better than this. But anyway, Ariadne had a great fucking time doing the waterboarding, and I kind of wish I got to see it. What? Okay. And it just says, my punishment was her reward. Yes, I know. I know that. I know who Ariadne is as a person now, and I know what happens with you because you're being punished because we already went over that fucking scene of you accepting whatever punishment was given to you. I don't need you to tell me. This is the thing that pisses me off about a lot of these fucking books, is that they act like you're stupid. Like you can't do 1 + 1 = 2. It's not even 2 + 2 = 4. It's 1 + 1 = 2. And they're like, you can't count that high. And I'm like, I can, thanks. Thank you very much. But don't worry, Lissa was constant on her mind. I keep thinking about the concern in her eyes when she saw my injuries, even as she had me pinned against the wall, a stiletto point to my throat, the way she asked who had hurt me. It was a moment of genuine care, a flicker of humanity I never expected from her. She's nothing like I expected. She's only acting like this to you because she finds you hot. She only is reacting to you like this because you're hot. Because I'm being led to believe by the narrative that if she didn't think you were hot, if she didn't want to bone, you'd just be dead. So we find out she's known grandmother for 5 years. This is a lot of training for you to be this not good, but okay. I guess it's half the time she trained Lissa, and then Lissa also has other mob experience to build off of after that, but I still don't know. But anyway, that little kernel of doubt is now making her think like, wow, you know what? Grandmother really doesn't have any empathy. She enjoys watching us being hurt, like all of us. And she enjoys it most when we all hurt each other. And she's like, is Lissa right? Is grandmother using me? Yes. Anyway, and she's like, I came into this kind of knowing that she was going to use me a little bit, but I didn't really think it was going to be this much. And now Lissa is kind of saying, there's probably something else going on too. And I'm like, I think you're dipshit, but okay. Anyway, the door unlocks so she can leave the water torture. And she's going back to her apartment door. And we learn that they don't have nice decorations like grandmother does. Like she gives herself all this nice cool shit, and then no one else is allowed to have anything nice. The doubts grow stronger. If grandmother truly believes everything she says in training, why does she surround herself with extravagance while denying her trainees the smallest comforts? Of all of us, shouldn't she be the most focused, the least distracted? Shouldn't she have the emptiest damn room of all? Not really. I mean, I don't really understand how that works, because in this case, 2 + 2 isn't 4. She's not assassinating anyone. She's not training to be an assassin. She's training all of you to be an assassin. Why does she have to live like you? I mean, I get you're trying to say she's a hypocrite, but it doesn't work. That would be like an Amazon employee, right? Going to Jeff Bezos's house. I'm like, wow, why does he live like this, but expects me to live in my hovel or whatever? And I'm like, no one would be surprised. What the fuck? Anyway, she thinks about some more edgelord crap about how she knew this was going to end either with her in a coffin or her walking away. And grandmother smiled as though she knew something I didn't. Yeah, she knows a whole lot of somethings you don't, because the things you know couldn't even fill the size of like a passport. Anyway, she goes to sleep. Page break. She trains for several days. She's still tracking Lissa's tracker, and she's thinking, I have to do more before I meet her again. But she and Ariadne's training relationship is different now. Like, they're very weary of one another. Yeah, because you almost fucking killed her, and then she waterboarded you later. But they don't really trade insults anymore. And then she realizes when she's looking at Lissa's tracker that she's pretty much in the perfect meeting spot. So she's gonna take the video, show it to her, and she's gonna be like, you recognize this, and then she's gonna kill her. I'm like, you haven't been able to kill her. You couldn't even kill her with a gun. A gun, which is made for killing people. I don't... Shut up. Anyway, it's a motel on the outskirts of town, and she goes to the front desk. They are meeting in a very seedy motel room. And then we get this tripe after she opens the door, and Lissa is just laying on the bed or whatever. She looks impatient. I stop and stare at her. Every time I see her, I forget just how sexy she is. The messy blonde hair pulled back in her customary ponytail, her long legs bare as she sits there in only a pair of white cotton briefs and a tank top. I'm pretty sure she's not wearing a bra. Bitch, this isn't getting justice for Adam, now is it? No. And then she's like, hey, it took you fucking ages. What the hell? And she's like, also, what happened to you? She's like, I bought the video. And she's like, okay. Show me the video. And she thinks about how she wasn't expressly told not to share the footage, but she figured grandmother just thought she would never want to do that, so she hasn't showed anyone. And they watch it, and she has to walk away because Alyssa rewatches it, and she's getting so angry about it. After what feels like an eternity, Alyssa speaks. It's similar to a mask I wear sometimes, I'll give you that. And the woman moves like me, but I have no memory of this kill. Yeah, I mean, why would we just take your word for it? I don't know. She's like, you've murdered so often it becomes a blur. I mean, yeah, that's her whole job, but okay. And she's like, I don't remember names, but I remember every kill in this. This isn't me. She's like, which means grandmother is manipulating you. It's up to you to decide what you want to do. I want justice for my brother. I'm like, you just believe anyone who says anything to you. This random sketchy figure grandmother came and told you that Lissa murdered your brother. Lissa is now saying, I didn't do that. It's grandmother's fault. And now you're like, okay, how did you get into medical school? You deserve to be in the corner with a dunce cap on. How did you make it to medical school? And she's like, do you want justice or vengeance? Because those are very different. But either way, I'll help you get it. And she's shocked by this. And she's like, why? Why would you help me when she thinks when I killed her compatriots, her friends? Melissa's like, because in part, it's my fault. If I'd killed grandmother when I had the chance, you wouldn't be in this mess. And because she trails off. And I'm like, ugh, because she wants to bone again. And then finally, she cries about Adam because she can't take the sheer crushing unfairness of it all. And there's too much grief and pain. And then Lissa holds her for some fucking reason, but okay. Nice of her, I suppose. And then she kisses her, bitch. It couldn't even be about Adam for like 2 pages. For 2 fucking pages. Whatever. Chapter 16, Scarlet. We're still with her. They're making out. And then it's amazing or whatever. And then Lissa stops and is like, holy shit, we should stop doing this. Like, I am sorry. And Scarlet's like, no, what are you talking about? Please keep going. Like, with your dead brother's memory in the room.
Right in front of my salad?
And she's like, are you sure? And she's like, please. That time we in the shower, it's the first time in 5 years that my brain finally shut up. It felt good, Lissa, so good. I want you to make me feel good again. Help me feel ... something other than the rage. Okay, we love the maladaptive coping skills. See, I don't care about it. Look, okay, I have been reading garbage my whole life. Okay, my entire life, like some really good shit, but also a lot of garbage. You gotta sift through a lot of garbage. And I've enjoyed some garbage. I've enjoyed some hot garbage. I can name actually, like legitimately, and this is horrifying, Jude Devereaux books that I thought slapped. Was it garbage? Yeah. Probably. Did I enjoy the fuck out of that? Yes. If this was written slightly better, like slightly, just a smidge, just a tiny bit, and didn't talk to me like I'm stupid, I think I would have had a great time. I really do. I really think I would have had a great time. It's the acting like I'm stupid and the not thinking everything through when you're writing it that gets to me, fam. Alright, anyway. She's gonna take her time with Scarlet. I do not care. The moisture level, already there, obviously, because nobody has sexual problems in these fucking books. God. And sends bolts of need straight down to where I'm already throbbing for her. Yes, I know. If you can hear Sesame snoring, I'm sorry. This feels different from the time in the shower. More caring somehow. I never imagined the wolf could be caring. Not like this, ... Okay. It's still crazy to me. This one isn't as crazy to me. I mean, it's still fucked up and weird because you're literally boning with the memory of your brother getting murdered after you just watched his murder video, but okay. But the first time's even crazier to me because you fucked her when you thought she did it. I know it was with the idea of killing her, except you never at any point had a real concrete plan of how you were gonna do that. Whatever. It's the same shit. And she's calling her doll, and I don't know why. And she's like, I told you, doll, I want to do right by you tonight. Why? Oh, and then we got, that's it, honey. Open up those silky thighs for me. Oh, God. It's fine. Whatever. Scarlet was doing a little bit of something back, so that's why I was confused. Oh, she puts her boob in her mouth. That's why. And she's like, keep busy with that, and I'll keep busy with this, she says, sliding her fingers up the soaking seam of my pussy. And then there's a lot of, I'm gonna read this one too. I guess poor editing Shelby is just gonna have to censor some of this shit. Just like this, I'm gonna fuck down on that hot, greedy little of yours so I can watch that gorgeous face when you shatter apart for me. The edgelord nonsense. The edgelord nonsense. Anyway, there is the TRIBBING and there's a spread open folds. Thank you. Oh my god, this is gross. Okay. This whole sentence, let's read it. She shifts my leg, grabs one of my quivering breasts for purchase, and picks up the pace until a slick squelching noise fills the room with each delicious push. We have to use the word squelching. Also, what's with the breasts continuing to quiver? Why are only your yits shaking? Nothing else, just those. And there's like, you like this, you like how I fuck you. Blah, 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 blah. There's pistoning of the hips, which is the same kind of stuff. It's a frenzy. They use the C word again. Again, my mother clutching her damn pearls. There's hot flesh. Things are soaked. It's what it is. And then we get this, and we're gonna have to talk about it, even though I don't want to. She fucks me through it, scoffing as I beg for her to stop riding me through the first orgasm and right on into a second. Her strong thighs never faltering, and her see you next Tuesday like wet satin on mine. Hey, so when people say stop and they're begging you to stop, continuing is assault. Continuing is rape. Consent can be revoked at any time. Thank you for coming to the Common Sense TED Talk. And then she says, you get a 2-minute break, sweetheart, and then I want you to come for me again. It's like, I don't think I can. Like, you have to, because I didn't yet, and I want to spill all over you while you're in the middle of it. Mark out my territory. She smirks as a full body shudder goes through me. Oh, you like that idea? No point pretending otherwise. Yeah, I tell her. Yeah, I do. So come on, quit being lazy and get me all wet. Oh my god. Again, I don't like the whole, I didn't get off yet, so you have to do that. That's not consent. Is it? No. Obviously she's into this because of how it's written mostly. However, the begging you to stop and then this, it's just a giant fucking no from me. Okay? And then they go back to TRIBBING. Page break. They're cuddling after, which is a choice. And she's like, listen, Scar, I don't want you to misunderstand. I'll help you find your brother's killer, but when it's done, I'll have to kill you. I have my orders from Hades, and you killed syndicate members. There's no way out of it. You gotta take what's coming to you. And she already kind of knows, so she's kind of like, whatever. And she's like, I can't bring myself to regret it, because on any other path, I never would have met the woman lying warm and soft next to me, stroking my hair back from my face gently, except you might have, because she literally, allegedly, knows every lesbian in Chicago. So it's like, I understand. As long as you understand, I won't go without a fight. She's like, I never thought any different. And she apparently sounds regretful. She's like, then I accept your terms, and you never know. I might die before we get to that point. Or you might, on this little quest of ours. And they were like grinning at each other, and I'm like, okay. And she's like, for the first time in a long time, I'm not alone. I know you mean in the emotional sense, but like theoretically, what the fuck? Anyway, chapter 17. Lissa. They're at an exclusive wedding boutique because, duh, there's a wedding. Obviously. I really need the Corpse Bride audio. There's gonna be a wedding. And she hates it immediately because it's really girly. Unfortunately, this character is not explicitly butch, which makes me sad. I don't think I would have liked the assault any better if it had been a butch, but yay. And someone brings her some champagne, so she hates that lady a little less. And then she's like, where is she? And then Hadria emerges in a pantsuit. It's very frothy. And she's like, what do you think? But she's like uncertain. You look like one of those crochet dolls that old ladies put over toilet rolls in the bathroom, and that bustle not doing your ass any favors, Hades. Weird to talk to your boss / best friend like that, but okay. And Hadra's like, you are not helping. This isn't exactly fun for me either. Yeah, well, I have some good news for you. She's like, come into the changing room then, fine. We'll talk in there. She's like, why aren't you just getting this custom made? Because she's getting all these frilly like pantsuits or whatever. And she's like, these might be nice to sleep in, but not like, and she's like, I am having it custom made, but the dressmaker wanted me to know what kind of styles I wanted. Why doesn't she just wear a regular suit? Hot suit, you know? Whatever. It's not just butches who are allowed to wear suits, you know? Like, it doesn't have to be a pantsuit. Doesn't have to be. And we love Lissa's opinions, but she's like, this one's better than the last one, but the last one was too like frou-frou. Like, let me handle this. I was like, I thought you were giving her news, but apparently we're picking out a fucking pantsuit. But she looks at the options and she tells all about all that shit except for the crying in the arms and the sex shit, obviously. And she finally picks one for Hadria, and it's understated elegance. apparently at its finest. I'm like, okay, if you say so. I don't really know if I trust any of your opinions because you apparently don't give a rat's ass about clothes or weddings or any of this shit. But okay. And Hadrian's like, oh, thank God. I was starting to feel like an actual wedding cake, but this is nice or whatever. And Alyssa's like, yeah, this suits you. And then they're quiet for a sec. And then Lissa tries to do the most obvious thing you've ever seen in your life. And she's like, you know, this Scarlet, I was thinking she might make a good recruit for the syndicate once we get her away from grandmother. And Hadria immediately is like, absolutely not. Anyone who hurts the syndicate has to be made an example of. The assassin dies as soon as this grandmother is dealt with. I'm surprised to even hear you suggest it, which is how Hadria should know something is up. Does she know that? No. Put 2 and 2 together, please. And then she's back on her own wedding because she's, you know, she's in love. She's tee. And she's like, do you think Aurora will like it? Like, she's just like, she'll love it. Leave like the ridiculous dress to her. And Hadria's like, yeah. And then Alyssa thinks, I don't want to kill Scarlet. The realization has been coming slow, just like the sunrise that makes me blink as I say goodbye to Hadria outside the boutique. But it's unmistakable now that I see it. I don't want to kill her. Yeah. No shit. She goes on to explain that she feels guilty, but also responsible for her creation because if she'd really killed grandmother, none of this would have happened. Fair point, but you were 10. I think we can let that go. She's like, and that is true, but it's more than that. I'm like, yes, you want to bang. We get it. Okay, whatever. And she's really hung up on some of the things she says, like, it's not fair. Yeah, it's not fair. But okay. She's like, I'm loyal to the syndicate. I'm loyal to Hadria. Prove it. Prove it. She doesn't prove it to me at any point in this book, by the way. She's like, even if I'm burying myself along with her. Stop with the edgelord nonsense. Anywho, let's read this fucking edgelord shit. Because she's just walking around Chicago being like, I push down my feelings, locking them away in the same place I keep all my other weaknesses. The place that grandmother tried so hard to burn out of me. The place that I've fought tooth and nail to keep down ever since I left. It's a battle I wage every day, a war against my own humanity. Humanity is not useful to someone like me, so I need to forget about Scarlet's grief, forget about the guilt I feel for leaving grandmother alive, and focus on getting the intel I need. And she says like enough to herself on her motorbike, but I didn't know you were possessed by the spirit of Hayden from Collateral Damage. Thank you for being possessed by her. I missed her so much after doing like an ungodly number of hours, like 7 or more hours of video of that shit. Yeah, I missed Hayden so much. Wait, she decides to watch the video again because she's like, who was the woman who did that and why is she trying so hard to look like me? The answer is unfortunately incredibly obvious. Anywho, chapter 18, Scarlet. And Scarlet says, well, it could be Ariadne, maybe. Can you imagine? It was already obvious, first of all. But then putting the actual fucking real answer, I'm just gonna spoil it for y'all, the actual real answer in the next sentence of the next chapter. I wanted to die. Anyway, they're meeting at a different hotel. They both have weapons just in case or whatever. It's whatever. Lissa has printed out literal stills of the video and forcing herself to look at them, but she keeps getting distracted because of how hot Lissa is. Your dead brother doesn't matter to you. Your dead brother, here's my hot take, was a vehicle for the author to get you here around Lissa. Your brother doesn't actually matter. Your brother doesn't matter at all. It's been 5 years since he died. You've allegedly been training this entire time to kill his killer. You never questioned the people who were training you and what they might have to gain from that. You never questioned whether Lissa is lying and actually is her. Not really. Not enough because you want a boner. Your brother doesn't matter. He's just a vehicle for you to make this an enemies to lovers situation. And I love enemies to lovers, but not like this, homie. Not like this. Also, it wasn't really enemies to lovers because you both wanted to bone the instant you saw each other. Bone! There's some ridiculous other shit. Like her thoughts are very long and annoying, but she's thinking about Lissa looking at her and she's like, I'm being studied, assessed as potential prey by a powerful apex hunter. Run, run. My heart beats out the command, but I ignore it. Okay. All I can think of is from the Mean Girls music, Apex Predator. If you know, you know. If you're not into musicals, I don't get you. But Lissa's like, okay, who the fuck is Ariadne? She's like, well, she's one of grandmother's and she's been with her since her teens and she's around your age now, probably 30s. And she's like, wow, it really could be Ariadne. Yeah, no shit. And Lissa's like, okay, let's say it is her. On grandmother's orders, maybe. She's like, if she had her eye on you and wanted to recruit you, she might have figured this was the best way to bring you into her flock or whatever. Maybe. And to be honest, Ariadne would love nothing more than to hurt me. She hates me, and I don't really know why. The words tumble out before I can rein them in. She hates me maybe even more than she hates you. And Lissa's like, she hates me? Bitch doesn't even know me. But grandmother probably gave her a whole bunch of lies too, so I'm like, okay. And she's also like, how did you get good so fast, by the way? Because you've only been in grandmother's house for a few years. And then this dumb bitch is like, she thinks I'm good. And I'm like, oh my god. And she's like, I trained since childhood, not with grandmother. She's like, I was really into martial arts. And we learn that she started because her brother started and she wouldn't stop tagging along and she just really wanted to do it. And she thinks about how she worshipped him and he was her whole world. Yeah, not anymore. Not anymore, because some sweet mafia cooch is all it takes. What are we talking about? And Lissa's like, yeah, but you're a natural. She's like, the way you move, it takes me years to beat those moves into syndicate recruits. And she's like, beat? And she's like, not literally. She's like, I don't want to be like her, like grandmother. And I'm like, girl, you work, like Scarlett, you work for grandmother at this moment. You know what she does to people. Why are you offended that someone else is doing it? I don't, whatever. But she's not doing it or whatever. And she's like, hey, it's kind of a shame that you chose this instead of medicine, but okay. She's like, I think you'd do better at healing people than hurting people. Yeah, no shit. And at first, Scarlett wants to argue it. She, in her head, and she's like, she's right. I know she's right. Yeah. No shit. And she's like, but that door is closed to me now. I mean, you haven't been prosecuted with anything, so it's not. But okay, if you say so. I just have a feeling about how the second book goes in my head, okay? So maybe it will prove me wrong if I ever fucking read it. Who knows? And she's just like, are you convinced yet that that woman isn't me? And she's like, I'm not entirely convinced, but it could be Ariadne. Or you could just be bullshitting me to get close to grandmother. That's what you really want, isn't it? To have another shot at her? And Lissa's like, yeah. Does that bother you? She's like, I don't know. I don't really care. I just want. And Lissa's like, vengeance, yeah. And she's like, I have an idea, but you're not gonna like it. She's like, we need to go back to the scene where your brother died. And she's like, why? She's like obviously upset. She's like, we might be able to pick up some things that you can't from the video. It's like, I want to argue more, but I can see her point. And we go over again how it's not the restaurant anymore. And she's like, well, you're right about one thing. I don't like it, but we should do it anyway. Okay. She's like, in the meantime, I'll see what I can shake loose from Ariadne. You think that bitch is gonna answer you? She's not. And she's like, okay, let's meet tomorrow night then, late, like we did tonight. And she gathers up all the photos and hands them to Scarlett, who takes them even though she doesn't want them. And then she yanks the gun she had hidden under the table, and Scarlett internally is like, I knew it. And I'm like, okay. And then she's like, get some rest, Scar. I'll see you tomorrow. I almost asked her to wait to stay to come to bed with me again, but then she's gone. Adam is never gonna get avenged. Not that he even wanted that, but like, Adam is never gonna get any vengeance, damn. But she goes to bed after thinking about Adam and his friendly smile, and I'm like, you have a weird connection between Adam being in your brain and then wanting to fuck somebody else. It feels really weird. And she thinks more about how she will revisit the place that allowed grandmother's poison to take root. That's not entirely fair. I chose this path after all. I turn on my side, curling up, then press the heels of my hands against my eye sockets until stars burst across the blackness. The fuck does that mean? But anyway, how many lies and half truths am I blindly following now? Lissa says one thing, grandmother says another, and if it was Ariadne who killed Adam, will I turn my wrath toward her instead? How many more people need to die before this rage inside me is satisfied? Just because you have your character point out that they're doing something stupid repeatedly by trusting people randomly doesn't make it good writing, just so you know. Chapter 19, Lissa. Lissa is back at that hotel and she thinks this shit because it's really stupid. Scarlett's a killer. She has killed my friends, my comrades, but now I feel torn between my loyalty to the syndicate and the growing connection I feel with her, a bond forged through shared trauma. Yeah, I know. I know. I understand. I don't need you to hold my fucking hand. I'm gonna start skipping some of this shit. I always say that and then I don't though. It's fine. But she blames herself for Scarlett suffering at the hands of grandmother and her brother being murdered. And I'm like, you were 10. I really need you to stop blaming yourself for not committing the perfect murder when you were 10. It's fine. Like, oh my God. But she can't get Scarlett's eyes out of her mind. Yeah, we know. And then she can't stop thinking about all the sex they fucking had and how she almost kissed her tonight. Nearly offered to stay and cuddle up with her. She's like, but I knew I should go and I shouldn't tease her. Shouldn't make her think that this thing between us will end any other way except with me following orders. You have followed 0 orders, bitch. In this book, maybe you need to read the other books to see all of the orders that she allegedly carries out correctly. However, these are considered their own series and aren't in the other series. So I shouldn't have to just listen to the author repeatedly go, trust me, bro. Trust me. No, you need to show me. Stop fucking telling me and just show me for once. Anyway, she wants to go to the training room, but then she's like, not really. I'm gonna go to Mrs. Graves instead. And she thinks all these nice things about Mrs. Graves. Like, she never tamed us, but she fed us and sheltered us until we trusted her, even loved her. And I'm like, okay, I think maybe she should have tamed you a little bit. It's kind of crazy how Mrs. Graves went from my daughter got brutally murdered and these 2 fucking teenagers avenged it for some reason, and now I am helping them create a mob. Girl, what? And Mrs. Graves like opens the door without asking who it is, and Lissa looks at her like all mad, and she's like, I have a peephole. I have eyes. She's like, yeah, well, looks can be deceiving, thinking about, you know, whoever. It's so stupid. And Mrs. Graves is like, you look like you have the weight of the world on your shoulders. What's wrong? She's just like, dunno. She makes her hot chocolate, which is nice of Mrs. Graves, I suppose. Also, we learn very little about Sarah, which is the daughter that got murdered, but apparently Lissa slept in the dead girl's bed. Okay. But Sarah's teddy bear, Mr. Fluffykins, turned out to be a good confidant. Okay. Like, what's troubling you? You're not one for deep reflection. Yeah, the depth of this book is a puddle. She's just like, you got that right. It's like, I'm having feelings for someone I shouldn't. It's complicated. Mrs. Graves is like, matters of the heart are rarely simple, especially in the world we live in. Like, is this person, what are they like? And then she's like, she's different, and yet she's really familiar to me. Not like other girls. Strikes again. And we go on and on and on and on about she's strong but she's broken, blah blah blah, who cares. And Mrs. Graves is like, the forbidden fruit is often the sweetest, but I see something shifting in you ever since the Elysium was destroyed or whatever. And I'm like, okay. She's like, I want to protest, but she's right. I'm like, okay. And she's just like, I don't know what to do. See, you said you would follow orders, but you're not gonna. Anyway, in our world, love is a luxury few can afford. It makes us vulnerable, exposes our weaknesses to those who would exploit them. I'm a little startled to hear her jump to the L word so fast. Love, is that what I'm feeling? No, you're not. No, you're not. What if her dream life is to have a house full of macaws? Macaws can like rip your face off. Whatever. It's like having a sexually mature toddler in your house for 80 years. You have to give it to your kid or someone you know because it still might outlive you. And Mrs. Graves, though, is like, but it's the most powerful force on earth, capable of transforming even the darkest of souls. I'm like, okay, if you say so, girl. And then she talks about how when she lost Sarah and all the vengeance and stuff, and how she needed a reason to keep living, and Hadria, and my brain has forgotten her name. Oh my god. Lissa. Jesus Christ. And Lissa gave her purpose. My brain is blacking out. I don't know why. And she's like, I never knew you struggled that much. And she's just like, nonsense, we all have our demons. And sometimes the light comes from where you least expect it. That was you and Hadria for me. Like, I'm sure it helped that they killed the killer of your daughter, but okay. But, you know, she thinks about Scarlet again because Lissa has a one-track mind. And she's like, but do you really think that's possible for someone like me? Is it possible for someone like me to find? I trail off. I can't even say the word. Haven't I proven time and again that I'm a monster? Just like the beast from the fairy tales that I like to call myself after. I'm a killer for hire, and I even take pleasure in the work, in the thrill of the hunt and the sweet release of the kill. I'm like, okay, edgelord. But Mrs. Graves is looking at her like all sad. It's like, of course you deserve love, and you are loved by all of us. And if this woman has captured your heart, even if you can't be with her, it's a sign that for you that there's more in this life than violence and vengeance. And she just has to ask a question after all these fucking years, which is crazy, which is like, after Sarah, did it help avenging her death? And Mrs. Graves is like, it didn't bring her back, and it didn't make the pain of losing her any easier to bear, but I felt a measure of justice knowing the monster who took her from me could no longer hurt anyone else, which is something that I appreciate. Thank you, Mrs. Graves, the only intelligent person in this whole book. And Mrs. Graves is like, hey, I don't think you should tell this woman how you feel, though. And she's like, the woman you have feelings for, you know, because Lissa's like, oh. She's like, yeah, I don't plan on telling her. She's like, I know it will be difficult, but I know there's someone special out there for you too. She's like, thanks, Mrs. G. I gotta go because dealing with emotions is impossible for Lissa because she is avoidant. She's just like, you're a daughter to me, Lissa. I'll never forget that. Blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't have to tell people this all the time, but okay. And she's like, whatever you decide to do about your feelings, I'll be there for you, and so will Hadria. Hadria? What does Hadria... ... Wait, I stiffen in her hug. Does she think I was talking about, oh, fuck. Oh, thanks, I managed to squeak out, gotta go, Mrs. G, places to be. That makes so much sense. I kind of agree with her. Like, who else is she close to? Nobody. She makes like a hasty retreat and she's like, Hadria, she thinks I have a thing for Hadria. I mean, Hadria sounds a million times more sexy than you. I just gotta say it. It's like, does she really think I'm jealous of Susie Sunshine? She's like, hell no. Hadria and Aurora are like sisters to me. And she's like laughing a little bit about it. I'm like, oh my god, okay. And she's like, I'm definitely not in love with Scarlet though either. Sure. Talk to the wall, I guess. And she's like, it's just the trauma bonding or whatever. And at the end of the chapter, she's like, and once I can get to grandmother through Scarlet, I won't need her anymore and I'll dispose of her as ordered. Perfect. You won't. I've read this book. You won't. It's ridiculous. Also, like, we don't need you to reiterate the same things over and over and over and over and over. Like, the whole, like, LOL, she thinks I'm into Hadria. Fine. Whatever. But then the whole, like, I'm not in love with Scarlet. Also, kind of fine. Whatever. But then she's, like, telling us the plot again. Like, how the rest of the plot is supposed to go in her own head. Yes, I know. Okay? Shush. Chapter 20, Lissa. She wants to go meet with Scarlet, obviously, for the stupid thing, but Hadria has called a meeting of all of the senior syndicate members and she doesn't want to ditch because it's happening at the Elysium. I think you should do what Hadria told you to do, but we're gonna get back to it anyway. It's fine. And they're in the war room in the new mansion. It's not quite finished yet, but it's fine. There's like just a big table right now and chairs and then Hadria's throne pretty much. But it's soundproof and it has audio disruptors through the walls, blah blah blah. And she's at Hadria's right hand. And she's just on her damn throne and she's like, report. I just know she's fine. I can't prove it, but I know it. And Lissa says the overview of their position the last 6 months of the syndicate's growth since the purging, the tightening of the grip on some of the best smuggling routes in Chicago, the Imperiales are backing off, and the targeted strikes are working. Why does she know all of this? I really have been under the impression the entire time that she's just an assassin. So it's really odd to change it up now, but okay. But Hadria's like, good. But Mario says, but they've been paying off some of our medical contacts though, trying to cut off our support. And they think like, well, Lissa thinks it's kind of a smart move. And Hadria's like, yeah, we're all aware of that. I've decided to send Aurora out to speak to a few people, see if she can convince them back to our employ. And they're all kind of murmuring about it. And she's like, she smiles a bit actually. And she's like, it's that sweet demeanor of hers. She's much better at charming people than I am. I'm like, smart. The wives who crime together don't go to prison together. And they're all kind of chuckling a little bit, and Lissa thinks, or little Susie Sunshine has a way of wrapping people around her little finger. I'm like, okay. Well, Ricky's like, if she can handle a boss, I think a few medics are like child's play for her. And Hadria's just like, any other suggestions? Anyone know a few stand-in medics while we're waiting? And then this dumb bitch Lissa is like, Scarlet has medical training, and everyone turns to look at her. And Mario's like, who the fuck is Scarlet? Sorry, all I can think of when I see Mario is Mario. Like the actual Mario. Mamma mia. And she's like, and Hadria's like, Scarlet is the name of the assassin who has been killing our syndicate members. Lissa has been working to eliminate the threat. And she's like, her voice is calm, but I know that tone. I fucked up. Yeah, no shit. And everyone's getting mad. And Ricky is like, are you shitting me? Like, why isn't she dead? Like, you said you were taking care of it. And then she's like, I was just kidding about the medical thing. And Mario's like, ha ha ha, she killed Yuri. Like, if you can't handle the job. And she's like, watch it. She'll be dead soon enough. And she's looking at Hadria though. And she's like, something in Hadria's eyes tells me she sees right through me. I hope so, because it's been very obvious and we're 60% through the book. And if she can't figure it out, I have no faith in her either. And they're just like, why isn't she dead yet? And they're like, what gives? And Hadria decides to actually have her back for once, I guess. And she says she's a pawn. Lissa is not a complete moron. She wants to find out who's really pulling the strings. And then we will cut to the puppet master's throat along with this Scarlet's. And everyone is still looking a little pissed but they're kind of like, okay, Hadria is gonna make sure this happens, okay? And Ricky's like, hey, we should have been told that this was a bigger threat instead of just some lone actor. And Hadria's like, okay, you know now, ho? And she's like, and when Scarlet and her backer are no longer our concern, Lissa will tell us, won't you, Lissa? I'm kind of like, I like Hadria. And Lissa feels this like lurch in her stomach, but she's like, I will. Yep, that's the plan. And she says Hadria seems satisfied, but the italics are on seams, so obviously she's not. And she's just like, for the time being, the Sokolovs' attempt to flex their pathetic muscles by disrupting our established supply routines must be ignored unless absolutely necessary. She says, I will not have Chicago, and then everyone answers disabled before the wedding, and everyone starts laughing. And she's like, okay, as long as you all understand, if the Sokolovs need to be dealt with, I want them left alive, please. And she's like, and trust me, you don't want to see me in Bridezilla mode. And I was like, I love her. But she sees Hadria look at her, and she feels the faint warning. Yeah, I got it. Thank you. Then we get a page break. After everyone else leaves the war room, Hadria turns to her. She's like, you have been uncharacteristically restrained about this assassin. And she's like, hey, this is kind of like uncharacteristically restrained, but why do we have to use uncharacteristically like twice in a row? I don't know. It just like, they're so close together on the page that it like tickles my brain the wrong way. She's like, okay, I think I'm dealing with my friend right now and not my boss. I'm like, yeah, because if she was your boss, she'd be lighting you up. She's like I said, I'm handling it. And Hadria's like, are you? Because I have given you a very long rope and I'd rather you didn't hang yourself with it. I'm like, fair. She's like, it's just like you said at the meeting. I'm just trying to get close to her so I can lure out grandmother, and she's really the one we should be worried about. And Hadria studies her for a second and says, look, I didn't want to go into all of that with the syndicate. Like, it's your past and your business, but if you need help, just ask for it. She's like, I don't need help. It's under control. I'm handling it. And Hadria sighs and says, please promise me you are Lissa. We can't afford any fuck ups. Again, brings up Juno Bianchi. And again, she lies. And she's like, I promise I'm handling it. And she's like, okay, that's good. Now get out of here and do what needs doing. Then as she's leaving at the end of the chapter, she's like, am I handling it or is Scarlet handling me? I'm like, I think your hormones are handling you, babes. Chapter 21. Scarlet. Scarlet is back to grappling with Ariadne again, because that's the most homoerotic part of this book, in my opinion. That's the real enemies to lovers. And Ariadne even says a little bit like, not bad. Actually, I'm kind of liking the pacing and the speed and the narrative arc that could have been Scarlet and Ariadne. That's really sad. That's really sad that you're making me vote for the obvious brother killer. They finally stop and Scarlet's like, is that all you can take for today or whatever? And Ariadne like doesn't even reply. And she just kind of looks at her with like pity. And she's like, what's gotten into you? And Ariadne's like, just figured you've suffered enough of me for one day. She's like, don't flatter yourself. I could go all night. Ariadne's like, I'm sure you could. But even you need a break sometimes. Again, why am I now on basically my second reread being like, you know what? Big brain moment. Ariadne Scarlet now. And Ariadne is just like, call this an uncharacteristic moment of empathy. And she's like, well, that's a first. And then she decides to ask Ariadne why she hates her so much. And Ariadne snaps to look at her and then she's like, I don't hate you. I feel sorry for you. And she's like, why? And Ariadne doesn't answer. She's like, hey, grandmother told me to send you up after training. She has a gift for you. She's like, what? And then Ariadne is like, she knows. And she's like, grandmother knows what? And she's like, and what is this gift of hers? But I want answers. I'll have to seek them out directly. So she goes to the penthouse. Chapter 22, Lissa. She's right on time to meet Scarlet in the alleyway. So it used to be the restaurant. Obviously, it's a laundry now. But the alley looks pretty much the same. And Scarlet is quieter tonight than usual. And she's like, if I didn't know any better, I think something was wrong. Yeah, something is wrong, bitch. You both work for mafias. Hello. But anyway, the alley's gross. Who cares? And then she's kind of like, wait, what are we even going to find all these years later? I'm like, Lissa, you should have fucking thought about that. And she's like, did you get anything out of Ariadne? And she's like, no. She's just like, no. Because she's like, that's not helpful. And she's just like, do you see anything useful? And she's like, I see a number of better positions to take someone out from if I wanted to do it quietly and without being seen by the camera. Pointing at the camera. Easy enough to use a silenced gun from up there or throw a knife. And Scarlet looks and does some like calculations in her brains and she's like, you're right. Let's recreate the scene and act it out. This is like, what? It's like, act it out. Maybe it will jog my memory. There's something so dull about the way she says it. And she's just like, I'll be Adam and you can be the wolf. And she's like, okay, fine. Which is super weird. And then she does it. And there's an imaginary knife, obviously. And she's like, okay. And she's like, it wasn't you, was it? And she then starts sobbing in this alleyway. And she's like, I have seen her cry, but I haven't seen her this hurt and broken. Like, ooh. And, you know, because she's a gay, she holds her again for some fucking reason. Because she's gay, you know? And then they pull back and she's like, Lissa. And again, something about Adam's ghost excites her so much, even though that's her brother, that she starts kissing Lissa in the fucking alley in which her brother was murdered. And she held him as he died. And they just reenacted his murder a little bit. What the fuck? Anyway, it's primal. Hooray. And time loses all meaning. And then suddenly the Russians are fucking here. Because of course they are. And they're mad still about Yuri. Obviously. And they're like, you killed Yuri. You'll pay for every drop of his blood. And she's just like, fucking hell, I didn't kill Yuri. And they're like, not you, her. And they point at Scarlet. And she's just like, get out of here. This is my problem. She's like, well, I should go. But I'm not gonna. Even though I got ordered directly to lay off the Sokolovs. And she's just like, what, miss all the fun? Of course they have to have their fighting together scene. I've already instinctively positioned myself between Scarlet and the threat, even though the reality is that she's just as much a threat to me as these Sokolovs, more actually. But the protective urge, the need to shield this woman I'm supposed to have killed myself by now. It's just too overwhelming. Nothing in these books makes sense. Anyway, like, you're gonna pay, blah, 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 blah. And they try to reason with them for some reason, but it doesn't work. And she's like, also, he wasn't even one of you guys. He was one of us. And they're like, yeah, and yet here you are making out with his killer. And they bring up a fucking great point, actually. And they're like, seems like you need putting down, wolf. And I'm like, okay. And she tells Scarlet, no lethal force only, please. And then they fight. Hooray. They fight amazingly together. And there's more protective instinct shit. I don't know. And then the chapter ends with her trying to, like, she's watching a guy stand up and he's like locking on Scarlet again. And she's like, Scarlet. Chapter 23, Lizzo. Time seems to slow to a crawl as I trace his trajectory. Before I can even think I'm moving, hurling myself forward to put myself squarely between them. His ham-sized fist slams into my chest like a freight train, lifting me clear off my feet with the sheer force behind the blow. Hit the ground hard again, the impact reverberating through my very bones as the world tilts and spins in a sickening vortex. Okie doke. Alrighty. Okay. I don't understand still why we are going out of our way to protect this person that we literally know almost nothing about, and that we just want to bone really bad, and then we have some shared trauma. Except it wasn't really shared trauma because you weren't at the same place at the same time. So it's not really shared. You have different separate traumas that are just so happened to be created by the same fucking person. I don't understand why you are putting yourself in harm's way for someone you hardly know. Could it be me? Anyway, he's coming at her again, and then Scarlet kicks his ass. I don't know. And they're not sure if he's dead or not also, but like, God, she's beautiful, even as she yanks out the knife, even as she heads my way with murder in her eyes, ... She's beautiful. Okay, if you say so. You know, she's like ready for Scarlet to try and attack her, but she doesn't. And Scarlet's like, he'll probably live, but like, I'm sorry, I don't really have much of a choice. He was about to kill you. But before she can respond, there is agony in her shoulder, and Scarlet's like, hey, your shoulder. And she's like, it's fine. And she just like, she literally says, it's fine, I lied. Just give me a sec. And she shoves her shoulder back into its socket, which is not how that works, but okay. And Scarlet's like, that was a silly thing to do. Scarlet tells me carefully, I could have helped you rotate it back in. Sure, but my way's faster. Yeah, your way is also a great way to get permanent body damage, which you need because you're an assassin. Okay. Anyway, she's like, you're insane. Do you know that? I'm like, you're all insane. And she's like, look who's talking, Scar. Come on, let's get out of here. And they're walking. And she's like, where are we going? I don't know. Walking helps me think, and we need to figure out what we're gonna do next since you finally think I didn't kill him. And she's like, why couldn't we just kill those stupid Russians? And she's like, because Hadria said no. She's like, do you always just ... follow orders? I thought that's why you left grandmother in the first place, to do your own thing. Fair point. One that gives me pause as we make our way back onto the sidewalk of one of Chicago's most populated streets. That is a great point, actually. It is a fascinating point. point. But also, we've seen her obey 0 orders. So, my loyalty lies with the Syndicate, and more importantly, with Hadria. No wonder Mrs. G thought you were in love with her. Jesus. She's the closest thing to family I've got left. Her and Mrs. G, and well, the rest of the Syndicate. I'm like, yeah, we know what the priorities are. And Scarlett's like, I'm sorry about killing your people, and I'm very sorry about killing Yuri in particular, because some lives are worth more than others or whatever. Anyway, she was like, you were right about him. He was being kind to me that night. He didn't deserve to die. None of them did. Wasn't expecting that. An apology. It doesn't fix anything, but I guess it's nice to hear. Yeah, you're right, it doesn't. Go to Yuri's gravesite, please, and say, hey, I got an apology from your killer. Hope that helps you, buddy. It sure helped me. Shut up. Shut up. And instead she's like, well, no one joins the Syndicate without knowing the risks, and maybe Adam didn't deserve to die, but none of them were innocent, and me most of all, because we gotta make this about ourselves. It's like, maybe, she says, I made myself their executioner, and I had no right to do that. It weighs on me every damn day, Alyssa, and more since I realized that grandmother's been bullshitting this whole time. She used me, and I let her do it. And then she goes on to be like, and I get it about following orders for your family's sake. I mean, I'd do anything to protect mine too, my real family, I mean. And she's like, obviously you joined an elite organization for assassins and threw away your potential just for the chance at revenge. Most people aren't that crazy. True. And then she's just like, Scar, what's wrong? There's been something up with you like all night. What's wrong? And she's like, And then there's like some sirens, and she's like, let's get some coffee. And she's like, okay, why not? Lead the way, Wolf. And we end the chapter with Lissa thinking, I like her. I really do. And that's a problem. Yes, we know. Thank you. I'm back. You're getting greasy skincare looking poofy hair Shelby because it's Friday and I'm fucking tired, okay? Like, comment, subscribe so I don't have to work 2 jobs. I could just maybe work 1 someday. Chapter 24, Scarlett. They go to the cafe together and they get breakfast, and Scarlett is just starving. There was some slight attempt at banter about like kicking that guy or something, but I don't care about it. However, unfortunately, Lissa's like, shit, because Aurora and Mrs. Graves are nearby and they're coming in, and she's like, just be cool, don't say anything weird. And Aurora is like, oh my god, guys, like, what are you? Aurora's like, oh my god, Lissa, what are you doing here? Crazy to run into you here. And Scarlett recognizes it as Aurora Verderosa, who is obviously Hadria's fiance. And she even knows who Mrs. Graves is, which is, she's apparently the, what did she say she was? Jesus. They say that she's the housekeeper. I highly doubt that they make her work. I really doubt it. I really do. And Scarlett's kind of confused because they have shopping bags that are full of like fabric swatches and cake samples. Girl, you know about the wedding. Everyone does. It's 70% through this book. I know that you know that there's this big wedding, but okay. What, YouTube studio, what? I hate the analytics side of crap. I really do. The thing I don't understand about YouTube shorts right now is I've had 2 separate shorts where I used an artist's audio, like a song, right? I literally use the audio and then YouTube will come back to me and say, yeah, that's a copyrighted song. I'm like, I know. I used it on your platform where you allowed me to click it. What? Like, it's so stupid. They're like, it doesn't affect you, just some visibility in some countries. And I'm like, okay, but whatever. Also, Scarlett is kind of like awestruck by how beautiful Aurora is. I just know she's like the prettiest femme you've ever seen. I can't confirm whether Hadria is butch. That's how I've been picturing her. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna pull up the book covers and I'm gonna find out. See, it makes me sad because all the other books have covers. Oh, I was right. The Red Rivals Duet has a 3rd one. I'm not stupid. What the fuck? What? Anyway, I'm gonna have to read 3 of these potentially, God. But almost all of them have someone's face on them. And then the ones for Hadria and Aurora only have like pictures of tied up hands and then untied hands in the second one. That's offensive to me, personally. Like, I know that she's butch in my soul, so that's what I've decided. But I just know Aurora's fine, too. And Aurora's like, well, it's nice to meet you, random friend of Lissa's. And Scarlett lies and is like, hi, I'm Ruby, and like shakes her hand. And Mrs. Graves introduces herself also. And she's also like, you've gotten Lissa out really early. She's usually more of a night owl. But she's looking at them and she's like, but maybe it was a late night instead of an early morning kind of situation. Yeah, you're correct. She's like, I hope you girls kept out of trouble. Girl, you took in 2 girls and you let them start a mafia. I don't understand. I mean, I know Hadria didn't technically, I don't know if she actually started her own. Like, I know because of other events in the book that we learn that she was the daughter of some mafia guy, but he chose her shitty ass brother over her to inherit. I don't know if she actually like created the Six Syndicate from the ground up though. I think. I don't know. I do want to read those books much more than I want to read these ones, but whatever. And Lissa's like, just the usual, nothing to worry about, Mrs. G. And Aurora's like, it really is so nice to meet you, to Scarlett. And it's like, are you and Lissa old friends? And Scarlett has to lie and says, oh yeah, we go way back. And Aurora's like, that's great. Lissa never really mentions her friends or anything. And then she can hear Lissa telling Mrs. Graves she needs to have her fucking bodyguards. And Aurora's like, no, they're just outside. They're right outside. We didn't lose them this time. But she sees them kind of like, obviously looking upset that she's in there without them. And she's like, oh, well, I guess we should get going though. And then Aurora does this, and I love her. She turns back to me with an air of mischief. Ruby, would you like to come to my wedding as Lissa's +1? It would be so nice to have one of Lissa's old friends there. Agent of Chaos, I love it. And Lissa just looks resigned. And she's like, yeah, I'd be honored. And Aurora just like beams at her. She's so excited about it. I'm like, girl, didn't you and Hadria just go over the seating charts? Why are you making even more people come to this Mafia wedding? The hell? And also Aurora hugs Scarlett because she does. Also, she mentions when she's hugging her that she can feel Aurora's handbag and it's huge. This is important. That's the only reason why I'm telling you. And then they're off because they're like, wedding planning waits for no one. And then once they're gone, Scarlett's like, well, obviously I'm not gonna go to the wedding. And Lissa's like, we should get out of here too. We have work to do. She's like, what work? Are you stupid? She's like, I told you, Scar, I'll help you get your vengeance. Kill your brother's killer if that's ... still what you want. And then she wants to ask how Aurora got involved in the syndicate. And Lissa's just like, it's a long story. I do kind of want to read those books. Do you guys think I should read them? I need affirmation. So they're gonna go rest because they're running on fumes. They go back to the shitty hotel and Scarlett's like, rest here. And Lissa's like, I won't jump your bones if that's what you're worried about. And Scarlett is like, I'm not worried about it. In fact, I wouldn't say no to a little ... relaxation. Can you guys like stop humping for like 10 seconds? Because you have bigger problems. And she's like, all I can hear is grandmother's words. Anything can be a weapon. Sex can be a weapon. I'm like, okay, girl. Chapter 25, Lissa. Lissa's like, I know this is a bad idea. Scratch that. I know it's a terrible idea. Yes, obviously it is. My mouth is on hers before I know it. All tongues and lips and grasping, desperate hands competing to see who can strip the other first. It's right there. In a delirious storm of sensation, it all clicks for me. I understand her in a way I never have before. The hunger that simmers just beneath her skin, the need to prove herself ... I have it too. We're alike, Scarlett and I, and it's not just because of grandmother. We were built DNA up from the same stuff, and that's why she calls so effortlessly to the need in my soul. I don't like the DNA content. I don't like the DNA up part because I feel like if you think about it for more than 10 seconds, you realize that that would kind of imply that they're related, like biologically related, and I don't like it. She's going to the buffet on Scarlett, huzzah, and then Scarlett flips her and they're sitting on the face. The banter is not really bantering. All right, let's read this. You are so fucking gorgeous. I managed to get out right before her wet flesh engulfs me. Now I moan into her folds, my tongue encouraging more of her juice, rubbing my face right into her. She's fucking ambrosia. Oh, Lord. Okay, first of all, how is engulfing you? No, it isn't. I just hate the combo of like engulfing, which just to me is like insane. And then the folds, the juice, the whatever, like it's fine. It's the same in all of these, but it's also not fine. I want something different, please. She also does some tongue stuff on the back door.
Never entered the back door.
And they 69. Woohoo. Woohoo. And when they're done, for whatever reason, they're talking about being like a bad girl or something. And Lissa's like, if we were back at Elysium, I would get a few props to punish you. And Scarlett's like, oh yeah, you guys got a sex dungeon in there? And he's like, I argued that we should put one in the rebuild, but Hadria said no. And I'm like, Hadria is smart. Hadria is smart. She's like, I wish you could see it though, Elysium. It's like, you sound like you miss it. And Lissa is like, oh my God, god, yeah, I can't wait until it's done. But then she almost kind of invites Scarlett there, but she stops herself because duh. And then Lissa's like, are you thirsty? And she's like, yeah. She's like, actually, you stay here. I'm gonna go get some water. She grabs her water bottle on the way back, hands it to me so I can slake my thirst. As if water could do that. Not when I have her on tap. Guys, I understand what we're trying to say, but to me, it sounds like she's actively trying to drink it, and I'm like, I don't think you're supposed to. Like, I think it's okay if you swallow some or whatever, but like, hello? Anyway, she ends the chapter by thinking, this has to stop now. Like, these little interludes might mean nothing to her, but I'm starting to find I want them, need them. That is very fucking far from okay. Okay, alright then. Chapter 26, Scarlett. Scarlett waits a little while to make sure Lissa is asleep, and then she slides out of the bed, has a quick shower, and she's thinking, I wish I didn't have to do this, which, ooh, yeah. We're about to learn what she's gonna be doing. And she thinks about how this is the last time that she's gonna have Lissa, and that makes her sad. And she had put a sedative in the water, which, oof. And she thinks that she could just kill Lissa now, but that it wouldn't be fair. And she feels horribly guilty. So basically we learn that she slipped a tracker in Aurora's handbag and that she's going to kidnap Aurora. Why, you might ask? We will find out, but I'm gonna wait till we actually find out. And she thinks to herself that because Aurora had presented herself, she didn't just decide to come clean to Lissa and beg for her help again. So this is about when grandmother has the gift for her and we never found out what that was, remember? Long story short, grandmother has kidnapped her parents because she knows that Scarlett has not been doing what she's supposed to be doing and that she's been hanging out with Lissa a little bit, which is why Ariadne kind of gave her a tip off, which was kind of nice of her, I suppose. And Scarlett starts freaking out and is like, what do you want? Do you want money? Like, what is it? And she's like, no, this is about loyalty. And you're gonna prove yourself to me through obedience, like any good soldier. And she's like, and this will make you understand the value of loyalty. And Scarlett says, but I am loyal. Bitch, you are not. And grandmother says, please don't treat me like a fool. I know you have been tempted by a particular deserter, and I know you've been meeting with her regularly in secret. And she's like, okay, you want me to kill Lissa? I'll do it. She's like, you can't. She's like, I can't, I will, I promise. You've tried, she said flatly, and failed several times. I shall send Ariadne instead. No, I want you to do something else for me, something easier, since you've been unable to prove yourself so far. And then she told me what she wanted. Aurora Verderosa. And she's like, you want me to kill Hades' fiance? She's like, no, I want you to kidnap her. She's like, the killing of her is a pleasure you don't deserve, Scarlett. And Scarlett's starting to feel sick and she's like, but, and grandmother's like, I'm not asking. She's like, you'll do this or your parents will die. And then grandmother, like true evil villain fashion, is like, I will kill Aurora Verderosa myself, and with her death I'll destroy this wretched Styx syndicate from the top down. This Hades, as they call her, will only be able to blame her wolf as soon as she realizes it was you who took her fiance. And then she and Lissa will destroy each other and the whole syndicate in the process. And Scarlett isn't so sure, and grandmother can tell, and she goes, you don't think so? She asked. Wait and see. Love is a terrifying thing, Scarlett, and losing it, cities have been destroyed over less. I think it will be very interesting to see one way or another, and it is what I desire. Understand me? And Scarlett's like, okay. And she's like, will you obey? And she's like, yeah, because she doesn't have much of a choice, even if it meant forsaking every last shred of my own humanity along the way. You already killed a lot of people. I know that technically people who kill people are still human, because it doesn't make you stop being human. And I think people try to say they weren't human as a way to distance themselves from the fact that humans are capable of such atrocities. However, they're still humans. The Nazis were still humans. All of the people who were involved in the Epstein Island shit are still humans. The people who made slavery happen, chattel slavery happen, were humans. You don't just get to decide that they weren't because it makes you feel uncomfortable. It makes you feel gross to have to look at it in the eye. Humans are capable of insane, disgusting atrocities. Okay. So we're now back in the present and Scarlet is tracking down Aurora and the tracker. However, once she gets to the source of the tracker signal, Aurora isn't there. It's Mrs. Graves holding Aurora's bag. And Scarlet starts to freak out immediately. She's like, oh my God, I failed again. My parents are going to die. And her first instinct is to actually go back to grandmother's house, battle through all the guards in Ariadne, and just take her parents. But she knows that she can't do that because it won't work. She's like, maybe if Lissa was with me, and then she thinks Lissa, oh. And she's almost hyperventilating. And she thinks Lissa wouldn't help me. Why would she? She means to kill me. And she's like, I know the intimacy we've had together doesn't make any real difference. And my argument is that it shouldn't, but I know that it will because it's one of these books. And I wouldn't care if it wasn't just sex, but it really truly is just sex. What do they really know about one another? Not that much. Not that much, honestly. And then Scarlet has an aha moment. It's like, wait a minute. Lissa has talked about Mrs. Graves being like a mother figure for her and Hadria. She's like, I can't get Aurora, but maybe I can get the second best thing. And she can't stand it because she's like, oh, Mrs. Graves is innocent. This isn't fair. I mean, she raised two girls and helped them create a mafia. So she's like, I might have fooled myself into thinking killing syndicate members was forgivable, but hurting her is not. And I'm like, I would argue that she kind of is a syndicate member, but okay. And she can't let her parents die. So she's gonna do this. And Mrs. Graves, who they've been nagging her to keep her bodyguards this entire time, doesn't have them with her. So this is gonna be a cakewalk. And then she's like, hey, do you remember me? I'm Ruby from the coffee shop. She's like, yeah, you're Lissa's friend, Ruby. Oh my God. And she's like, fancy running into you here again. Like, wow, it looks like you have a lot of things to carry though. And Mrs. Graves is like, yeah, the wedding planning is kind of like a lot. She's like, Aurora had to go back home, but I wanted to at least take a look around, make sure we didn't miss anything, you know? Which, aw, nice mom. And Scarlet feels bad because she's like, oh, she truly cares for people, but so do I. Like, I care about my parents. I don't know what I'm gonna do about this. And she's like, hey, can I just like help you with these bags? And she's like, you're very kind. It seems like Lissa surrounds herself with very good people these days. I'm like, oh, I wouldn't say that. And she's like, where are you headed? Like, I'd love to help you walk there. She's like, just this way. I'm planning to meet a town car like in 10 minutes. It's just a street away. It's not that far. And so she follows her, and again, she's internally conflicted. We've been over it. And she's like, why don't we take this alley? And Mrs. Graves is actually smart, thankfully. It's like, I don't think so, Ruby. That's not the right way. But then she sees the knife and she's pressing it in Mrs. Graves' side. And she's like, don't scream, just keep walking. We have someplace to be. I've killed any number of syndicate members, much tougher than you. Like, don't make me kill you. If you come with me, you won't be hurt. But obviously Mrs. Graves does not believe her, cause duh. But she does go because she's, in my brain, she's a little old lady. What is she gonna do? Like, she's probably really only in like her 50s or 60s, to be perfectly honest, but my brain has just defaulted her to being like Betty White age, like when she passed away. I don't know why. That's where my brain goes. Kind of just been picturing her as Betty White, to be perfectly real. But we end the chapter with her thinking, I know that Lissa is gonna come for me, but as long as my parents are safe, I would gladly go to my grave. Chapter 27, Lissa finally wakes up after being drugged, and she calls out for Scarlet. Scarlet is not there. She's like, it's kind of disturbing how she could just slip out without me noticing. I'm kind of a light sleeper. And she's like, but something about her knocks me out. Literally. And I'm like, okay. And she goes to her phone and the notifications have all been silenced, obviously, by Scarlet. And there have been a billion, obviously. And there's words like all over it, like Mrs. Graves is gone, like emergency, yada yada. And she calls for Scarlet again like a stupid idiot, but okay. And she's like, and now Mrs. Graves is in trouble and I've been napping. But then she's like, wait a damn minute. She probably drugged me. But she's like, but Scarlet has no interest in Mrs. Graves. What the fuck would she want her for? And she's like, it was still like, if Scarlet didn't do it, where the hell is Mrs. G? Like, and she like dresses immediately, heading straight for Hadria's place. And the guards just wave her in, which she's like, that is not a good sign. And when she bursts in, there's Mario, Ricky, Aurora, and a bunch of the syndicate members, and Johnny the Gentleman, aka Johnny DeLuca. No, they're two different people. What? Okay, so Johnny the Gentleman, who has never been mentioned before. The only Johnny we've heard about is Johnny DeLuca. So, okay. But so there's Johnny the Gentleman and Johnny DeLuca. And she's like, Juno Bianchi's advisor can't be good for us that he's here. And Hadria is pissed the fuck off, but she's being very like cold about it. And she's like, thank you for finding time in your schedule for us. And I'm like, and she's like, oh shit, this really can't be good. And she's just like, we don't have time for this. And she tells one of the Johnnies, but it doesn't say which one, to show them. And he casts a video from the tablet to the mounted TV, and it's security footage. And Lissa feels like she's gonna be sick because there's Scarlett kidnapping Mrs. Graves. And she just thinks that scheming little viper. And I'm like, can you use your brain, please? That thing in your head, use it. But she's just like, that vulnerability was all a ploy. I'm like, I don't see how that can be true. Okay, let's just go over the math. She only joined Grandmother because she thought you killed her brother. She didn't want to do any of the other shit. She just wanted to kill you. She finds out you didn't kill her brother. So now she doesn't want to kill you, right? Why the fuck would she do any of this if Grandmother wasn't doing something awful? Like, you can't tell me these characters are smart because I don't believe that. I think the only smart person I've seen so far is Hadria sometimes and Ariadne sometimes. That's pretty much, and Grandmother sometimes too, I guess, but not by like that much, honestly. I mean, honestly, I think we could make a really good case for how fucking stupid Grandmother is, like, as an antagonist. And I might just quickly, I think it's dumb as fuck to basically purchase a bunch of infants to turn into specialized assassins and to never use the carrot, only the stick. Because we know developmentally that that really does not work. It doesn't work on animals well. It doesn't work on people well. It's stupid as all get out. And that was almost her death. And if fine, doing it the first time, okay, stupid, but you should have learned, right? No, she's continuing to do the same exact thing as if Lissa didn't slit her throat for that very thing, and is like, well, these adults won't try to kill me because of reasons that are not clear. It's so stupid. It's so contrived and dumb. Like, there's no real rewards other than the vengeance that each one of these people that she's tricking into assassinating people for her might get someday, but it's not enough. It's never gonna be enough. Like, it's dumb as all hell. Like, and Aurora's like, Lissa, isn't that your girlfriend Ruby? And all at once, like after this, while Lissa is thinking some shit about like, I can't believe she did this to me, everyone starts freaking the fuck out, like loudly. And they're like, why is the assassin still alive?
What? A llama? He's supposed to be dead!
Yeah, weird.
Like, we thought you were gonna ice her, Lissa. What is this shit? Like, did you know about her bullshit this entire time? And I think these are fair fucking questions. Just like chaos until Hadria says everyone out now. And everyone's like, see ya. And she's just staring at Lissa because I would be pissed the fuck off too. Her mother figure, who she adores, getting kidnapped while going shopping for like wedding stuff with her fiance because you trusted someone you so obviously should have never trusted in the first place. And not even just the wedding, which the wedding is important enough on its own without the whole Juno Bianchi shit. But Juno Bianchi is a big stressor for Hadria to the point where everyone knows about it. To the point where they're not even killing opposing Mafia members like the Russians. If I was Hadria, I don't care how close you are to me, I think this would be it. I think I would lose it. And Hadria says, you let your goddamn feelings compromise everything, which is true. Like, I could see something was going on, but I trusted you, Lissa. I trusted you. I believed you when you said you had everything handled. But now because of you, Mrs. Graves is a hostage, the woman I consider my mother. And she's like, and mine. I say weakly. My chest constricts with each agonized breath. Hadria, I didn't know. Don't insult me with your pitiful excuses. If anything happens to that woman, she shakes her head slowly, I will never forgive you ever. Do you understand? Pleading is probably useless, I know, but I have to try. Hadria, please, give me one more chance. I'll get Mrs. Graves back, I swear on Elysium, and I'll kill Scarlett and Grandmother as soon as Mrs. G is safe. No more fucking around. You know I can do it. You know I can. And I cannot believe Hadria with this, but it kind of does seem like everyone else is incompetent, which is crazy because Lissa is so incompetent through this entire book that I don't see how that's possible. But okay. She's like, one chance, that's all you get. Don't waste it because I will fucking skin you alive if you fuck this up. Yeah. And then for a second, because they're close, she stops kind of being like the cold ice queen or whatever they call her. And she's just like, Lissa, I swear to God, if she dies, like she's not okay. And she puts her hand over her mouth. She's shaking a little. And I'm like, Hadria is gonna die of a heart attack. Hadria is gonna die of a stroke. Hadria is gonna die of an aneurysm. Like, you are killing her. But don't worry, seeing Hadria's fear bolsters Lissa somehow. I think you need to not work here. And then she decides to tell Hadria to get her shit together and you can be pissed at me later. Hell, I can be pissed at me later. But we don't have time for that now. You need to get your head in the game. Hadria needs to get her head in the game? I do not think that's who needs to get their damn head in the game. What? And I just gotta say, even though it was a little annoying that it was so repetitive, Hadria was very clear about everything she needed to happen, everything she needed from Lissa and from everyone else right now. And Lissa still fucked it up colossally. Ridiculous. I can't stand incompetence. And Hadria decides we're gonna do this together because that's our best shot. We will go in, surgical strike, we'll do it. And Lissa thinks just like the good old days. Lissa would rather do it alone because she feels like she needs to pay for her foolishness, and she'd like to look Scarlet right in the face as she drained the life from her. I'd like to do that privately. But Hadria is pissed the hell off, so she's like, okay, together, what else do we need? She's like, we need some men. Like, Johnny DeLuca managed to get footage of Scarlet's car all the way to a particular high-rise building, so at least we know where they are. He's getting hold of the blueprints now so we can find a way in. Johnny DeLuca is the MVP. And she's like, oh, I should have known Hadria was working on a plan. Yeah, because she has to have every single brain cell of this operation for all of you. It must be exhausting. And she's like, and once Mrs. Graves is safe, you will kill Scarlet, and that's an order. And she says, yes, boss, and says, I don't need the order. Nothing on earth could stop me from putting down Scarlet now. Well, there's 2 more books, so that's not true. But also, you do need an order because she has been telling you to do it repeatedly, and you haven't done it. I know that she gave you a tiny, teeny weensy bit of leeway because she's like, okay, this grandmother does sound like a problem. But that had been after she had told you to kill this bitch like more than once. So I don't understand. Chapter 28, Scarlet. She cannot stop shaking as she's getting Mrs. Graves into the warehouse. Everything is making her jumpy, which is making Mrs. Graves jumpy. Mrs. Graves is gonna die of a heart attack, cardiac arrest for this 101-year-old woman. I know she's not that old, but I feel like she is. And she just thinks, this wasn't how it was supposed to be. I mean, but you joined a mafia, so okay. She literally goes over again, like every single thing pretty much that's happened. How she was supposed to be able to avenge her brother by killing Lissa, but Lissa didn't kill her brother. And the only thing I've actually done is kill on instruction for the last few years. And I'm no better than any of the people I've been hunting down. Yeah. We know, it's a fine, thank you. She's like, and now I've dragged an innocent woman. We know, we were there. Thank you, Scarlet. And Mrs. Graves sits on a wooden crate. And she just looks pretty much fine, like she's not having a complaint or whatever. And she exudes an aura of calm certainty that seems to mock the anguished storm raging within me. Good, she should get to mock you, Jesus. She's like, Ruby dear, why don't you sit and catch your breath? And she's just like, Ruby, and she's like, Scarlet, my name's Scarlet. She's like, I see, why don't you take a seat? And she's like, don't you get it? This wasn't the plan. You weren't supposed to be involved in this nightmare. She's like, well, here we are. And she's like, we're not even supposed to be here. I'm supposed to bring you to. And then she doesn't say it. And she thinks to herself, I'm not a monster. I just play one convincingly. No, you are one. I don't like defending men. I think men are gross. And I know that these are all mafia men or whatever, and none of them were innocent. But she literally said all of these men were not being creepy to her, the ones that she murdered. They were trying to help her be safe. They were genuinely worried about her. They weren't trying to even get in her pants like Lissa was. They were just worried about her. You are a monster for that. They had nothing to do with the murder of your brother. Absolutely nothing. Even if Lissa had done it, they didn't do it. So it's, you are a monster, and that's fine. Like, don't stop lying. And Mrs. Graves is like, okay, what compelled you to bring me to this warehouse though instead of to your employer? Like, because obviously you're working for somebody. And she's like, please don't ask me. And I love Mrs. Graves because she's like a real one. She's like, now Scarlet, She says in a brisk, no nonsense tone, if I'm going to die, I'd like to know the reason. I think you can tell me that much at least. Ouch. And then she explains that her parents were kidnapped by grandmother. And Mrs. Graves asks like a good question, which is like, who is your grandmother? Like, she's like, is your grandmother involved in organized crime or what? And she's like, no, she's not my grandmother, which is funny. And so she decides to share everything with Mrs. Graves about what happened to her brother and the woman who is like, you can get vengeance, yada yada. And Mrs. Graves is like, okay, so you chose this path though? And she's like, yeah, I chose this. But then she's like, it wasn't supposed to be like this. I just wanted justice for Adam. And Mrs. Graves says, I know what it's like to have an all-consuming rage claw at your soul, that desperate need to make someone pay for an unforgivable crime. And she's like, what happened? And she explains that her daughter was murdered. And she says that the rage nearly destroyed her. It's like, what did you do? I hired 2 young girls with a reputation for enacting street justice. And she knows it was obviously Hadria and Lissa. And she's like, did they? And she takes a second and she's like nodding, yeah. She's like, did it help? Getting that eye for an eye, did it help? She shakes her head, her lips curving in a rueful, heartbroken smile. No, child, it didn't. Lissa asked me that recently, you know, and I lied to her. Told her I felt some measure of justice, but I didn't because I didn't want justice, did I? That wasn't what I wanted and it wasn't what I got. And I think that's so important. And then for the first fucking time, this is ridiculous, we'll just read it. For the first time, I truly think about where this insatiable quest for vengeance will lead. Is this what Adam would have wanted for me? For me to sacrifice my humanity, to damn my own soul, to kill like he was killed? Girl, you have been training with this woman who's been torturing you for 5 years, and this is the first time you're like, would Adam want me to have, would Adam have wanted me to drop out of medical school and join the mafia and murder people? No, what the fuck? And Mrs. Graves is like, I think you have a good heart under all of that. Like, don't let it consume you like it did for me. She's like, you don't understand. I don't have a good heart. I'm the one who killed all your syndicate members. And Mrs. Graves is like, oh. She's kind of like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Very sorry indeed. And I'm like, oh. And she tells Mrs. Graves, you need to go. Like, you need to go now. I'm not kidding. Please just leave. And she's like, why are you just sitting there? This isn't a trick. I changed my mind. And she gets up and she takes Scarlett by the shoulder saying, you have done terrible things, Scarlett. But what about your parents? Are they bad people? I stare at her in horror. Of course not. They're completely innocent. This is all my fault. They had nothing to do with it. They have no idea I'm ... And then Mrs. Graves is like, then you need to do what you need to free them. So you're taking me to this grandmother. She's like, I can't take you to her. If I do, she'll kill you. And she's like, she won't. She's like, no, she really will. Like, and she's like, we'll have to agree to disagree. And she's like, I won't be the reason why 2 innocent people are dead. And she says, also, no matter what you think about me, I am not innocent in all of this. Like, I understand my girls and the business that they run. So take me to this grandmother and we will hope that she keeps her word and releases your parents. It's like, I can't let you do that. She'll kill you and it will be all my fault. She's like, Scarlett, I'm really sorry for what you've been through and I'm also sorry for what's gonna happen. And she's like, what do you mean? And she's like, my girls are gonna get to me. And when they do, ... I'm like, yeah. And then Scarlett's like, she holds my gaze with a soul-searing moment, and I see she's right. She's no innocent, this woman. She's brave and she's honorable, but she's done terrible, wicked things in her life, just like I have. Yeah, obviously. She's basically the mother of a mob boss, and the mob boss's right-hand woman / assassin. Hello? Is anybody home? She's like, well, when they come for me, they're gonna kill you. But I think that we should give your parents a fighting chance, so what do you say? Chapter 29, Scarlett. She brings Mrs. Graves to grandmother's penthouse, obviously. And she doesn't understand how Mrs. Graves can be so composed. Again, basically the mother of a mafia boss and mafia boss's right hand who's an assassin. Okay, that's how. That's how. She hired teenagers to kill the person who killed her daughter. I don't know what we're talking about. Just because she's cute and she goes shopping and she helps them with their wounds and stuff, just because she's not doing the direct murdering, doesn't mean she didn't facilitate this shit. She did. Like, and also Mrs. Graves apparently made it impossible not to take her, and she was threatening to become difficult. And I'm like, okay, I kind of love her. She's like, she's very used to dealing with killers, that's for sure. Yes, obviously. And she also wonders to herself if she had known about the Styx syndicate when Adam had died, if she would have just tried to hire them instead. But grandmother had gotten to her first. And now grandmother's excited to see her prize, obviously, but she's pissed. She's like, what is the meaning of this? I wanted Aurora Verderosa. And she's like, I know you wanted Aurora Verderosa, but I thought Mrs. Graves would be a better hostage. She's like a mother to both of them. Her life means everything to both of them. Your plan will work better. But grandmother is furious and she smacks her. She's like, you stupid, stupid girl. How dare you defy my orders? Do you have any idea what you've done? And she's like, well, I thought, she's like, you thought wrong. And she's gonna hit her again. But Mrs. Graves is like, you stop it and you leave this girl alone. And grandmother's like, who do you think you are giving me orders? Do you have any idea who I am, housekeeper? I'm like, I really don't think she's a housekeeper, but okay. And Mrs. Graves is like, no, I don't know who you are. And frankly, I don't care to know who you are. I love her. And then grandmother's smile is fading a little bit. But when she's gonna speak again, someone comes in from the elevator. It's a bunch of guards rushing in saying, we have a situation. And Scarlett immediately knows that Lissa is here. And she's like, I wasted a lot of time with Mrs. Graves in the warehouse, which was clearly long enough for the syndicate to know she was missing and long enough for them to find grandmother's house, the high rise. And grandmother's like, okay, then take care of the problem. And Scarlett wants to run down those stairs and beg Lissa for forgiveness. Yeah, the problem is that Hadria's at the bottom of the stairs. And I actually believe she'd put a cap in your ass. I really do. I think the reason why this specific part of the series is 3 books is because there's no way Hadria would get over it in 2. There's no way. But she's really still worried about her parents, and she and Mrs. Graves agreed to this plan, yada yada. And grandmother turns to Scarlett and is like, I hope you understand your parents' lives are at stake. And I'm like, yeah, obviously she does. This is so stupid. Can we stop repeating this? She's like, okay, then take the housekeeper to one of the safe rooms below and lock her in and guard the door. And I want her in complete isolation. No one has access, not even Ariadne. When this little mess is dealt with, I will come and see you. Okay? And Scarlett's kind of like, does she not understand how much danger she's in right now? And I'm like, well, it doesn't really matter, does it? You don't care. She's probably responsible for Adam being dead, so why do you give a shit? But she's like, okay, grandmother, yeah, sure. She's like, okay, then fucking go. And she feels really torn because she knows that the parents are in the penthouse, probably hidden in the torture room behind a door at the end of her walk-through wardrobe in there. And I could just run in there right now and get them, but it's too risky. Everyone has semi-automatic weapons. So she just goes through with it, grabs Mrs. Graves and starts going. And Scarlett looks at Mrs. Graves and is like, I don't understand. Why isn't she more worried about the syndicate and Lissa? Mrs. Graves kind of laughs and is like, her reaction is quite usual. So many people underestimate my girls. So many regret it afterward. And she's like, but grandmother trained Lissa. I don't understand. And Mrs. Graves is like, what? What the fuck did you just say to me? And she's like, Mrs. Graves, please. She's like, I think if anyone should tell you about that, it should be Lissa, right? You could ask her when she comes to get you. And then Mrs. Graves is like, hey, your parents, like, shouldn't we try to? And she's like, they're in the penthouse where we just came from. I didn't want to endanger you by starting something with the guard around. And she's like, also, there's no guarantee they're even alive. But if they are, the penthouse is probably the safest place for them right now if the syndicate is attacking, don't you think? And so Mrs. Graves seems to be okay with this, and they finally start going to the safe room area. And she turns to Mrs. Graves and says, listen to me, when Lissa gets here, or Hadria, after they, you know, she's like, if I don't make it out of here, promise me that you'll tell them about my parents. Ask them to free my parents and make sure that they do. Will you promise me? And Mrs. Graves says, yeah, of course, I promise. She's like, if I could let you go right now, Mrs. Graves, I would, but with all the guards and other people, I don't think it's safe. And Mrs. Graves puts a gentle hand on her arm and says, I know, I appreciate that. You don't have to worry about me. And then she says to Scarlett, she's like, listen to me, Scarlett, I think you need to get out of here. I think you need to run. Get as far away as you can. I'll wait for Hadria and Lissa, and I'll tell them about your parents, and we will save them. But if they find you here with me, and she says, I'm not gonna leave you, not with Ariadne around. She's too unpredictable, and all the other trainees are too. She's like, I think grandmother worries that they might kill you without stopping to think or to ask questions. That's why she wants me guarding you. And Mrs. Graves tries to keep arguing, but she's like, please just let me do this one good thing in my life, for my brother's sake at least. And she's like, okay, Scarlett, if that's what you really want. And then she's about to confirm that is what she wants, and the electricity goes off. Chapter 30, Lissa. They're there. Obviously. One of the men cut the power. Someone else is working on the alarm system. They're trying to be as inconspicuous as possible because they do not want law enforcement involved. And she's like, but something tells me that they'll hold off even if they do get a call. Again, corrupt police, hello. It's like, no, I think they're more likely to let us take each other out and then clean up the dregs. That's their usual play. And I hope for their sake they follow the same playbook tonight. I'm like, well, I mean, we've established that the cops are really shady in this world as they are in real life. so I think you're good. Anyway, the system's down. Hadria is like ready. She tells the men, including Mario, to beat down the door, like in Beauty and the Beast, with the huge fucking log, basically. They have a battering ram. I love it. The door is down fast as all hell. You didn't reinforce the door, you're a mafia boss. Grandmother. Again, Hadria still on top, okay? Yeah, everything is empty. There's no furniture. There's nothing. And they're gonna start going toward the top of the building because it was the same when Lissa was younger. Grandmother took the penthouse kind of situation. They go up, but at a certain point, Lissa becomes worried about kind of the nature of being trapped with people who are already expecting you to come up. And she tells Hadria to go back downstairs. I've got this. Please go back down. I mean it. This is my mess to clean up. And Hadria's like, we said we would do this together. And she's like, we will. We'll wait down there for Mrs. G and you'll get her out of here when I bring her down, and then I'm gonna go back up and I'm gonna take care of Skylar and grandmother. And Hadria's not moving, so she tries, I don't want Aurora kicking my ass if you get hurt. And Hadria's like, I'm not gonna get hurt. And I kind of believe her. And Lissa's like, I'm done messing around. Get out of here. That's an order from your second boss. Whether you want to hear it or not, you need to be somewhere safe in case. And then she thinks, in case I don't make it back. And I'm like, well, I think she needs a new second because you're useless. Anyway. And she's also like, we don't have time for this. You know I'm right. And she's like, okay, fine. Come back alive. That's an order. She's like, you know me, Hades. I always follow orders. When? Anyway, Hadria goes back downstairs because thank God, I don't want anything to happen to her. I know she's fine. Like, so she's going through the corridors, searching her way through, looking all over the place. And then she whirls around with her gun and she sees someone dressed up as her. It's obviously Ariadne in the wolf mask or whatever. And for a second, she thinks it is Scarlet, but then the woman launches herself at her. This isn't Scarlet, and disappointment makes me slower than I usually would be. Slow enough that my shots are way off. I deflect her first few blows, falling into an instinctive defensive rhythm as I assess her skills. She's good, really good. I bet I know who she is. She's like, you're Ariadne, right? You killed Adam, right? And she doesn't really give a shit that she did it, but whatever. She's just like, I've killed loads of people. You're gonna have to be more specific. She's like, Scarlet's brother. She's like, yeah, that was me. Very anticlimactic way of finding that out. I really wish it had been Scarlet finding it out. I can't lie. And she's just like, family's nothing but a useless diversion anyway. And she's like, is that what grandmother told you? She's like, she told me the same thing and she's wrong, very fucking wrong, if you say so. And she's complimenting Ariadne and she's like, you're pretty good. And she's like, I'm the best. And I should have eliminated you because Scarlet is weak. But I'll kill you now and I'll take pleasure in it. And she's like, well, if Scarlet's so weak, why did grandmother send her instead of you in the first place? And that hits the mark and Ariadne doesn't answer and her focus is kind of wavering a little bit because she gets extra angry. And it's not actually that violent. And Lissa kind of figures out she's there to slow her down. She's like, okay, I get it, but I need to like get to Mrs. Graves and then to grandmother and then deal with Scarlet. So she starts actually fighting Ariadne, but she thinks that like this feels exactly like when Scarlet was attacking me the first few times. Like it feels personal, but I can't really dwell on that now. I have to keep going. And then Ariadne uses a smoke bomb and she thinks to herself, I should have thought about that. I need to be way smarter than this. I'm like, I don't think you're intelligent in the slightest. I think that's the real problem, but all right. Anyway, she's back on the hunt for Mrs. Graves and she's ready to find her, Scarlet, and grandmother. Yada yada. Good for Ariadne for escaping. Chapter 31, Scarlet. They barricaded the doors with what little furniture there is in that room. And once again, Mrs. Graves is like, Scarlet, I think you should go. You should deal with your parents. And she's like, I'm not leaving you alone. She's like, sometimes we have to make difficult choices to protect the ones we love. You promised you'd tell. And then she hears stuff and because they're starting to open the doors and stuff. And she's like, get in the bathroom and shove whatever you can against the door now. And Mrs. Graves hesitates, but then she's like, oh, I should do that. And she goes in there. And so she gets her gun up, ready to defend Mrs. Graves, and she really hopes it's not Ariadne because she really believes that Ariadne did it now, even though she really doesn't have actual proof. Lissa's the only one with proof. I don't know, whatever. But it's not Ariadne, it's Lissa. And she's never been happier to see her. Girl, she's gonna kill you. No, she's not. But a girl can dream. And she's like, Lissa, and she like lowers the gun, and Lissa's done with this. She's hitting her hard and fast. And she's like, Lissa, wait, please, Mrs. Graves is. And Lissa is still not listening. And she's like, listen to me. And she's like, I'm done listening. You took her. How could you do that? And she's like, I didn't have a choice. Grandmother had my parents. It's very melodramatic. And Lissa falters a little bit, but Mrs. Graves just like runs out of the bathroom. It's like, Lissa, stop it. Please stop. She's like, Mrs. G, are you okay? Did she hurt you? And she's like, no, I'm fine. But like Scarlett's parents, they're in danger. And she chose to protect me over her own flesh and blood. Okay. Lissa snaps over looking at Scarlett, and Scarlett's like, it's true. And I'll help you and Mrs. Graves escape. But then I need to come back for my parents. And Lissa's like, or I'll kill you here and now like I should have a long time ago. Mrs. Graves is like, no. And Lissa just like looks at her in disbelief. And she's like, do you have any idea what she's done? She's a killer, Mrs. G, if you knew. And she's like, I do know, just like I know you. Please let the girl save her parents. We can go now and bring them down with us. She's like, no, you're my priority. And Hadria's, actually. I have my orders. I find you, I bring you down, then I come back and I clean up. And Mrs. Graves is like, she protected me from this grandmother. It's like, Lissa, we can trust her. I'm like, no, girl. And she's like, also, if we have her parents with us, don't you think she's gonna fight harder? And Lissa's like, I don't know. And she's like, Lissa, enough. We need to trust her for now at least. We get her parents, then we head down. And Lissa is not happy about this. And Scarlett is like, please, my parents are innocent. Doesn't the syndicate have rules about that? And Lissa is pissed, but she's like, fine, but my priority is getting Mrs. G out of here safely. Do you understand? She's like, I understand. My parents are on the floor above us, just above us, behind grandmother's bedroom. She has a special room there. And she's like, yeah, I bet she does. Don't suppose the old lady's gonna be there too, huh? Like 2 birds, 1 stone. She's like, maybe? She's like, okay, we'll deal with everything else later. Come on. And she's like, did you see Ariadne out there? She's like, do you still want your vengeance? And she's like, I did, but way down below. She was trying to slow me down. She's like, did you kill her? She's like, no, she used a stupid smoke bomb trick. She's like, well, you should have seen that one coming. She's like, yeah, I should. There are a whole lot of things I should have seen coming. And next time I fucking will. And I'm like, I don't think you will. I think you're stupid. She's like, let's move. And Scarlett, if you make any move I don't like, I'm gonna open up your throat. Do you understand? And she's just like, yeah. Lissa is looking at all the things and is kind of looking at the open elevator, which it's not working obviously because of the power problem. And she's like, well, that's an option if we really need it. And Mrs. Graves is like, that certainly is not. I'm like, but don't worry, Scarlett is thinking some fuck shit. I know she wants me dead, but I feel a glimmer of hope even as I accept that not both of us will leave this high rise alive. I just want a chance to prove to her that I'm not a monster, that I could have chosen better, that we could have been ... we could have been good together. You're a monster, girl. It's fine. Like, it's fine. Stop lying. It's fine. And also, you could have chosen better. Yeah, you could have, but you didn't. So like, it doesn't matter. It's moot. Like, your intentions, your wants are not the same as your actions and their impact. So like, I'm sick of this shit. Like, you are a monster for real. You killed a lot of people and you kidnapped somebody. But they're ready to go. And there's a door open in the stairwell to the penthouse level. And Liz is like, what's up there? And she's like, there's a helipad. Grandmother will be there and probably some other trainees too, like Ariadne. And Liz is like, you make the choice then. Your parents or vengeance. And Scarlett doesn't even think about it. She's like, my parents. And Liz is like, okay. And so they're going into the penthouse suite and they're going into the private chambers. They're looking for hidden enemies, but there aren't any. And there's no grandmother. Obviously. And they find her parents. They're still alive. They are like, what on earth is going on? And she's like, there's no time to explain. We have to go. And then Lissa's like, okay, my name's Lissa, and all of you have to stay behind me and behind Scarlett. Heads down. If anyone is coming down the stairs behind us, you shout alert and then duck. Any questions? And her mom's still trying to be like, but Scarlett, what's going on? Where have you been? And Lissa's like, hey, we don't really have time for this right now. And she's like, when it's over, Mom, I'll explain that. Her mom's like, okay, because she obviously wants to be out of here. And the dad's like, we missed you so much. And I'm like, okay, sure. I don't know if you'd miss her if you knew what kind of person she actually is, but go off. She's like, let's just focus on getting everyone out of here. And Lissa's like, all right, we're going together. We're doing this together. And she's like the Sokolovs. And she's like, yeah, like the Sokolovs. Like, all right, watch my back, I'll watch yours. Let's go. And they're ready to go. And they're heading into the stairwell. Chapter 32, Scarlett. The stairwell is challenging, but we don't see that much of it. There's like a bunch of guards guards who really, really want to kill them, but do we see a lot of that? Not really. But don't worry, she thinks that this is hot as all get out. So glad Scarlet thinks that this life or death situation is so sexy. But they're in the zone. I take an acrobatic wall run using the narrow confines of the stairwell to my advantage, launching myself off the reinforced concrete to jump down a full flight and take out a gunman before he can even raise his weapon. And Lissa is right behind me, tucking into a roll over my bent back, using me as a springboard to take down another assailant with a savage knee to the face. I just wrote in my notes, parkour. Parkour. Anyway, there's blood streaking, like splattered on Lissa, and she looks intensely formidable and inexplicably beautiful. Okay, if you say so. They're still going down the stairwell. There's finally no more guards, no more attacks. And Lissa says, you stay here. You don't exit this door. The syndicate are out there, and if they see you, so she takes a step back. She points at the parents, and she's like, you two, you're coming with me. So if you've got anything to say to your daughter, do it real fast. Scarlett's like, I love you both. You're both gonna be fine, and I'll be back with you soon. I'll explain things, blah, blah, blah. And she's lying, obviously. And Mrs. Graves turns back at the last second and mouths at Scarlett, run. But instead, Scarlett's like, go be with your people, because she's not gonna run. And she can see Hadria Imperioli standing with a bunch of syndicate people. And Hadria rushes to grab Mrs. Graves. And then she looks at the parents like, what? Who the fuck are these people? Like, and Lissa just says something brief, and Hadria's like, okay, all right, I'm ready. Like, and has the other syndicate members take these people out of the building. And then Lissa's back because they're gonna go do some fuck shit. And she's like, thank you for my parents. And she's like, I told them to take them back to a safe house of ours, and I'll arrange protection for them at their home after all of this is over. She's like, thank you. She's like, if I'm gonna die on my feet though. And Lissa's like, you were good today. You were really impressive. You kept your head. And we have unfinished business. And she's like, the cops are still nowhere yet. So that gives me some time to deal with grandmother unless she caught her ride yet. And you can take your shot at Ariadne if you want to. And Scarlett's like, let's go. And Lissa's like, wait, and like grabs her wrist. Stop grabbing people. I hate it. Anyway, and she's just like, we don't have time. She's like, she yanks me close to her and cuts me off with a kiss, a searing, passionate kiss that steals my breath. I wrap my arms around her neck instinctively, heart jackhammering against my rib cage as I give myself over to her completely, utterly. Like, okay. And then once they're done, she's like, I'm so sorry. And Lissa's like, shush, I understand. I understand all too well. And she's like, yes. And she's like, I'm sorry too. A stabbing pain lances into my neck. The world tilts sickeningly, my knees buckling, giving me no time even to struggle as I remember far too late, ... Anything can be a weapon. Sex can be a weapon. Love can be a weapon too. I don't know what the fuck you're on about, but okay. She's like, I'm still in her arms as she lowers me gently. She's still got me, still holding on, but everything is going black. Oh God, I wish I'd had a chance to tell her that Chapter 33, Lissa. She's walking through the entrance of the hotel more slowly. She's going into the war room that the syndicate is using. Obviously, they didn't grab grandmother or anyone because they took the helicopter. And everyone is celebrating. Everyone is so happy that Mrs. Graves is fine, that the assassin is dead. And Hadria beckons her over. But as she does that, Aurora like throws herself at her and she's like, you're welcome, Susie. And she's also like, God, calm down, because like Aurora's so happy that Mrs. Graves isn't dead. Obviously, she's crying a little and she's like, I'm so relieved. And she's just like, speaking of Mrs. G, where is she? And she's like, over there getting loved, you know. And everyone's like giving her food and glasses of champagne. And Hadria is like, the parents are safe, like you asked. Once we get protection arranged, we can return them to their house. She's like, thank you. She's like, do you have anything to report? Grandmother and many of her trainees escaped. We'll have to keep an eye on them. Watch whether they come slinking back into Chicago. But I nod, keeping my voice steady and emotionless. But Scarlett is dead. And relief crosses Hadria's face because she's fucking thrilled, obviously. And she announces the assassin's dead. And I think we can all tell that she's fucking lying, obviously. And I think it's disgusting. But everyone's chanting wolf, wolf, wolf. And she like raises a hand to stop it, but they just get louder because they're pumped. They're like, finally, you fucking did your job. But she sees Mrs. Graves and Mrs. Graves is staring at her and all of the color drained from her face and she is not happy. She's very upset and she just leaves the room because she's not happy about this. And she feels guilty, but she just grabs a drink because Lissa doesn't really know what to do. And everyone's like, it was about damn time, Lissa. But she can't shake what Mrs. Graves looked like, which is fair. And she goes to Mrs. Graves's room and she feels really unsure. And she sees Mrs. Graves. She's like puffy from crying. And she's like, hey, did Scarlett hurt you? And she's like, of course not. Oh, Lissa, did you really kill her? And she's like, yeah, I really did. And she's like, how could you do that? She's like, it was Hadria's order and I agreed with it. Scarlett murdered our people. So if you want to cry for them. And Mrs. Graves is still very upset. And she's like, but she was the woman you were talking about, wasn't she? That night when you spoke to me. And she's like, keep that quiet. No one needs to know. And Mrs. Graves is like, but it must have been so hard for you. And she just shakes her head and she's like, no, she deserved to die just like the man who killed Sarah. And Mrs. Graves is like not happy about this. And she's like, I've come to believe that vengeance is the wrong path, Lissa. If I could do it over again, I would never have sent you and Hadria after my daughter's killer. I was wrong to do it. And I'm like, yay, character growth. But she's like, but if you hadn't, Hadria and I would have never met you and never had you care for us. And Mrs. Graves just doesn't say anything. And I'm kind of like, I mean, ooh. And she thinks that Mrs. Graves is obviously implying that an alternative path, even one where she didn't get to love Hadria and Lissa, would have been better. I'm kind of like, I don't know if that's completely what she's thinking, but okay. And she can't handle that. So Lissa is like, rest well, and she's out of there. And she thinks, what have I done? What have I become? I mean, you've been this your whole life, so I don't really understand why now you're having the identity crisis, but okay. And she thinks about the weight of her actions, but she can't escape it. She'll never be able to escape it. And she thinks about killing Scarlett and she's like, but I did have a choice. And this is really contrived because we're stuck in her head and we know, because I read the damn book, that Scarlett's not dead and she didn't actually kill her and she didn't even actually try to kill her. And she thinks about how she could have helped Scarlett out of grandmother's clutches, but she didn't and she chose not to. And she says, enough to herself. So she heads back to the celebration, back to being the wolf, the loyal soldier, the ruthless enforcer. Now we know, okay. Chapter 34, Lissa. It's morning. She's on her motorcycle going through Chicago, outside of the city limits. Scarlett taught me several lessons. One of them is that I'm not as unfeeling as I thought, that inside the wolf there's a woman too, with the dreams and desires of any woman. And right now, I just want a little time alone with those dreams and desires. Okay, if you say so. So she goes to an old abandoned farmhouse, and this is a farmhouse that she used to sleep rough in after she ran away from grandmother, before she found the courage to go back to Chicago. But not even Hadria knows about it. It's my secret, my sanctuary. Okay, if you say so. And then we get this reveal, because we all could have predicted this anyway, but okay. And there she is, just where I left her after drugging her back at the high-rise, Scarlett. Bound, gagged, propped up against the best of the hay I could find. The chain on her ankle is still solid. I check it with a perfunctory tug, and then I make sure her ropes are still tight, rolling her this way and that. She lets me do it. She looks exhausted, defeated, but there's still a defiant gleam in her hazel eyes when she meets my gaze. And then she like offers her some water, and she's like, how about the bathroom? And she's like, let's start with water. She gives her some and she's like, are my parents okay? Why am I here? Why didn't you kill me? And she's like, you're here because we have unfinished business with grandmother, with Ariadne, and with each other. It's like, unfinished business? Is that what you call it? You and I both know you follow orders. You had orders to kill me, so why haven't you? She doesn't follow orders. No, I can't think of a single time in this book where she's followed a damn order. Not even like the one where she was supposed to investigate Yuri's death. Did she technically do it? Yeah. Did she do it in a timely fashion or in a way that Hadria probably would have preferred? No. Because I blame myself for what grandmother did to you. You're my creation just as much as hers. She took everything from me just like she tried to do with you. Just like she's done to countless others, and it has to stop, Scarlett. You're going to help me stop it. Why not just go after her yourself? Because as much as I hate to admit it, we're stronger together, because you're the only one who truly understands the threat that grandmother presents, and because ... I trail off, the words stick in my throat, because I can't bear the thought of a world without you in it, because despite everything I still want you, but I don't say any of that. Instead I stand again. Just think it over. I don't need to think it over, I'm in. There she is, that brave, determined warrior that I saw fighting alongside me against the Sokolovs, against grandmother's guards. That's the Scarlett I need for this job. There's one more thing you need to understand, I tell her. After we've dealt with grandmother, I'll be coming for you. Just like you said, Scar, I do follow orders. She laughs, scratchy and hard. That old tune, you need to find a new one, Wolf. That's the deal, take it or leave it. She looks down for a moment, but then her chin comes up, determined and proud, those hazel eyes glowing fiercely. I'll take it. And it says, Lissa and Scarlett go to war and wolves at the gate. And then the book's over. Conclusion. All right, I think we need more editors who can say, hey, readers aren't stupid. Readers don't need you to hold their hand every second of the day. I think that was mainly my main problem with this. Like, were there some other deeply stupid points throughout the book, like such as saying Lissa always follows orders, but then she never does. She never follows a single one. Was it stupid kind of grandmother's entire bag almost dying because she trained killers in a horrible way, but then she decided to redo it again the same exact way? Yeah, that's pretty stupid. Was it kind of stupid? Yeah, but I think that would be kind of fun if the author didn't talk down to you like you can't remember anything. I hate when people do that. It's one of my biggest pet peeves in books. And I will stand by what I said for the review of it on Pagebound, which is sometimes the idea for something is way better than the execution, and I will die on that hill. Please let me know if you guys want to have me continue reading this. I absolutely will. I kind of want to read the other ones where it's about Hadria and Aurora because I think that sounds way more interesting to me based on the synopsis. I don't know if you guys are into Mafia romance, but we could do some Mafia on this channel. I'm looking for a damn good Mafia sapphic romance, please. I'm dying out here. What did you guys think of this one? If you made it this far, leave a wolf emoji, I guess. Or grandma emoji. I had fun doing this one. I'm excited to do the one for next week. We're doing romances, but they're not all straight, like, don't mean straight as in heterosexual, but I mean straight as in they're not like just romances, all of them. Like this one was Mafia, obviously. The next one I think is a thriller or suspense or something like that. So tune in for February for our little Valentine's thing. Don't forget to submit some of the terrible books you want me to read in the submission form. And I will see you guys in the next one. But first I gotta tell you guys the star rating because I keep forgetting to do that for some reason. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. It wasn't the worst one I've read recently, but it wasn't really what I wanted it to be at all. It was very disappointing. I hope you guys had a great time. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!